In this age of bare survival, where clothing barely covers the body and hunger gnaws at every belly, other tribes are still eating raw meat and gnawing on wild grass. But I lead my tribe to drink fresh soup and eat roasted meat. We have even got fluffy rice and weapons that leap centuries ahead of their time. All because I brought advanced special forces knowledge back to this ancient era. In my previous life, I was an elite special forces operative, codenamed Kai. While chasing criminals along the border, I fell from a cliff. When I open my eyes again, I find several women wrapped in animal hide standing before me. But the sharp pain in my foot demands immediate attention. Drawing on years of wilderness survival training, I quickly determine the wound, snake bite. I grab a nearby stone blade, slice open the wound, then press a fire-heated branch against it. After one agonized scream, I collapse to the ground, hoping the high temperature will destroy the venom proteins. After a night of fighting for survival, I bounce back the next day like an indestructible cockroach. I grab a piece of dried meat from a woman's hand and devour it. When I finish, I gesture wildly demanding more. The woman's answer is obviously no. After all, in this small tribe of just over 50 people, daily food is limited. And now, with winter approaching, they need to stockpile supplies. Food goes to the adult workers first. I will have to find my own food. As the weather grows colder by the day, I must find a way to store food for winter. Thinking it through, the easiest meat to obtain right now is fish. There is a stream less than 8,000 meters away. But this tribe does not eat fish, so naturally, they have no fishing tools. With this in mind, I gather some vines and begin weaving a basket to catch fish. Soon, I return to the cave entrance with a large bundle of vines and start crafting the basket. Several children gather around, watching me curiously, making unintelligible sounds. Nearby, a few women are drying grass in the sun. Suddenly, terrified screams pierce the air from the distance. Chieftain and two men are running, each clutching a massive egg, howling as they sprint. At the same time, ear-splitting shrieks fill the air. A terror beak, over 3 meters tall, charges after the chief. I immediately shout, "Drop the eggs." But no one understands. Thane refuses to abandon the egg, and the terror beak refuses to abandon Thane. Within moments, the bird catches up. One vicious strike, Thane meets his end on the spot. The two other men, seeing this, immediately throw down their eggs and flee to the forest edge, climbing trees to safety. The children beside me have never witnessed such a terrifying scene. They scream and panic. The terror beak, losing its target, instantly pivots and charges toward the howling children at the cave. Seeing this, I quickly usher the children into the cave. The women inside rapidly roll a massive round stone to block the entrance. The terror beak, unable to enter, turns back to Tony's body and begins feeding. I make a decision. The bird must die. It has tasted human flesh and knows the tribe's location. The tribe will never know peace otherwise. But I have no weapons. A direct fight is impossible. Then I notice the bird's long, powerful legs. My eyes light up. I immediately begin preparing. First, I find 2 fist-sized stones. I remove the snakeskin wrapped around my waist and tie a stone to each end. With this makeshift bola complete, I slip out through a gap in the cave entrance. The people inside are shocked. They want to pull me back but fear attracting the terror beak again. They can only watch anxiously from inside, becoming helpless spectators. I quietly hide in the bushes, crouching low as I advance. I stop about 500,600 meters from the terror beak. The bird is still enjoying its meal, unaware that it has become my prey. I stand slowly, gripping the middle of the snakeskin rope, spinning the bola rapidly. The 2 stones whirl outward, the centrifugal force snapping the rope taut. The terror beak senses the movement. It raises its head, screams and charges straight at me. It gets closer and closer. The women and children at the cave entrance scream in terror. But I remain perfectly still, steady as a rock. When the terror beak reaches 30 meters, I hurl the bola. The spinning weapon flies through the air. The moment it contacts the bird's long legs, it wraps tight. The terror beak, already within 10 meters, loses balance and crashes down. Its small wings flap uselessly. It cannot stand. The cave dwellers stand frozen, mouths hanging open in disbelief. I immediately call 2 children to hold down the bird's neck. I hoist a large stone and smash it down hard. Blood sprays from the terror beak's head. Its body stops struggling violently then goes completely still. The 2 children stare at me with awe in their eyes. I untie the snakeskin from the bird's legs, wrap it around my waist again, and signal the 2 boys to help me drag the terror beak back to the cave. The boys are now completely obedient, looking like devoted followers. Together, the 3 of us pull the massive bird by its legs toward the cave. Seeing 3 people bringing back such an enormous skill, the cave dwellers can no longer stay inside. They howl excitedly, push aside the boulder, and rush out to help. In the distance, the 2 adult men who had climbed the trees now descend. They witness the entire hunt. I took down a terror beak alone. They are deeply impressed. This is the first time their tribe has ever captured prey this large. Back at the cave, I tell the women to save the feathers for me. They can handle the rest. With a danger past, I continue weaving my basket. After about an hour, 2 woven baskets are complete. I fill them with some terror big innards and head toward the stream. A woman, seeing me heading to the stream alone, follows. She believes I am capable and wants to keep an eye on me. The 2 boys who just pledged their loyalty to me see me carrying another strange contraption and immediately chase after me. The group of 4 quickly reaches the stream. I stand on the bank, carefully observing. What I see makes my heart race. In just a few minutes, I witness several cases of big fish eating small fish. This stream has carnivorous fish, but I have to admit the ecosystem here is pristine. The water is so clear I can see straight to the bottom, and fish are everywhere. I choose a good spot, grip the grass rope attached to the basket and lower it into the water. The scent of meat spreads rapidly. Fish within 20 meters become agitated, swimming quickly toward the basket, diving inside to fight over the innards. I yank the basket out of the water. Aside from those that escaped, 4 large fish remain inside, and the fish in the stream have not fled. They are swarming below, still fighting over the scraps. It feels like feeding koi in a park. The 2 children and the adult woman are amazed. By putting that strange thing in the water and pulling it up, they can catch these legless creatures. But they still do not understand why. I dump the 4 fish on the ground, carefully clean them, cut off a piece of sashimi, and eat. Watching me devour the raw fish, they immediately understand this is food. They mimic me, cutting a piece and putting it in their mouths. The woman's eyes light up instantly. She realizes this is a new food source. She chatters excitedly, gesturing for me to teach her how to catch fish. But I do not let her do this work. Instead, I assign her and 1 child to clean the fish, while another child uses grass to string the cleaned fish on a stake to carry back to the tribe. I continue catching fish. Now all the fish are gathering together. I simply crouch on the bank and scoop with the basket. Each scoop brings a good haul. The 4 of us work all afternoon. By the end, we have caught over 200 fish, the largest weighing about 10 pounds. 3 people can carry them all back, so we send 1 child to fetch more helpers. Finally, the group carries and hauls our catch in a grand procession back toward the cave. By now, the gathering and hunting parties have all returned. Without proper tools, the adults only managed to catch small game, rabbits, wild chickens, and the like. Then the children arrived carrying fish, howling proudly, showing off their catch to the adults. The adults had been feeling down about the chief's death, but when they see my haul, they instantly cheer up. Tony's tragedy is quickly forgotten. After sorting today's harvest, all tribe members gather outside the cave. In the clearing before the entrance, they have piled a large stack of wood. Tony's body rests on top. An old man with 2 ram horns on his head lights the fire. The roaring flames quickly consume the chief's body. Firelight dances across every face. The children smell roasting meat and swallow their saliva. They feel no sadness. The adults, now with a new food source, remain calm. I take this opportunity to observe the tribe. The tribe currently has 52 members, 8 adult men, 15 adult women, and the rest are children of various ages. The old man who lit the fire is the tribe's elder. Because he is the oldest, everyone considers him the wisest person in the tribe. Though now, he might need to settle for second place, I am replacing him in everyone's hearts. There is also a man with 6 fingers who prefers using a wooden club. Likely due to inbreeding, he seems somewhat simple-minded. Next to 6 is a man wearing a feather necklace. He appears clever and, like 6, prefers a wooden club. Behind Feather is Stone, who wears a bow necklace and uses stones as weapons. Standing some distance away is a 15-year-old youth with only 1 ear and 4 scars across his left cheek. His weapon is a spear made from a straight leg bone. Next to Scar is 17-year-old Fang. His father was chief 2 generations ago. His weapons are 2-foot-long saber-toothed tiger fangs. Then there is Ox, the tallest in the tribe, powerfully built. His weapon is simple and brutal, just a leg bone. Finally, there is Flint, who walks with a cane. He now follows the gathering group, handling pathfinding and watch duty. He loves sharpening stone tools. They say his greatest dream is to grind out a stone plate before he dies. Overall, among all the men, Scar, Fang, and Ox represent the tribe's top fighting power. After burning the chief, darkness has fallen. Led by Elder Horn, everyone enters the cave to divide the food. Since no one has eaten fish before, today they make an exception. I distribute the food. I take a pre-roasted fish and demonstrate how to eat it and pick out the bones. Everyone mimics me, eating with relish. Perhaps because it is the first time they have eaten their fill, everyone grows happier as they eat. They even start dancing while eating. The scene suddenly gives me a sense of home. I silently vow to lead the tribe to a better life. After everyone finishes eating, Elderhorn takes a charred stick and records my fishing scene on the cave wall. Meanwhile, I teach the women to weave baskets. I add 2 grass ropes, converting them into backpacks. From now on, they won't need to carry fruit in animal hides, greatly improving gathering efficiency. The women love them immediately, taking turns trying them on, reluctant to put them down. Finally, they agree to gather more vines tomorrow to make their own. To show their gratitude, they select 2 deer hides from the gathering team and place them in my hands. From this moment, I become the first child in the tribe to wear animal hide, but I am not stingy. I keep one hide and give the other to the mothers of the 2 and 3-year-old children for making clothes for their kids. Children have weak immune systems, and in primitive society with no medical care, a simple cold or fever can be fatal. So this 1 deer hide is worth a life. I believe if I ever need their help, they won't turn their backs on me. The next morning, I wake early. After a simple set of military exercises, I feel thirsty. But looking at the stone basin where everyone drinks together, I can't bring myself to drink from it. It is time to make some vessels for holding water. Soon, tribe members emerge from the cave, chattering. But today, they do not rush out to hunt. Elder Horn gathers all the men at the clearing by the cave entrance. It seems they are selecting a new chief. I realize only by becoming chief can I command everyone, so I join the selection. The selection method is simple and brutal. 2 men fight without weapons. The strongest becomes the next chief. Soon, Scaranox emerge victorious. Watching them fight, I shake my head helplessly. There is no technique at all, just a contest of brute strength. Soon comes the match between Scaranox. At 6-3, Ox stands like an iron tower. Scar feels at a loss for how to approach, but he does not back down. Instead, he screams and launches the first attack. But the moment he reaches Ox, Ox's massive hands grab both his shoulders. Before Scar can react, Ox hurls him several meters away. He crashes to the ground with a thud and can't get up for some time. Ox beats his chest excitedly. The tribe members shout in excitement, showing their approval of this new chief. Then I walk up to him in just a few steps. There is still me. Ox sees me, a kid, daring to challenge him. He beats his chest and roars, but I do not back down. I stand before Ox in a fighting stance. Ox looks down at me, barely reaching his chest, with eyes full of confidence and contempt. The watching children cheer for me, howling encouragement. I do not hesitate. I rush at Ox, plant my left foot on Ox's slightly bent thigh and leap up. My right knee drives hard into Ox's jaw. Before anyone can react, Ox falls straight down, rolling on the ground, groaning. The tribe members are instantly stunned. Ox is the tribe's strongest warrior. Even if he lost, he should not have been defeated in one move. And by me, an enraged child, no less. Elder Horn suddenly becomes very excited. A feeling, baseless but powerful, rises in his heart. The entire tribe might grow stronger and stronger because of this child before he can make any announcement. The tribe members have already lifted me high, tossing me in the air to celebrate the birth of their new chief. In just 2 days, I have brought too many miracles to the tribe. This result is what everyone hoped for. Ox has recovered by now. He is clearly still not convinced. Amid the crowd shock cries, he charges at me again. Seeing this, I immediately flip down. When Ox reaches me, I grab 2 of his fingers and yank them forward forcefully. Then, with a sidestep, I circle behind Ox and kick hard at the back of his knee. Ox falls face first to the ground. The more he struggles, the more it hurts. In less than 2 minutes, even a powerhouse like Ox has no choice but to beg for mercy, tears and snot streaming down his face. I finally release the sobbing big guy, dust off my hands, and walk into the cave. The crowd erupts again. The children celebrate excitedly, their first time defeating an adult. The women discuss where they saw vines, planning to have me teach them to weave more backpacks tonight. Elder Horn stares at the cave with a complex expression, lost in thought. At that moment, I emerge with a completely new look. I wear a simple deer hide. My jet black hair is bound up with a strip of snake skin. I look clean, sharp, and capable. This is my carefully considered new style. They say this appearance dates back to ancient times. Early farmers began binding their hair because loose hair was inconvenient for field work. It became an important symbol of agricultural civilization. Under the tribe's starstruck gazes, I walk into the crowd and begin assigning today's tasks. First, I reorganize the gathering team. The tribe now has 15 adult women. 6 are pregnant. The remaining 9, plus Flynn, make 10 people. But today, I only send 8 women to gather. Now that they have backpacks, they do not need Flynn for protection. Each woman can carry a stick for self-defense. The 6 pregnant women stay behind to watch the home and care for the 2 and 3-year-olds. The older children will gather grass. The remaining woman will take 2 boys to catch fish at the stream. Now everyone has work, but Flint has not received an assignment. He seems dejected. For this man who vowed to spend his life grinding out a stone plate, I plan to have him make pottery. But pottery making is not simple. It requires a lot of preparation. So for now, I assign him something else. Yesterday's fish are not dried yet. Without salt, they will rot quickly in this weather. Smoke curing can preserve them for years. So I demonstrate the process for Flint, then leave it all to him. Meanwhile, I find a flat area in front of the cave and begin digging a pit to build a kiln. The kiln has 3 levels. The bottom is for ash removal and airflow, the middle for adding fir wood, and the top for placing pottery. After 3 or 4 hours of work, the kiln is finally built. But a wet kiln can't be used. I call the two boys from yesterday's fishing trip and have them stack fir wood in each level to burn. By this afternoon, it should be ready. After assigning all the work, I personally go to the stream to select clay. I find a smooth, flat pebble to use as a work surface. After pounding and kneading the clay, I shape it. Soon, the first small water jar, narrow at the bottom, wide at the top, is complete. Following the same method, I make 3 more, placing them all beside the cave to dry. Then come several 2-handle cooking pots, dozens of clay bowls, and some small utensils. These items do not need to be beautiful, just functional. I still are not sure how many of these will survive the firing. When the afternoon is halfway through, I place all the half-dried pieces into the kiln. The two boys in flint stand nearby, watching intently. The new chief has made so many clay vessels in one day, they just do not know if they will work. I ignore them. I sit by the fire pit, add them plenty of fir wood, and stay there until evening. The tribe members out gathering and hunting return one by one. The women's harvest is abundant. Backpacks filled with wild fruit and large bundles of vines, clearly planning to make more backpacks. The men's catch is also good today. 2 large birds that look like turkeys, some eggs, and several groundhogs. Adding today's 100+ fish, the tribe's total harvest is substantial. All the food we can eat today can be stored. With those pregnant women about to give birth, they will have plenty of food. When the clay balls begin turning white, I stop adding fir wood. I let the fire die naturally and cool overnight. Tomorrow morning, we can open the kiln. After a day of labor, the tribe members are exhausted. But as they gather around the campfire, every face wears a happy smile. No more hunger. Most importantly, I have turned the 2 large birds into clay-baked chicken. They have never tasted such delicious food, but I have no appetite. The food only has a tiny bit of coarse salt. You can barely taste it. Salt is precious right now. They say it was traded from another tribe. I am already calculating in my mind. Can I trade pottery for more salt? After everyone eats, the women return to the cave to weave baskets. They have discovered backpacks are truly useful. Today, despite having fewer people in the gathering team, they collected more than before. I distribute all the animal hides. Now several children can huddle together under blankets. The next morning, I immediately check the pottery firing results. Flint rushes over with Elder Horn, chattering nervously to the elder. I myself am extremely nervous. My salt trading plan and my dream of meat soup all depend on this. With the anticipation of breaking open a golden egg, I lift the dirt cover off the kiln and peer inside. All the clay balls are a vibrant terracotta red, as if glazed, unexpectedly smooth. Seeing this, Flint snatches up a bowl, running his hands over it excitedly. He then stumbles back to the cave. Moments later, he returns carrying a bowl of water, howling with joy, proudly showing the tribe this beautiful water-holding vessel. I smile and continue removing the pottery. 4 cooking pots and 4 small water jars came out perfectly, smooth surfaces without a single crack. Of the 8 spoons, only 2 survived. The rest melted and stuck together. Of the 20+ clay bowls, only 12 are usable. Piece after piece of terracotta pottery emerges from the kiln. The tribe members feel nothing but shock and excitement. Fang and Ox move fastest. Each grabs a jar and runs to the stream. Soon, they return with 2 jars of water. Though Elder Horn is excited, he maintains his composure. He gestures and speaks to me, asking how this was done. Before I can answer, yesterday's 2 helpers eagerly jump in to explain. But my main concern is whether I can trade for salt. I express this question to Elder Horn. Unexpectedly, Elder Horn looks at me like he is looking at a wasteful child. He points at the various pottery pieces, then at the adults and children of the tribe, explaining in their language just how precious these things are. When I finally understand, I am completely shocked. Even a single bowl can be traded for an almost adult boy or 2 girls, never mind the water jars and cooking pots. Among the various tribes, water-holding vessels are extremely rare. Spending a lifetime grinding out a stone plate is normal. To obtain more vessels, some tribes will trade people without hesitation. They think having too many people is useless and just consumes more food. But I believe more people can obtain more food and increase the tribe's fighting strength. New members bring fresh blood to the tribe. With this in mind, I immediately assign a trading mission. Elder Horn and all 7 members of the hunting party will set out using 1 water jar, 1 cooking pot, and 3 clay bowls to trade for people and salt. Trade the water jar for 2 adult women. Trade the cooking pot for 2 almost adult boys. Trade all 3 clay bowls for precious salt crystals collected from mountain rocks. If there is no salt, trade the bowls for girls. After giving instructions, the group immediately departs. I continue assigning tasks to the other tribe members. The trade is with a tribe to the west. Over a mountain and across a valley, the group quickly reaches their destination. This tribe is slightly larger than Riverstone tribe, with about 80 to 90 people. The 2 tribes have traded with each other before. Seeing Elder Horn's group arrive with goods to trade, Chief Bolgap of the other tribe immediately comes out to greet them. After a brief conversation, Elder Horn pulls a clay bowl from his backpack and hands it to him. Trade this for salt. Baldcap's eyes light up immediately. This clay bowl is smooth inside and out and much lighter than his tribe's stone basin. He immediately has two tribe members fetch a small bag of white crystals and hand it to Elder Horn. But Elder Horn glances at the bag and shakes his head. We need more. And this time, we also want to trade for 2 adult women. He has Ox take out the water jar. Baldcap is stunned. This stone basin is huge. It can store so much more water. But the next moment, he hesitates. Trading 2 women for 1 such large stone basin is definitely a good deal, but right now it is autumn, the season for collecting food. 1 fewer person means less harvest, but in the end, he agrees with a smile. 1 fewer person means less consumption, right? This is a steal. Soon, 2 teen women are brought over. They are adult sisters. The older sister is holding a 4-year-old naked little boy. The boy's eyes are closed, motionless, clearly sick. We will trade these 2 people for your big stone basin. That little boy will throw in for free. Baldcap waves dismissively, seeming to hurry the 2 women along. Elder Horn looks at the 2 weak women, but says nothing. He has Stone pull out the cooking pot and remaining clay bowls from his backpack. If you want it, you can trade, boys. Chief Baldcap just got the large jar. Now, seeing the smaller one, he likes it but waves his hand, indicating he won't trade. Seeing this, Elder Horn can only follow my morning instructions, demonstrate on the spot. He uses the clay pot to cook a pot of meat soup. Soon, rich media aroma wafts from the pot. The other tribe's members immediately start drooling. Meat can be eaten this way. Chief Baldcap eagerly takes the clay bowl from Elder Horn's hands. It is filled with several chunks of stewed meat and soup. Baldcap hesitantly takes a sip and is instantly stunned. My goodness, it is so delicious. The savory soup has a beautiful layer of oil floating on top. That tender, juicy stewed meat. 1 bite and his whole body feels amazing. Just a few kids. Trade. Must trade. Now, Baldcap is finally generous. He readily hands over the people and has his underlings bring out a large bag of salt crystals, filling Ox's entire backpack. Seeing this, Elder Horn nods with satisfaction. The group then sets off on the return journey. They came with 7 people. With the 9 people they acquired, they return with 16. This haul is better than a full day of hunting. The group hurries along and finally returns to Riverstone Tribe near evening. But the moment these newly acquired people reach the clearing at the cave entrance, they are all stunned. At the cave entrance sit 4 water jars, 4 pots, and a large stack of bowls that Flint made today. Flint is staring at the pot terry with a silly grin. This is the happiest day of his life. On another part of the clearing, several hundred large fish hang drying. The women nearby are all smiling happily. This is all meat. Now they can catch meat too. The newly traded adults and children are especially shocked. A single stone basin can trade for 2 adults, yet this tribe has so many. And those hanging meat should all be edible. Coming to this tribe seems pretty good. Elder Horn brings the people to report to me. 8 naked people plus 1 naked child. I squint as I walk past each of them. They are all skin and bones. Clearly second-rate goods, but no matter. The tribe has plenty of meat. 1 winter and they will all fill out. I finally stop in front of the woman holding the child. The child is motionless, face flushed red. I touch the child's forehead. It is burning like a small furnace. I quickly pull the woman into the cave. First, I find an animal hide to wrap the mother and child, having them sit by the fire pit to warm up. Meanwhile, I pace anxiously. There are no medicines. How can I reduce the fever? Suddenly my eyes light up. Right. Scraping therapy can reduce fever. With this thought, I immediately start preparing. First, I put a pot of clear fish soup on the fire pit. Then I look for a bone suitable for scraping. The Terabix beak was half a meter long. Smashing off a small piece will be enough. The woman holding the child does not know what I am doing. Ear liar, I touched her child and have been frowning ever since. She worries I might abandon her child. Thinking this, tears start flowing. Just then, I walk up to her with a piece of big fragment. Give me the child. I can help save him. The woman does not understand the words, but she can sense that I treat her better than the previous chief. Trembling, she hands the child over. I use the bone fragment to scrape red marks across the child's body. The sleeping child's face wrinkles in pain, whimpers, escaping his mouth. Before long, I return the child, now covered in red scrape marks, to her. I then ladle a bowl of fish soup and spoon feed it to her child. The child must have been starving for days. He swallows immediately upon tasting it. I breathe a sigh of relief. If he can eat, there is still hope. As long as he can sweat out the fever in a while, this little life will be saved. The woman finally relaxes. Though she does not know what I was doing, it clearly was not meant to harm her child. As she relaxes, her stomach, empty for 2 days, starts gurgling. She stares at the fish soup, swallowing. I immediately ladle a bowl of fish soup with a large piece of fish and hand it to her. Then I take the child from her arms, wrap him tightly in animal hide and hold him. Right now, my mind is troubled. A simple fever can be a death sentence. The eating problem is temporarily solved. What about clothing? To accumulate as many hides as possible, I need to hunt large animals. But current weapons simply can't do it. In future hunts, I must go along to find materials for better weapons. At the very least, I need to set up some traps. I silently vow, before winter arrives, everyone will have clothing. After everyone finishes eating, the little boy wakes up, drenched in sweat. I hand him back to the woman. I personally bind the boy's hair into a top knot and give him a name, Sprout. The woman is overjoyed. The new tribe's chief not only saved her child but personally gave him the same hairstyle as everyone else. This means I have accepted them. After finishing this, I begin crafting my own equipment. I select a fairly straight stick. I attach the spear point ground from the Terabix's leg bone to one end. A primitive bone spear is born. Next, I break off some pieces of the Terabix's beak and grind them into a short knife. I give the remaining materials to Flint to craft his own weapon. Right now, equipment consists of just these two items. I have to make everything myself. Early the next morning, after the tribe members wake up, I assign new tasks. Flint continues making pottery. We must first ensure everyone has a bowl. The adult women split into two teams. One for gathering wild fruit, one for catching fish. The remaining children stay behind to help. I personally lead the hunt. The hunting party's full roster, plus my two usual followers, Chirp and Skip, and the newly acquired brothers Reed and Brooke, makes a team of 11. We stride into the forest as the sun rises. After entering the forest, the hunting party spreads out. Each adult hunts on his own. I bring my 4 young followers. They carry backpacks and a bundle of grass rope to assist me. Most trees in this forest bear nuts. Each tree stands over 30 meters tall. Looking at the trunks, over a meter in diameter, I can do nothing with them. Nuts litter the ground. In the distance, I can see large birds foraging on the ground. But along this route, I only observe. I do not hunt any animals. As an excellent hunter, I must first understand what is in my hunting ground. Soon, I find wild boar tracks. Judging from the chaotic footprints, it is a group. But the depth of those prints truly frightens me. The weight must be at least 8,000 pounds or more. I advance cautiously in that direction. Finally cresting a ridge, my eyes light up. Ahead in the valley lies a sparkling stream. To the west grow massive reeds. Over a dozen thunder boars are drinking water. Clearly a complete family. The lead male probably weighs 1,500 pounds. Behind him follow 3 sows and over a dozen piglets the size of domestic pigs. Charging straight in would be suicide. I need to set traps. I quietly back away, staying close to the ground and return to the forest. My young followers are terrified. They have never seen prey this large. I do not count on them at all. I begin setting traps alone. Using grass rope on the boar tracks, I make several figure 6 snares, tying the other end directly to large trees. Once a hoof steps in, the snare auto-tightens. The more it struggles, the tighter it gets. For safety, I have the boys climb trees. Now I just need to make the boar herd turn back. I quietly circle to the other side of the stream. I cover myself in mud, hold up 2 branches and suddenly leap out from behind the bushes, screaming at the top of my lungs. The boar herd has never seen such a creature. They immediately bolt toward the forest. I chase from behind, shouting as I run. Soon agonized squeals echo from ahead. When I reach the trap area, I see the lead male and an adult sow lying on the ground. The grass rope won't hold much longer. I carefully approach with my bone spear. Timing it perfectly, I thrust hard into its open mouth. The sharp bone spear pierces straight through the back of its neck. Blood sprays out like it is free. Within moments, the 1,500-pound beast finally collapses, its body twitching occasionally. I finally breathe a long sigh of relief. But soon a problem presents itself. How can 5 children get this massive boar back? Looking at the struggling sow nearby, my eyes suddenly light up. First, I secure the sow to a tree with grass rope. Then tie its mouth shut to prevent biting. Next, I tie 2 ropes to the sow's 2 front legs. Finally, I tie the male boar's rope to the sow's body. Once everything is done, I lead the way by pulling the sow's snout. Chirp and Skip each hold one of the sow's front legs, walking on either side. Reed and Brooke carry sticks at the rear for security. We trek through the dense forest until finally, in the distance, we spot the tribe's cave. A young tribe member clearing brush outside is the first to spot US. He howls, alerting the tribe. Soon everyone swarms out to meet US, but no one dares get close. They have never seen prey this large. I call Flint over and have him prepare a water jar and salt. When Flint brings the jar, I dig a pit in the ground and place the jar inside, with a rim barely above ground level. Then everyone pins the sow beside the jar. I plunge my knife into its neck. The blood sprays out without wasting a drop, all flowing into the jar. Soon it is filled to the brim. I pour in a bowl of salt water and stir it evenly. Before long, it will become delicious blood pudding for tonight's soup. The thunder boar hide can be processed to make boots or bags. These two boars should yield plenty. Under the hide lies a white layer of lard, 4-finger steak. I will render it over the fire soon. Everything else, except the lungs which will be used for fishing bait, is edible. Even the larger bones are stripped out. They can be ground into weapons. The entire afternoon passes. All my efforts go into processing this 2,000-pound boars. It is exhausting work, but the results are truly rewarding. The smoking racks are filled with chunks of meat of all sizes. 1 jar holds cooked blood pudding and 3 jars brim with pure white lard. The children giggle as they pick up crispy pork cracklings and even little Sprout enjoys the feast. As Flint opens the kiln to retrieve the pottery in the evening, the main work groups return from their day's labor. The fishing team brings back several hundred fish. The hunting team does equally well with 3 pheasants, 2 large snakes, over a dozen bird eggs, a dozen ground squirrels, and a basket of nuts. Even more surprising, today Maple leads the gathering team and discovers a new food source, an incredibly sweet tree root. When cut open, the outer skin reveals natural amber-colored sugar inside. Collecting more of this could allow us to refine white sugar. I specifically praise the young woman for this discovery. Everyone enjoys dinner immensely. However, Elder Horn wears a dark expression, holding a thorny vine covered with red spines chasing after Maple and repeatedly striking her. From the original owner's memories, I know this vine serves as the tribe's disciplinary tool, used only for those who commit serious offenses. Seeing this, I quickly intervene, stopping the furious elder and asking why he is punishing her. The elder claims that these roots are bait from the thorn tree, and anyone who eats them will be devoured by it. Hearing this, I immediately tell everyone to stop consuming the roots. Not because I truly believe the elder's claim, but because I worry the roots might be poisonous or addictive. Because of this incident, I remain vigilant throughout the night, carefully monitoring my body for any changes. Fortunately, nothing happens. When daylight arrives and people emerge, I begin organizing the day's work. Everything proceeds as usual. With one exception, Sprout and his mother join the fishing team, while I take 4 younger boys to join the gathering team. I want to investigate this so-called thorn tree that Elder Horn mentioned. The tree's location lies deep in the mountain behind the cave. This mountain has few tall trees, but the shrubs grow incredibly dense and fruit trees are plentiful. During the journey, I make a delightful discovery, the chili peppers I have been longing for. A bright red patch hides among the shrubs. The tribe members never eat this because the intense spicy taste makes them believe the peppers are inedible. I immediately instruct my 4 companions to focus solely on harvesting chili peppers today. I then continue with the gathering team. After crossing a ridge, a basin comes into view. Animal bones with a greenish tint scatter everywhere, resembling a mass grave. In the center of this basin stands a bizarre tree, roughly 60 meters tall. Its roots cover an area of 500 meters in radius. The closer to the center, the more root bulbs appear. This pattern seems designed to lure animals toward the trunk. My instincts tell me that approaching the trunk means greater danger. Still, I decide to move closer, confident in my abilities to escape if needed. With each step, I probe the ground ahead with my bone spear, slowly advancing toward the center. When my spear touches the area beneath the tree's canopy, my special forces training triggers an alert. Danger approaches. I quickly withdraw my spear and retreat along the same path. At that moment, a whooshing sound fills the air. Over a dozen thorns, each nearly a meter long, shoot straight into the ground, targeting exactly where my spear had touched. Each thorn measures nearly a centimeter in diameter, with a bowl-sized white flower at the tail end. These are natural arrows. My excitement soars as the story of borrowing arrows with straw boats flashes through my mind. I use my woven basket as a target, tie a long rope to it, and toss it under the canopy. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Instantly, over a dozen thorns embed themselves in the basket. Repeating this process, I soon collect 2 large bundles of devil thorns. Before leaving, I instruct the women that the roots are edible, but they should only harvest from the outer areas. On the way back to the tribe, I collect 100 saplings from the thorn tree in the forest. These saplings have grown to about 3 centimeters thick, standing perfectly straight. They make ideal material for spears. I call my 4 companions who are harvesting peppers, and together the 5 of us carry these saplings home. Back at the tribe, children gather around to observe what I have brought back. However, in the eyes of the pregnant women, everything seems useless. The peppers are not edible, and the stakes are not thick enough to kill prey. But this does not dampen my enthusiasm in the slightest. For the remaining time, I focus on upgrading my equipment. The peeled devil thorns have a fine, hard texture, with a diameter similar to a cigarette. If made into arrows, they would be heavy arrows. Though this affects range, their penetrating power would be formidable. The 3 centimeter thick saplings, due to their hard wood, need their surfaces carbonized and sharpened into points. They would definitely work well for hunting. Naturally, the task of sharpening spear tips goes to the 4 younger boys. Eventually, everyone in the tribe will be equipped with these new white shaft spears. Now all that is missing is a bow. Given current conditions, only longbows are feasible. Though cumbersome, their power remains formidable. Making longbows requires fir wood. The forest where we caught the wild boar yesterday has some. I just need to find appropriately sized pieces. Actually, what I truly value most is the aloe I discovered while hunting the boar. The fibers and aloe leaves make excellent material for making ropes and can also be woven into fabric for clothing. Though not as good as rimi, it is far superior to animal hides and very durable. Most importantly, the juice from aloe leaves can treat wounds, providing both anti-inflammatory and detoxifying properties, as well as heat-clearing and fever-reducing effects. With this in mind, I plan to begin large-scale aloe cultivation next year. By then, tribe members will have clothes to wear, and it will greatly reduce deaths from infected hunting injuries. The next day, I arrive at the forest where we caught the wild boar. I am fortunate to find 2 fir trees, knocked down by some animal and already air-dried. They are perfect for bow making. Spending an entire day, I first prepare stone axes and stone knives. After a full day of chopping and carving, a 5-foot-long bow finally takes shape. After another careful day of adjusting and polishing, it is complete. The bowstring is twisted from sisal fibers. All the arrows are made from the ready-made devil thorns with fletching from the Terror Bake's blue-green feathers. I make over 200 arrows in one go. 2 days later, I gather all tribe members in the clearing. 30 meters away stands a grass target with several ground squirrels we caught today hanging on it. First, I demonstrate the throwing spear, piercing the target from 30 meters away. Then I show close-range spear combat. The tribe members watch with great excitement. Only now do they realize that I have been making weapons this past few days. Except for very young children, I distribute 1 spear to every tribe member. Hunting team members each receive 3, 2 for throwing and 1 for close combat. The adolescents must practice spear throwing every day in addition to clearing grass and playing. The white shaft spears look impressive. The tribe members cherish these new weapons. Besides throwing stones, this is their only ranged attack option. Next, I demonstrate the bow and arrows. From roughly 100 paces away, I shoot 5 consecutive arrows, all hitting the ground squirrels. Everyone stands amazed, crowding forward eagerly, wanting to touch the weapon. However, I only demonstrate it for them. I do not plan to promote it yet, as making bows is simply too difficult. After successfully promoting the spears, I begin making boots. 2 black boar hides, after multiple rounds of tanning, have become extremely strong and flexible. To ensure everyone gets a pair, only my boots are made entirely from boar hide. All other tribe members have boots with boar hide soles and uppers sewn from various small animal furs. I make Sprouts boots myself. The boot shafts reach up to the knees, filled with soft furry animal hair inside, making them exceptionally warm. The little one shows them off to everyone daily after putting them on. After all my work, the tribe's limited supply of small hide pieces has been completely used up. The weather grows colder and the need for animal hides becomes urgent. Now that we have enough pottery, I assign Flint a new task, making bricks. Once we have enough bricks, we can build a larger kiln, or even use them to build walls and houses. The grass clearing task I assigned to the young companions is nearly complete. The entire area outside the cave, spanning dozens of acres, has been cleared. Whether for building houses or farming, the land is ready. We just lack suitable seeds for now. We can only plant some chili peppers. Sisal is a perennial plant. I plan to plant it on the back mountain and harvest it once a year. Having arranged this long-term task, I prepare to travel farther to search for large herbivores. I have already prepared all necessary equipment for the journey, weapons, food, and supplies. After briefing the tribe members, I shoulder my woven basket and set off. Elder Horn's face shows deep concern about my journey. He has never seen anyone survive spending a night outside the cave. Herbivores typically inhabit grasslands. First, I must exit this endless forest. After walking an entire morning, the trees grow shorter. This pleases me. It is a sign I am about to leave the forest. The morning's journey leaves me parched. I approach a river, wanting to drink. Just as I kneel down and take out my clay bowl to scoop water, the calm river surface suddenly erupts. A massive creature emerges. A gaping maw full of serrated teeth lunges at me. I quickly turn my back. The water beast bites down on my woven basket. Its mouth becomes stuck on the basket. It can spit it out or bite through it. It can only thrash its head violently from side to side. I get dragged into the water, swinging left and right. In this critical moment, I struggle to pull out the bird-beak dagger from my boot and cut one strap of the basket. This allows me to turn around with great effort. With one hand, I desperately grip the remaining strap. With the other, I grip the dagger and stab repeatedly at the water beast's head. The beast thrashes even more violently, lifting me high out of the water, then slamming me down hard, dragging me through the water in a wild rampage. I flip myself onto the beast's head and drive the blade savagely into both its eyes. Blood mixed with brain matter gushes from the eye sockets, clouding a large area of water. Gradually, the beast's struggles weaken, finally reducing to mere twitching. I swim exhaustively to the opposite shore. After resting briefly, the water beast dies completely, floating belly up on the river surface with my woven basket still firmly lodged in its mouth. I find a sturdy vine, thread it through the beast's eye sockets, and with tremendous effort, drag it ashore. Only then do I have time to examine this creature carefully. It turns out to be just a fish, measuring about 5 meters in length. After resting, I pick up my stone axe and begin knocking out the fish's plate-like teeth, the triangular teeth, each as large as a child's palm, number over 50. After removing them all, I retrieve my basket, checking the contents. Fortunately, the firekeeper did not get wet. Some other items suffered minor damage but remain usable. Just as I consider making a fire to dry my clothes, footsteps suddenly sound from the forest. Turning my head, I see a pale-skinned woman with a young girl, both staring at me in terror. Immediately, they both scream and run away, leaving behind something round on the ground. I walk over to investigate. It is a wooden bucket, made by hollowing out a solid log section. By the looks of it, those two women must have come to fetch water. Now they have dropped the bucket and fled. They will probably return with others soon. Sure enough, before long, the woman who came for water returns with several of her tribe members. They wear white animal hide robes. Their skin so pale it looks powdered. The group stares at the giant fish behind me with astonishment. A man who appears to be their chief makes eye contact with me and points at the wooden bucket. I immediately understand. I lift the bucket with my spear and hand it to the chief. The chief accepts the bucket, chattering something unintelligible, then points at the giant fish behind me. Though I can't understand the words, seeing him point at the fish makes the meaning clear enough. I step aside to reveal the fish. The group immediately rushes over and begins beating the giant fish furiously. Several women even burst into tears. The leading man smiles, pounds his chest with his fist, then extends his fist toward me. I look bewildered. However, seeing the friendly smile, it probably is not a challenge to fight. Hesitantly, I bump fist with him. The man laughs heartily and gives me a warm embrace, then starts chattering and gesturing animatedly with me. Even without shared language, expressions and body language allow communication. I tell him I came from across the river, searching for animals with horns on their heads. The man nods in understanding, then explains that many from his tribe have been eaten by this fish. To thank me for killing it, he hopes I will visit their tribe as a guest. Evening approaches and the two tribes are not far apart. Perhaps we can trade goods in the future. So I accept the invitation. I indicate they can take the fish. It is edible. The man looks surprised. In their experience, fish eat people, not the other way around. Still, he agrees. Because the fish is so large, they must butcher it first before carrying it away in pieces. I continue working. The silverfish skin measures 4 meters long and 3.5 meters wide. It is smooth, elastic and most importantly waterproof. I decisively keep it. The rest of the fish meat, after cleaning, gets cut into several large pieces for carrying. The tribe is located in the forest. After just 10 minutes of walking, we reach a massive tree hollow. The interior space measures only about 100 square meters. Though small, it is sufficient for their needs because their population is truly tiny. Only 14 adults in total and including all the children, only 32 people altogether. I call this tribe that lives in a tree hollow the Tree Hollow tribe. Their pale skin comes from living their entire lives in this dark forest. Their elder points east and tells me that beyond the shadow forest in that direction stands a mountain like clouds in the sky. On that mountain lives a species with 2 sharp horns on their heads. They run fast as the wind. No one can catch them. From his description, I guess they must be large antelopes or similar creatures. Chasing them would be futile, but I could set traps in advance. At this moment, I feel confident. However, Timber and Elder Bark do not hold much hope for me. Seeing the elder finish speaking, Timber recommends his own clothing to me. It is made from the hide of giant hares, creatures over half a meter long. These hares feed on moss and mushrooms in the forest. This shadow forest has plenty of them. My eyes light up immediately. Hares are excellent creatures. Like rats, they breed prolifically, commonly producing 5 or more offspring per litter. Young hares reach sexual maturity 4 months after birth and can breed again, averaging 1 litter every 2 months. If I could bring back 2 pairs of adult hares and domesticate them, within a year they would multiply into hundreds. By then, the entire tribe would not lack clothing and hare meat would become an important food source. After dinner, Timber says he is taking tribe members hunting and asks if I want to join. I feel momentarily surprised. However, since hares are nocturnal animals, nighttime hunting makes perfect sense. So I agree. Arriving at the destination, I do not participate. I quietly hide to the side, watching how they catch hares. Timber leads his people in collecting mushrooms, placing them beneath an iron oak tree. The group then conceals themselves nearby. Before long, a plump hare hops over, alertly surveying its surroundings. Seeing nothing amiss, it slowly approaches the mushrooms. At that moment, Timber and his group rush out using branches with dense twigs. They quickly immobilize the hare, then finish it off with a wooden spike. This is encirclement hunting, and they catch it alive. I instantly want to trade with them. How wonderful it would be if they could help me catch hares. We move to another location and set up mushrooms again. This time, I decide to show my skills. I take out the longbow and pull out an arrow. Timber stares bewildered, not knowing what this thing is. Just then, another hare cautiously appears. Still over 10 meters from the mushrooms, Timber quickly tugs at me, signaling me to prepare to rush forward together. I ignore him. Instead, I draw the bow, knock the arrow, and whoosh. With one shot, the arrow pierces straight through the hare's neck. Timber stares at my bow in complete bewilderment. I smile, hand the longbow to him, give him an arrow, and teach him hand over hand how to draw the bow. He shoots another arrow at the hare on the ground. Whoosh! The arrow embeds itself halfway into the ground. The three Hollow tribe members gasp in amazement, fascinated by this miraculous weapon. Seeing Timber hold the bow lovingly, reluctant to let go, I give him a feathered arrow as a symbol of our friendship. The rest of the hunt becomes my solo performance. In half a night, I shoot over a dozen hares. This number exceeds their wildest imagination. Usually, catching 3 or 4 in a day is considered excellent. This also makes the three Hollow tribe secretly wonder about the strength of my tribe. Upon returning following my request, the hare hides from this hunt go to me, while the meat goes to the three Hollow tribe. Naturally, they have no objections. If I stay here a while longer, I can definitely collect enough hides from my tribe. I have achieved my goal for this expedition, but I want to travel farther and explore this world more thoroughly. Moreover, I am very interested in the animals Elder Bark mentioned. Perhaps capturing a few alive to pull carts would not be bad. The next day at dawn, I replenish my food and fire supplies and bid farewell to Timber. I also ask him to help catch some live hares, feeding them grass and mushrooms daily. When I return, I will trade other game for them. Timber does not want me to leave. After all, with me here, they would survive this winter much better. But he knows I have more important matters to attend to. Bidding farewell to the three Hollow tribe, I walk along, cutting branches and inserting them in the ground as markers. After 2 full days of travel, I finally exit the dark forest. The view suddenly opens up before me, an expansive grassland stretches ahead with only scattered trees visible. Animal tracks from herbivores appear on the ground. I take out my bow and arrows and carefully scout ahead. Soon, the scene before me makes me laugh with joy. A herd of blue antelopes, roughly the size of domestic donkeys, peacefully graze with their heads low-red. This could work perfectly as draft animals. I instantly decide to capture them alive. However, these blue antelopes clearly are not to be trifled with. Just looking at the sharp horns on their heads makes it clear, if I rashly approach an all-dozen charge at once, the entire tribe would be wiped out. After careful observation, I notice this is the animals' mating season. Among this herd of blue antelopes, only one adult male exists. The others include 8 females and 8 juveniles. Realizing this, I immediately form a plan. Using the same method I used against the Terebic, I will first control the male, and the others will naturally follow. I carefully retreat to a safe distance and begin making a bola. Soon, I return with the bola, quietly hiding behind a shrub waiting for the right moment. I quickly find a good opportunity. The male antelope mounts a female, singing joyfully. I rapidly swing the bola. Like a propeller, it flies toward the mating pair, instantly untangling the hind legs of both blue antelopes. Both animals shudder violently and collapse to the ground with a thud, crying out continuously. Next, I swing a rope loop, cowboy style, and throw it swiftly, landing it perfectly around the hooves of 2 nearby female antelopes. The blue antelope herd instantly panics and scatters in all directions. Before long, several blue antelopes become tightly tangled together, crying out and struggling. The remaining 2 females, seeing the situation, flee with 8 juveniles. I watch helplessly as 10 antelopes escape, unable to do anything. I can only tie up the legs of the remaining blue antelopes with rope. Completely taming wild animals is very difficult. For aggressive species like blue antelopes, their pride must first be broken. So I use my stone axe to smash off their prized horns, then use heated charcoal to cauterize the stumps, preventing regrowth. An antelope that was violently struggling becomes as docile as a quail. Finally, I find rope, tie the male antelope at the front as the leader, and link all the others in a chain. By the time I finish, the sky has nearly darkened. I lead them to a small stream and stew dried hare meat for dinner. To the northeast of the stream rises a colorful stone mountain. Under the setting sun's glow, it reflects brilliant multicolored light. Judging by the colors alone, I determine this is a banded mineral vein where multiple minerals coexist. This discovery thrills me immensely. I want to investigate, but the sky has completely darkened. I can only suppress my impulse for now. The next day, just as dawn breaks, a commotion wakes me. The scene before me nearly makes me jump for joy. In the grove where I tied the blue antelopes, the 2 females that escaped yesterday have returned with 8 juveniles. Somehow they have even brought along another adult male. I quietly hide in the bushes and repeat my strategy. After another series of maneuvers, my antelope team grows from 7 to 18. By now, daylight has fully arrived. In high spirits, I ride the male antelope toward Rainbow Ridge. This place truly overflows with treasures. After careful observation, I discovered this is actually a rich copper mine. The other colors represent associated minerals in the copper ore. With these ores, making bronze tools becomes far less distant. The associated minerals also have uses. The orange mineral is realgar, which can serve as medicine. Applied externally, it treats snake and insect bites. Taken internally, it eliminates parasites. The white substance is kaolin clay, useful for making crucibles for smelting iron. The large red mounds are termite nests, but the weathered soil inside makes excellent pottery material. Conveniently, Rainbow Ridge is only 3 days' walk from my tribe. Using blue antelopes to pull carts can make the journey even faster. I just need to build a bridge first upon returning. Having planned for the future, I take time to appreciate the surrounding scenery. East of Rainbow Ridge, the water system thrives, forming endless marshlands. At the mountain's base, lush water plants create a paradise for animals and plants. Knee-high ryegrass, waist-high pasture grass, and elephant grass growing as tall as trees, these are all favorites of herbivores. The clearing in front of the tribe's cave would be perfect for growing these pasture grasses. My rabbit racing enterprise and these blue antelopes, who will soon become laborers, all depend on these grasses for sustenance. There are also water lakes and water celery. Taking some back would supplement our vitamin intake. In half an afternoon, I collect a bag full of grass seeds, tie it to a female antelope's back, and begin searching for dinner. Soon, a thunder goose with a 5-meter wingspan falls from the sky, struck by 2 of my arrows. I pluck every feather suitable for arrow fletching. I plan to roast the entire bird to replenish the nearly depleted dried hair meat in my basket. But as I crouch by the water's edge, butchering the goose, an unexpected discovery nearly moves me to tears. In the bird's stomach, I find undigested rice grains. Moreover, this rice is completely unfamiliar to me. Each grain is larger than a mung bean. This is the first grain crop I have discovered in this world. My immediate thought, I must find it. That night, I do not rest. I gather tree branches and begin urgently crafting equipment for entering the marsh. I must harvest that rice before the animals do. Early the next morning, I carry my simply dug-out canoe, find a spot with slightly deeper water, and paddle toward the depths of the marshlands. Meanwhile, in the shadow forest, Timber leads his tribe members in catching giant hares. To meet the needs of both me and their own tribe, the entire tribe works around the clock, leaving only the elder and children under 6 to watch the camp. To increase yields, he even resorts to aggressive methods. Upon finding a hare burrow, they dig it out directly. If the hares won't emerge, they use fire and smoke. This method proves effective. He catches quite a few, including several litters of newborn hares. However, this hunting method brings disaster to their tribe. In this season, every tribe must store food. The cannibal tribe is no exception. Their food source is humans. Anyone who falls into their hands faces one of 2 fates. Men get eaten to fill stomachs, while women are kept for breeding or labor. On the day I venture deep into the marshlands, a cannibal tribe hunting party is drawn by the fire from Timber's hair smoking operation. This squad consists entirely of adult males, numbering 40 strong. Their weapons are all stone axes and wooden spears, making them formidable fighters, especially the 2 leaders, who actually ride 2 young mammoth calves. Compared to them, the Three Hollow tribe is outnumbered even when counting all men, women, and children. Facing such a powerful enemy, Timber leads his people in immediate retreat. The cannibal tribe pursues relentlessly. Fortunately, Timber knows the terrain well. He deliberately chooses difficult paths to escape. The enemies can catch up immediately. Still, some fall behind. A young girl gathering mushroom strips on a tree root in her panic. Just as she rises, a flying axe strikes her back. Immediately after, pursuing enemies spear her to death. A group of savage cannibals laughs as they surround her and begin drinking her blood. Timber's teeth grind audibly, but he does not stop. He knows that even if the entire tribe fights together, they would only be slaughtered. The death of the young girl finally slows the enemy's pursuit. Timber rushes back to the tribe and tells Elder Bark about the situation. The enemy is too powerful to defeat. Migration is their only option. Elder Bark makes the final decision. Timber will lead the tribe members east through the shadow forest to find me. After all, judging from my weapons, my tribe must be very powerful. Elder Bark himself will stay behind to delay the enemy. After all, he can't walk far anyway. Timber suppresses his grief, nods firmly, and hurriedly has everyone gather their belongings before heading east. In truth, he feels uncertain. I left several days ago. Where I am now, whether I am even still alive, Timber knows none of this. But if they do not leave now, they can only wait for death. He has no choice. Before long, the pursuing enemies find their tribe. The Three Hollow they have inhabited for generations has become a sea of flames. Elder barks at the fire, hoping to burn a few invading enemies and buy everyone some time. After this disaster, the Three Hollow tribe, which numbered only 32, now has only 30 survivors. The group travels dejectedly, rushing toward the eastern edge of the Shadow Forest without rest. Originally, Timber did not hold much hope of finding me, but when he sees freshly cut branches inserted in the ground along the way, hope returns immediately. In just a day and a half, they reach the forest's outer edge. When they emerge, evening has arrived. Under the setting sun's glow, the sky turns crimson. The Three Hollow tribe members immediately become captivated by the scene before them. This is their first time seeing the world outside. But Timber keeps frowning. My markers end here. He does not know where to search. Just as he feels lost, he suddenly notices signs of a fire by the stream. Moving closer, he sees numerous animal tracks in the soft mud, including the distinctive footprints of my strange footwear. Timber breathes a sigh of relief. He knows I must be nearby, so he has all tribe members camp here for the night first. While Timber leads his people in their desperate flight, I carefully search the marsh depths. Finding rice among the dense reeds is not easy. Suddenly, my eyes light up as an idea strikes. Waterbirds love eating this rice. I just need to search where waterbirds gather. With this thought, I immediately act. While paddling the dugout canoe, I vigorously strike the water's surface with a wooden stick. Suddenly, from the nearby reed beds, a flock of waterbirds takes flight with a great flapping sound. I paddle quickly in the direction the startled birds came from. As the distance decreases, a small patch of rice-bearing stalks gradually appears before me. My eyes suddenly blaze with light, joy rising in my heart. This is the wild rice I have been searching for. Immediately, I paddle even more vigorously toward that shallow wetland. But just as my small boat nears its destination, human shouts suddenly sound from behind. Following the sound, I look back to see several naked primitive people floating on the water's surface, clutching driftwood logs, waving at me and continuously calling out. Their expressions show urgency. These people belong to the Marsh tribe living in this wetland. This tribe's population numbers only about 50%. At this moment, they are gathering their winter food supply, water chestnuts, suddenly seeing a fellow human sitting in a mysterious object floating on water. Slowly drifting toward what their elder calls the Forbidden Death Zone, out of goodwill, the Marsh tribe gathering team leader, Willow, frantically shouts at me, hoping I won't continue in that direction. Unfortunately, I can't understand their language. I just stare at them, bewildered. Seeing I show no response, Willow immediately swims toward me. While I am still confused, Willow has already reached my boat side. She points at the reed bed where much rice grows, shouting continuously. Her expression shows both anxiety and fear. Seeing the woman means no harm. I relax. However, judging by her expression, she seems to be warning me of danger there. I gesture, mimicking a wild beast's movements, make an animal sound, then point at the reed bed. Willow shakes her head. She points at me, then at that patch of ground. Then she places her hand on the water surface and makes a slow sinking motion, indicating I will sink if I go there. I understand Willow's meaning and feel relieved. I appreciate her kind warning. However, I have made no rough preparations. There is no reason to give up now. So I paddle forward, heading resolutely toward the reed bed. Willow immediately shouts frantically at me again, but she does not swim any closer. The next moment, she stands utterly amazed. I tie two board-like objects to the bottom of my feet, then hold a large square wicker shield as big as a person. Just like that, I step calmly onto the Forbidden Death Zone without sinking. Everyone who witnesses this scene gasps in amazement. They have never seen anyone walk on the death zone without sinking. But I, who appear relaxed, am not as comfortable as they imagine. Beneath the reeds lies pure mud. My mud walkers sink into it. Each step requires tremendous effort to lift my feet. With tremendous effort, I finally reach that small patch of rice. These rice plants each stand about 2 meters tall. Each stalk bears plump, golden rice ears. Taking out the hide sack I prepared earlier, I begin stripping frantically, not stopping until I have stripped every rice plant bare. Only then do I stop. Bringing 2 full bags of wild rice back to the small boat, I happily prepare to paddle home and begin my agricultural era. But unexpectedly, just after paddling a short distance, Marsh tribe members surround me. The group sees the 2 heavy bags on my raft, yet it still floats on the water surface. Their eyes immediately light up. So this floating thing can not only carry people, but also cargo. Several clever individuals immediately imagine themselves paddling this small boat to gather water chestnuts. I look at the people before me and feel somewhat annoyed. However, seeing they apparently mean no harm, I do not get angry. Willow notices my barely suppressed anger and quickly gestures while asking if I can teach them how to make this thing. Looking around at the circle of people soaking in the water, their skin somewhat swollen, and remembering they kindly warned me earlier, I readily agree. I gesture for them to gather everyone's driftwood logs together in a row. I also collect some reeds to use as grass rope and bind all the driftwood together. Then I have Willow climb on. Sure enough, after Willow climbs aboard, the log raft still steadily supports her on the water surface. Willow immediately becomes excited and quickly calls tribe members to try it together. Unfortunately, this log raft can only seat 2 people. Adding a third would probably capsize it. Those who can't get on the raft feel somewhat envious of Willow sitting on it. However, Willow is exceptionally happy because she knows this method is simple to make, and these materials are readily available in their tribe. Thinking of this, Willow looks at me gratefully and warmly invites me to visit the marsh tribe as a guest, but I do not accept. Outside the marshland, a herd of blue antelope still awaits me. Willow does not insist. She casually hands me a giant water chestnut the size of an egg as a token, agreeing that if I encounter difficulties in the future, I can bring this water chestnut to the marsh tribe for help. I accept the water chestnut with a smile. Without rest, I bring the 2 bags of rice seeds back to the grassland at the foot of Rainbow Ridge. During this day's emergency harvest, I obtain approximately 60 pounds of grain, but I can't bear to eat a single kernel. I just want to rush these treasures home and plant them during next year's spring plowing. However, since I am going to farm, agricultural tools are essential, so I need to gather more copper and tin ore to return and smelt some farming tools. On the evening when timber exits the shadow forest, I sit on the small grassland on the other side of Rainbow Ridge, eating fatty roasted beaver while weaving large baskets, preparing for the next day's mining work. But timber on the western side of Rainbow Ridge faces a grim situation. When they fled, they did not bring fire supplies. For the past 2 days, they have only gnawed on dried meat. At night, cold and hungry, they can only huddle together for warmth. The next morning at dawn, I energetically lead the blue antelopes toward the western side of Rainbow Ridge. At the western base of Rainbow Ridge, Timber is distributing freshly gathered wild fruit to tribe members. Just then, several tribe members excitedly point at Rainbow Ridge, shouting. In the distance, they see a young man on the bare stone mountain, slowly leading a group of 4-legged beasts forward. I also hear the shouting from below the mountain. Following the sound, I spot the Three Hollow tribe by the stream, wondering why they have come. After over 10 minutes, Timber leads the group climbing up the slope. Seeing their condition, I can't help but frown. Why did they bring even the children? And they are all filthy. Seeing me again, Timber feels utterly awestruck. He knew I came to find horned animals, but he never imagined I would actually catch them, and alive at that. This clearly surpasses anything those few cannibal warriors riding mammoth calves could achieve. At this moment, I seem like a deity in Timber's eyes. I see each person holding only a single wild fruit, clearly unable to eat meat. I quickly take out the unfinished thunder goose and roasted beaver to share with them. Timber crouches by the fire, eating while recounting the past few days' experiences. Other tribe members also chime in, gesturing and supplementing the story. After I understand, I can't help but gasp. There are actually cannibals nearby. Suddenly, a terrifying thought appears in my mind. If the cannibals have already reached the Three Hollow tribe, how far can they be from my own tribe? With this thought, I immediately decide to finish gathering all the ore today and head straight back tomorrow. Then I look at Timber and ask what they plan to do next. Hearing this, everyone from the Three Hollow tribe lowers their heads, not knowing how to answer. Winter approaches, but their tribe has been burned down. Moreover, the cannibal tribe pursues them relentlessly. They do not know where to find shelter next. Seeing this, I directly extend an invitation. Why do not you join my tribe? We have enough stored food for all of us to eat through the entire winter. Hearing this, Timber's eyes immediately brighten. He completely believes what I say. Just this herd of 4-legged beasts alone would feed everyone for an entire winter. The other Three Hollow tribe members also want to accept. They have seen how formidable my bow and arrows are. With such weapons, they would never lack prey and would never be bullied by enemies. So they all stare at Timber, hopefully, wishing their chief would agree. Timber is already tempted. However, as chief, he needs to be more cautious. After hesitating briefly, he still asks the question, you are inviting us to join your tribe. Will your chief agree? Hearing this, I immediately laugh. You do not need to worry about that, because I am the chief. Hearing this, Timber looks utterly incredulous. I, young boy, am actually the chief. But thinking about it briefly, he accepts it. He is witnessed my abilities. The things I have accomplished, even an adult might not achieve. Thinking this through, he no longer hesitates and decisively agrees. To completely dispel their concerns, I directly hand my bone spear to Timber, give my stone axe to a man named Basin, and give the weaker shield I wove while harvesting rice to a tribe member named Stomp. I know very well that as long as I am willing to give them weapons, they will understand I mean them no harm. Sure enough, the moment they take the weapons, smiles break across their faces. Timber also brings out the rabbits I asked him to capture alive, more than 30 of them, big and small. Seeing this, I can barely contain my excitement. With rabbits breeding a new litter every 2 months, my people will never have to worry about hides again. After breakfast, Timber assumes we will leave immediately, but to his surprise, I start digging up rocks on the mountain instead. He asks what I need them for. With these rocks, I can make better weapons. And with better weapons, we will hunt so much food we could not finish it in 3 meals a day. Timber is completely stunned. This is a life they have never experienced before. Without me even asking, everyone volunteers to help dig. With dozens of hands working, the excavation speeds up considerably. By noon, we filled all the large baskets. This haul includes several key materials, copper-rich malachite and selenium ore, along with plenty of red termite mound clay and kaolin for making crucibles and casting molds. Soon everything is packed, and I lead the group of dozens on our journey. Each blue antelope carries 2 woven baskets of varying sizes, loaded with ore, fodder, rabbits and seeds. We do not move fast. As we walk, I teach Timber and his people how to use the weapons I have given them. By nightfall, we find a wide clearing and stop for dinner and rest. The first half of the night passes quietly, with only the crackling of campfires breaking the silence. But in the second half, as I lie on the ground, I suddenly feel vibrations. Something massive is moving. I instantly recall Timber's mention of those long-nosed beasts. I immediately wake everyone, kicking and pulling them up, and order all fires extinguished. 2 shrill yet juvenile trumpeting calls pierce the air. 2 enormous silhouettes suddenly appear in the distant firelight. Then I see dozens of figures holding torches and weapons, necklaces made of human bones hanging from their necks. The leader on elephant back waves his hand, and the whole group charges toward us with savage intent. My past life's combat experience keeps me strangely calm. I quickly issue orders. Porter is to lead the group north on a detour to escape, while Timber, Basin and Stumps stay with me as rear guard. Though we are only 4, I quickly devise tactics based on both sides' equipment. The enemy has 2 men leading on young mammoths. They are neither their weapons are mostly stone axes and bone spears, throwable weapons with a range of maybe 50 to 60 meters at best, but my bow has an effective range of 100 meters against unarmored targets. As long as we maintain distance, I am confident I can take them all down before they ever get in throwing range. Timber watches the enemy charge on mammoth back, growing nervous. The hand gripping his spear trembles slightly, but seeing me remain so calm beside him, he grits his teeth and forces himself steady. I count down the distance in my mind. 200 meters, 150, 100. I draw and release. Whoosh! The lead attacker drops instantly, my arrow punching clean through his chest. Seeing the wooden tip shaft protruding from their comrades' back, the surrounding enemies freeze for a moment, but in that moment of hesitation, whoosh, whoosh, 2 more arrows fly, 2 more men fall. The mammoth riding captain spots me in the distance. He roars, ordering his men to charge and throw a volley of stone axes first. I immediately pull Timber behind a tree. Basin copies us taking cover, but Stomp takes a different approach. He drops into a crouch and angles his weaker shield to cover his body. Thud, thud, thud. Several stone axes and a bone spear slam into the shield. Fortunately, the shield is woven from thick vines, so Stomp is not hurt, but at this rate of bombardment, it won't last many more hits. Basin, hiding behind his tree, sees stone axes scattered on the ground. He quickly grabs 2 and hurls them back. In the densely packed charge formation, 2 enemies are struck down instantly. Timber, as a former tribal chief himself, refuses to be outdone. He picks up a bone spear and throws it back. 1 enemy is pinned diagonally to the ground, clearly dead. I immediately call for everyone to run. We need to maintain distance and keep fighting. This cycle repeats. The enemy force, originally 40 strong, is now down to just 7. The rest are either dead or wounded. Suddenly, I call a halt. We stop about 80 meters from the enemy and stand our ground, meeting their eyes. The mammoth riding leader looks puzzled, seeing us stop running. With only a handful of men left, all half dead from exhaustion, rage overtakes him. He charges again. I steady my breathing and raise my bow, waiting until he is about 70 meters away before releasing. The arrow strikes his right eye. Ha! He tumbles from the mammoth's back and gets trampled by the beast's rear leg. He is instantly dead. The young mammoth suddenly feels something soft under its foot. It looks back and freezes in place, completely distraught. The remaining lackeys are confused. How did their leader just die? But they keep charging forward. I immediately order a counterattack. 3 bone spears and 1 arrow fly simultaneously. 3 more enemies drop instantly. Now only 3 remain alive. Terrified, they turn and flee. The one riding the other mammoth tries to turn the beast around, then realizes it is too slow and jumps off. I lose another arrow. Before he even hits the ground, it pierces his chest. He staggers a few steps and collapses. Timber and his 2 companions rush past me. 3 stone axes whistle through the air, taking down the last 2 enemies. And with that, this jungle pursuit and guerrilla battle finally ends. Timber and his 2 men can't believe it. Just the 4 of us defeated a force of 40, plus captured those 2 young mammoths. The beasts, having lost their handlers, now stand there looking utterly lost. I issue new orders. Stomp waits here. Basin goes to bring our people back. Timber comes with me to finish off anyone who is not quite dead yet. The 3 acknowledge and split up. I retrieve my arrows and collect the intact bone spears and stone axes. But then those two unattended mammoths start following me, occasionally nudging my back with their trunks. It seems they want to stick with me. I hurriedly push their trunks away. Don't follow me. I can't afford to feed you. After all these are true, mammoths. As adults, they will weigh around 15 tons each. How much would creatures like that eat every day? Just then, Timber frowns and tells me something troubling. We have only found 36 na bodies along this route. That is 4 less than the original 40. An uneasy feeling washes over me. But in such a vast shadow forest, there is no way to search further now. I have to let it go. By dawn, Stomp and Basin finally bring everyone back. When we all sit down for breakfast, I have Timber distribute the captured stone spears and axes to everyone. Now except for the children, every person has a weapon for self-defense. The blue antelopes and rabbits are still eating the fodder we brought. But now 2 unexpected giants have shown up to mooch food, and the grass that should have lasted 2 more meals is suddenly gone. My head starts to ache. I raise my fist, about to drive these 2 freeloaders away. But the moment I lift my hand, one of the young mammoths looks at me with the most pitiful eyes. On the verge of tears, the other actually uses its trunk to grab a handful of grass and offers it to me. As if saying, "Here, have some of this good stuff. Just do not send us away." I force an ugly smile and reluctantly take the grass, stuffing it back into its mouth. Then I grab 2 more bundles for them to eat slowly. I wait for everyone to quickly pack up and move out. After we have traveled far, I look back and see the 2 mammoths still munching grass. I breathe a sigh of relief. Finally lost them. Since the 3 hollow people have always lived deep in the shadow forest, they never knew the sunlit world outside could be so beautiful. Throughout the journey, they are thrilled, constantly startling pheasants foraging on the ground. I casually shoot them down with arrows. By evening, we have gathered quite a haul. Meanwhile, little Sprout is by the riverside with his mother, finishing up their fishing work. He keeps glancing north. His mother told him that is the direction I left from. Ever since I departed, he is come to the river with his mother every day, waiting for me to return. Suddenly, he spots several figures emerging from the distant tree line. Sharp-eyed Sprout recognizes the person in front immediately. It is his tribe's chief. He jumps up excitedly, shouting, "Mom, the chief is back." Hearing the commotion in the distance, I happily wave and shout back. But then 2 resonant trumpeting calls echo from across the river, drawing everyone's attention. Hearing that sound, 1,000 curses run through my mind. After walking so far, we still have not lost those 2 mammoths. I silently pray, "Please do not come over. Please do not come over." But of course, what I fear most is exactly what happens. Splash, splash. Both mammoths plunge into the river. In less than half a minute, they are standing right in front of me, dripping wet. And those 2 do not play fair. The moment they reach my side, they spray me with the water they just sucked into their trunks, turning me into a dripping mess. The message is clear. That is what I get for abandoning them. I wipe the water off my face helplessly. If you want to eat my tribe's food, you will have to work for it. I am not running a charity here. Hearing this, the 2 mammoths pat my head with their trunks. I have no idea what that is supposed to mean. The women from the fishing group are startled by the 2 giant beasts. But seeing how familiar they seem with me, their expressions quickly turn to admiration. The chief is amazing. Even such huge monsters obey him. Sprout is the first to run over, hugging my leg affectionately, completely unfazed by the giants nearby. I tell them the newcomers are all joining our tribe, then lead everyone back to the cave together. Little Sprout gets placed on one of the mammoth's backs, looking incredibly proud the whole way. As we travel, the 3 hollow people and the fishing group keep sizing each other up. The fishing group mostly stares at those 18 blue antelopes, while Timber's people observe the river stone women. Their hairstyles, leather boots, the fish in their baskets and the white shaft spears each one carries. Those white shaft spears are Timber's favorite. The fact that every woman has one makes him deeply envious. Realizing he is now part of the Riverstone tribe fills him with quiet excitement. When I bring the 3 hollow people back to the Riverstone tribe, everyone greets me with a unified shout. "Chief!" The 3 hollow people's attention is instantly drawn to this. When they see the scene before them, they are all stunned. Beautiful jars and pots everywhere, countless fish piled at the cave entrance and a thunderboard carcass riddled with a dozen holes, weighing at least 1,000 pounds. I feel quite pleased. Clearly the hunting party has learned to use spears effectively. Timber finally grasps the full extent of the Riverstone tribe's strength. Now he truly believes that here, no one will ever go hungry again. The children are standing on a grass mountain nearby, facing off with the newly arrived 4-legged beasts. That is the grass they have been gathering these past days. Judging by the size of the pile, it should be enough to feed the blue antelopes and these 2 mammoths all winter. I quickly tell everyone that these 4-legged creatures are domesticated and will help with work in the future. Not far away, in an open area, a large pile of red bricks has accumulated. Flint reports to me that he has been firing 4 kilns daily. He has also made a tool for the children and proudly shows it to me. When I see what Flint has made, I am absolutely shocked. It is a simply wooden rake. This guy has real potential as an inventor. After praising Flint, I tell him he can stop making bricks tomorrow and fire another batch of pottery for the new tribe members instead. Speaking of pottery, Elder Horn mentions he has something to report. A few days ago, the Bolcap tribe from the west came to trade pottery again. This time they paid with plenty of salt crystals, enough for the Riverstone tribe to last a long time. After inspecting all the work, I make arrangements for the animals we brought back. The rabbits are placed in a corner of the cave. I build them an enclosure using stones and clay, just a temporary winter home. Among the 30+ rabbits, 3 are already pregnant. Shortly after being placed in the pen, they start pulling their own fur to make nests. The other rabbits, though only 1 or 2 months old, are already the size of melons. By next spring, they will become new breeding machines. The baby mammoths do not need managing. They refuse to leave that grass mountain no matter what. The blue antelopes are tied to a tree not far from the cave entrance. Tomorrow, I will have people build them shelters. With everything arranged, dinner is almost ready. Before the meal, I hold a welcoming ceremony. The Three Hollow people do not resist the top knot tradition at all. In fact, they think binding their hair does look more spirited than having it loose. Today we hunted a giant boar, so tonight's blood pudding is definitely on the menu. Combined with wild vegetables, we fill several large pots. There is also the pheasants I shot today, made into chestnut braised chicken, plus a dozen fresh grilled fish. Everyone gets a sweet and sour fruit too. This hearty feast instantly brings the new and old tribe members closer together. Everyone chats and laughs, eating happily. After dinner, I ask the tribal elders to help the newcomers make leather boots and teach them how. Meanwhile, I grab a piece of charred wood and head to the cave wall, thinking while sketching. On the wall, I draw a terrain map of the area outside the cave, the stream, the forest, and some things that do not exist yet. I am currently planning how to develop the land in front of the cave. This plot covers nearly 30,600 acres. If we planted it all with rice, the entire tribe could eat until they died, and still not finish it. Of course, planting it all with rice is impossible. This land is currently all dry fields, but rice must be grown in patties. Converting these dry fields into patties is a massive project. Then there is the housing issue. Adding the new members and recent newborns, the Riverstone tribe now has 97 people. The current cave is gradually becoming inadequate, so we will eventually need to build houses on this land. Residential area, rice paddies, vegetable plots, livestock pens, warehouses, pastures, bronze smelting zone, lumber mill. So many facilities need to fit on this land. I must plan carefully. The first problem to solve is converting the fields to patties. My simple plan: build a square fortress in the middle of the clearing, housing the residential area, livestock pens, warehouses, metal smelting zone, and lumber mill. The entire fortress should accommodate at least 5,000 people, built in phases over several years. Around this fortress, I will dig a moat. The excavated soil can be used with clay bricks to build city walls, preventing giant beasts and hostile tribes from attacking. Then, centered on the moat, I will dig an irrigation canal to divert the 8 or 9 meter wide stream from the east. Additional return channels will let the moat water flow back to the stream, creating a vast water network. Small ditches along this network will irrigate the entire plot. The planned width for both the moat and irrigation canal is 4 meters. The eastern stream is 8 to 9 meters wide. With the same water flow but half the channel width, the canal's flow rate will more than double. This makes it perfect for installing water wheels in similar hydraulic facilities. The specific plan, using the cave as the center line, measure 200 meters on each side for the fortress site. To avoid delaying next year's spring planting, phase 1 is digging the waterway from the stream to the moat, roughly 700 meters. The excavated soil will be fired directly into bricks for later city construction. Phase 2 is digging the moat itself, but that is not urgent, the cave is still habitable for now. Phase 3 is ramming the city walls. The planned dimensions are a trapezoid, 4 meters wide at the base, 2 meters at the top, 5 meters high, 4 the gates, 1 on each side. Combined with the 4 meter wide moat outside, in this era, absolutely no one could breach it. Phase 4 is the 700 meter return canal. The excavated soil can be fired into small bricks for building houses and facilities inside the city. The entire project should take 3 years at most, otherwise I fear the cave won't accommodate everyone. The next morning, after all the tribe members emerge, I begin assigning work. There is a lot to do today. Food gathering is completely halted. The newcomers still do not have pottery, so Flint is assigned to continue firing ceramics. The children continue bundling grass, and they must follow my demonstration to tie it into bundles for easier storage and transport. Chirp, Skip, Reed, and Brook. These 4 go to the back mountain to cut down all the devil thorn saplings for making spears. The women are divided into 2 teams. The larger group heads to the valley I visited before to harvest sisal. Porter leads 6 blue antelopes loaded with large baskets for transport. The smaller gathering group scrapes bark from wax trees in the forest. The secretions from wax insects on them are excellent wax-making material. I will use insect wax for casting bronze molds. All the remaining men are assigned to logging. First, cut trees about as thick as a leg for building livestock pens. All branches get split into furry wood. I will use them to make charcoal. The more the better for copper smelting. Transportation is still handled by the blue antelopes. If they can pull it, we will get the baby mammoths to help. The tribe members do not understand these assignments. They think autumn should be for storing food, but I tell them we already have enough food stored to last until next spring, especially fish. Many of the ones we have caught recently have eggs in their bellies. If we keep fishing like this, the river's fish population will definitely decline, so we need to let these fish rest and recover. After everyone leaves for work, I start my own tasks. First, I make some charcoal from available furry wood. Then, using the kaolin and shale clay we brought back, I create several crucibles and ladles for refining and making alloys. Next, I use mixed refractory clay to make square molds which will cast copper and tin into chocolate bar-like ingots. When needed, I can adjust the copper-tin ratio to make tools for different purposes. Once the charcoal and molds are ready, I start building the smelting furnace. I mix ordinary clay with pottery shards and chopped grass to make mud, then stuck it into cylindrical earthen furnaces about 40 centimeters in diameter. I make 4 furnaces like this. When they all fire together, it will save considerable time. Next, I use python skin to make simple leather bellows. Flint does not know what I am up to, but he is quite curious to see what you think I will create this time. Once all my preparations are complete, the world's first primitive smelting equipment set is finished. I just need to wait until tomorrow for the charcoal to be ready and the furnaces to dry before starting operations. Sherp and Skip spend the whole day bringing back hundreds of white shafts suitable for making spears. But the adults doing the logging have it rough. Working themselves to exhaustion all day, they only manage to cut down less than 10 trees. 3 stone axes break in the process. Still, I tell them they need to continue tomorrow. However, whoever works best gets new equipment. Everyone is puzzled. Stone axes are already the best tools they have seen. What could possibly be better? Their curiosity grows. After dinner, everyone enjoys their recreational time while I sit by the hearth melting wax. Once it solidifies, I carve it with my bone knife into different tool shapes. Then I tightly wrap these wax models in clay, leaving only a small opening. After the clay completely dries, I heat it over the fire and pour out the melted wax, creating a hollow clay casting mold. The thin layer of wax residue on the mold's inner wall will help with them molding after casting. Though tedious, this method is precise and does not waste material. The poured out wax can also be re-solidified and reused. Early the next morning, the tribe members lead away all the blue antelopes. After my persistent indoctrination, they finally understand that wild beasts are not just for eating, they can also help humans work. Sherp and his 3 companions stay behind. Their task today is operating the bellows for me. Flint's pottery from yesterday is also fired and ready. Today, he is specifically helping me. Flint is smart, so I plan to teach him the copper smelting method. I can't do this work alone forever. Better to find an apprentice. I walk to the 4 furnaces and light 2 of them simultaneously. Reed and Brooke pump the bellows. Sherp and Skip load charcoal and crush copper ore. Under the bellows, flames shoot high from the furnace mouths. Soon, the ore in the furnace chambers begins to melt. Copper water flows through gaps to the bottom of the chamber, pulling together into a lump of copper mixed with slag. The tin ore we are also smelting works even faster. Under intense heat, it melts in just minutes. I use 3 branches to scrape 2 metal lumps mixed with many impurities from the ash beneath the furnace chamber. Then I continue the process repeatedly. After about 3 or 4 hours, I finally accumulated a pile of impure copper and tin lumps. I light the remaining 2 furnaces. Once the temperature rises, I place the crude copper and tin in separate crucibles. After both metals melt into liquid form, I use clay ladles to skim off the surface impurities. Then, using pre-prepared clay jars, I pour the pure copper liquid into grid-shaped clay molds to cool. The tin liquid follows the same process. Flint and the 4 young helpers watch the metal liquid slowly solidify. Not understanding the principles behind it, they are amazed. Once the copper and tin ingots are cool enough to handle, I can't wait to remove them from the molds. It is now midday. Under the sunlight, the metal ingots reflect dazzling light. Everyone's mouths drop open staring at the metal. They have never seen anything so beautiful and shiny before. Even little Sprout, who was playing nearby, is drawn over. He touches this one, looks at that one. Chief, what is this? I ruffle his hair. This is called copper. This is tin. You watch this. I am going to get something. Sprout nods and quietly repeats the words copper and tin with Flint and the others. Meanwhile, I haul over a pile of tool casting molds and immediately begin bronze casting work. I place copper and tin blocks in a new crucible according to ratio. After they melt into liquid, I stir them thoroughly with a clay rod. Then I can cast. The first wave of casting is axes and hammers. The scalding alloy solution pours into the molds. White smoke immediately rises from the reserved holes in the casting molds. Once the temperature drops slightly, I can't wait to smash open the mold with a stone. Among the clay fragments, a large axe head gleaming with pale golden light lies quietly inside. The axe head is slightly larger than a fire axe head. I assign the blade sharpening work to Flint and begin preparing other tool castings, rulers and saws, carving knives and chisels, planes and hand drills, plus diamond-shaped spearheads. By evening, when all the tribe members return, all work stops. The golden axe head has been sharpened to a razor-sharp gleam. Mounted on a handle, the world's first bronze axe is complete. There are also 2 saws fitted with wooden handles. One for single-person use, one for 2. Timber and his people see the gleaming golden axe and immediately crowd around, their eyes practically glued to it. And there is this. I smile and pull out a spear with a 100-cent spearhead. The tribe members' eyes go wide. This is still a spear. It is so beautiful, especially Fang and Scar. Seeing this golden-headed spear, they are practically drooling. Chief, do we get some too? The tribe members ask eagerly. I smile and hand Timber a piece of copper ore. It is made from this kind of rock. We just do not have any more right now. The 3 hollow people are stunned. They helped dig this very rock and never imagined it would make such beautiful weapons. Porter, the most honest and direct, says, if we are out, we will just dig more. We know where it is. I nod and tell them. Digging like that is too inefficient. We need to make some things first. After this winter, we can bring back a lot. Then everyone will have a spear like this. Next, I teach them to use the saws. 2 people pull the large saw across the end of a log, moving back and forth. Before long, they cut off a round wooden disc. Using the one-handed saw to clear branches, they cut off a wrist-thick side branch in under a minute. The meter-long large axe is also easy to use, allowing full body strength when swinging. If Ox from the Riverstone tribe used it, he could fell a leg-thick tree in just a few chops. Once everyone learns how to use these tools, I tell them to go eat and rest. After dinner, the tribe members gather around Flint, listening to him describe the copper smelting process. Meanwhile, I begin establishing various measurement units. Once we have standardized measurements, civilization can gradually develop. All the sisal has been collected now. The women are concentrating on braiding rope. The children are all lying outside the rabbit pen watching the rabbits give birth. All 3 pregnant thus have delivered. Each litter has 6 or 7 babies. The rabbit population of 30 plus has nearly doubled. With his long pottery making experience, Flint can now handle carving wax models for me. Original copper shovels, useful for both digging canals and farming. With my sample to reference, Flint can manage copying the design. After finishing my own tasks, I now research the most crucial item, the plow. I plan to make 2 sizes, large ones for the mammoths, small ones for the antelopes. They will be useful for both plowing fields and digging canals. The next day, some women braid hemp rope while others clear the ground, preparing to build livestock pens. For copper smelting, Flint and his 4 young companions are now sufficient. The 5 of them continuously cast copper and tin ingots, asking me whenever something's unclear. After the women finish clearing, I lead them in building the livestock pen. We cut the felled trees into 4-meter lengths for posts, inserting one every 2 meters to form a rectangular enclosure. We bind 2 horizontal beams in the gaps for stability, then weave branches into fencing and secure it to the wooden frame. Finally, we plaster it with a layer of mud and we are done. Inside the pen is a 4-meter high wooden shelter, the baby mammoth's little home. Once everything's built, we bundle all the grass from the outside pile and store it in the pen, preventing other animals or people from destroying it. The Riverstone tribe members each handle their tasks, bustling with activity. Little do they know, the Baldcap tribe has already set their sights on the Riverstone tribe. Recently, Chief Baldcap has had a persistent worry. As the weather grows colder, the mountain spring his tribe depends on will soon freeze. Then they will have to haul water from the stream 3 kilometers away, requiring a large number of containers for water storage. That is why he personally came to trade with the Riverstone tribe last time, hoping to exchange for more pottery. Unfortunately, he did not get what he wanted, so he hatched a plan to take by force. In Baldcap's view, the Riverstone tribe has fewer than 10 adult men, while he has 15. Moreover, after leaving the Riverstone tribe last time, he crafted stone-tipped spears. He believes defeating us and stealing our pottery and food should be no problem. This morning, Baldcap leads all the adult men from his tribe, each carrying several spears, marching toward the Riverstone tribe in force. They plan to crush our hunting party in one strike, then raid our settlement for a good haul. Meanwhile, in the coniferous forest on the ridge, Timber, Fang, and the others are still logging. Today they are working quickly. With 3 large axes and 2 long saws, they can process a clean log in roughly half an hour, and that is just one group speed. The logging team has 10 people total, divided into 3 groups, so basically every half hour, 3 trees fall simultaneously. The remaining person is Porter, responsible for transport. Right now, he is leading an antelope grazing near the logging team. Suddenly, from the mountain across the valley, a group of people rushes over, each holding a spear. Porter immediately shouts toward the ridge, then pulls the blue antelope and runs back. Hearing the shout, everyone immediately drops their work, grabs weapons, and prepares to fight. Baldcap leads his men in hot pursuit until reaching the ridge. Whoosh, whoosh, several breaking air sounds. Two antelopes at the rear are struck by spears. They scream and collapse. The other four, still tied to them, keep running wildly, dragging their two dead companions toward the Riverstone tribe's grass mountain. Seeing this, the Riverstone people pull stone axes from their belts and hurl them. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 enemies instantly drop dead. 2 more are wounded. Only 10 continue advancing. Baldcap is furious. He immediately orders another spear volley, but Timber's group hides behind trees. All the spears stick Diagon ally into the ground. Seeing this, Scar and the others flash out from behind trees again. 9 white shaft spears fly simultaneously. 4 more from Baldcap's tribe fall instantly. The others, frightened, hide behind trees. Scar's group also returns to cover, waiting for the enemy's next attack. But no sound comes. They do not know that Baldcap is already scared stiff. The enemy before him is too terrifying. Plus, he realizes the Riverstone tribe has more people than he expected, but his side is now down to just 8, including 2 wounded. Continuing to fight is impossible. He immediately leads the survivors fleeing toward the cave. Meanwhile, Little Sprout is pulling me toward the 2 mammoths, wanting me to name them. The larger one I name Ash. The smaller one, Bow. I am about to say something when Ash, looking westward, suddenly trumpets loudly. Caught off guard, Little Sprout jumps in fright. I immediately look in that direction. 4 blue antelopes are dragging 2 dead companions toward us, their bodies bristling with several spears. But I do not see the logging team following behind. My heart skips a beat. I hurriedly order all tribe members to hide in the cave. Don't come out until I return. After arranging everything, I grab my bow and arrows and golden-headed spear, then mount Ash and head west. Bow immediately follows. Following the blood trail left by the blue antelopes, Ash carries me at a full gallop. Soon we enter the forest. Ahead, a group of people suddenly appears, the leaders carrying golden axes. Clearly Timber and his team. I freeze for a moment. Why is everyone here, and no one's injured? Fang immediately brings the hunting party to my side and reports the entire situation. After hearing his account, I am puzzled. Why would Baldcap attack our tribe? But regardless of the reason, anyone who dares harm my people must pay the price, even if they only killed antelopes. I immediately wave my spear. Follow me. I lead Timber and several logging team members toward Baldcap's tribe. Around 2 in the afternoon, we reach Baldcap's tribe, but the clearing at the cave entrance is completely empty. The cave entrance is blocked by a giant boulder, though a sizable gap remains. Several pairs of eyes peek out from inside. Baldcap is among them. What he feared most was that we would come for revenge, and of course, what he feared is exactly what happens. We actually came, and with this kind of lineup. The leader holds a gleaming golden-headed spear, riding a long-nosed monster taller than a person. Baldcap feels nothing but regret. If only he would known they were this powerful, why the hell did he even try? I noticed the eyes peeking out from inside the cave. I immediately unsling my bow and nock an arrow. The next moment, a scream. Baldcap is shot through the eye. Oxstone anim, go push that boulder aside. I point at the giant rock, blocking the cave entrance, giving orders to the 3. They immediately step forward and start pushing. But even with 3 men exerting full force, they barely budge it. Instead, it slowly gets pushed back. The hell? Think hiding behind a door keeps you safe. I walk to the gap and knock another arrow. Behind the boulder, several adult men are desperately bracing against it. Whoosh! Another arrow. This time, 2 men behind the door pierce through. The others, terrified, run away, and no longer dare stand at the entrance. Ox and the other 2 successfully push the boulder aside. Behind the boulder, the 3 bodies, not quite dead yet, are crushed into bloody pulp. In the blink of an eye, they are gone. The cave entrance stands wide open. Inside, dim yellow firelight flickers. A group of women and children huddle in a grass pile, trembling. 5 adult men remain, 3 holding spears stand in front of them, while 2 wounded men groan in the grass pile. I walk in holding my spear. Timber and the others follow closely with their golden axes. The 3 holding spears watch our menacing approach, their legs trembling uncontrollably. They babble frantically, seemingly begging for mercy. Who the hell begs for mercy while holding weapons? I swing my spear, knocking all 3 spears to the ground. One of the wounded men behind them quietly picks up a rock, apparently still wanting to resist. I instantly thrust my spear forward. Thunk! It punches a hole straight through his left chest. Everyone kneel, resist and die. My eyes flash. I suddenly roar. Everyone's legs immediately buckle, and they drop to their knees. Timber, go collect all their stored food and bring it back. Then I turn my gaze to the kneeling crowd. Your chief attacked us first, so you can't blame me. If it were not for him, I would not have fought you. My intention is to absorb these people, but to prevent them from harboring resentment, I am pinning all the blame on their chief, but I have clearly overestimated their tribal loyalty. They do not care about their chief's fate. They only care that I am taking their food. The women watch Timber's team carry away their stored dried meat, nearly in tears, desperately pleading with me. I look at these people coldly. As long as you join my tribe, you will have endless food. No one will freeze to death in winter. Anyone willing to join us can stand behind me now. The moment I finish speaking, several people quickly rise and stand behind me. Slowly, a second, a third, a fourth, soon only one severely wounded man remains lying there. Judging by his condition, he probably won't survive. I do not intend to bother with him. I lead these new tribe members out of the cave and order Fang to burn it down. From this day forward, Volcap and his tribe vanish from existence. After returning to the Riverstone tribe, the new members integrate smoothly. Several people in the tribe have been traded from Volcap's group before, so they quickly blend in, and I have not lied to them. The Riverstone tribe's food stores really are abundant. Adding what we seized this time, 200 people could eat all winter with no problem. The only issue is the cave has reached its population capacity limit. Fortunately, winter is coming. Squeezing together will be warmer. What surprises these people is that the Riverstone tribe actually keeps wild beasts, especially massive creatures like Bow and Ash. This gives them a new appreciation for the Riverstone tribe's strength. Now they feel immense pride in becoming Riverstone tribe members. The women have been braiding rope these past days. The cave is now stacked with several large bundles. The men continue logging. Trunks become building materials. Branches become kiln fir wood. I have not been idle either. I have been making woodworking tools one by one, then casting 50 bronze shovels. With digging tools, my phase 1 irrigation canal project must begin. I grab a super long hemp rope the women braided to use as a measuring cord. First, I measure the fortress position due north of the cave. Then at the four corners of the site, I bury wooden posts as markers, determining the optimal canal route. Next comes building the brick kiln. Once canal digging starts, massive amounts of soil will be produced. So I plan to dig the canal and make brick molds simultaneously, since I intend to fire gray bricks, and gray brick production requires large amounts of water. For easy water access, I have chosen a kiln site by the stream. Flint fired many red bricks earlier. These bricks are perfect for building the kiln. The cylindrical brick kiln requires the entire tribe's labor force. It takes a full 5 days to complete. After spending more time making brick molds, the preparatory work is finally done. Now my giant plow, crafted over many days, finally makes its debut. Under the 2-meter wide wooden frame are mounted 4 bronze plowshares. Once pulled forward, it can plow a 2-meter wide swath of land in one pass, reaching 40 centimeters deep. The power source for this contraption, Bow and Ash of course, 2 giant plows side by side, pulling forward, directly turn over the entire 4-meter wide canal route. In less than an hour, the 2 beasts plow the 700-meter canal to a 40 centimeter depth. Seeing this, I am absolutely thrilled. At this speed, maybe my fortress construction plan won't need 3 years after all. For brick firing, I plan to wait until winter. Then everyone will have free time, and winter kiln work will be nice and warm. A happy job. But right now there is a problem. These brick molds are all for wrapping the rammed earth city wall, so each brick is very large. This makes transporting clay material and brick molds extremely time-consuming. So I decide to immediately build a simple wheelbarrow. With a new project starting, finding helpers is priority 1. Later, they can become the tribe's professional carpenters. The most talented at carpentry in the Riverstone tribe is Basin. This guy, back in the Tree Hollow tribe, figured out how to burn out a bucket in a wooden stump using hot coals. The other is Honest Porter. He does not talk much, but he is extremely solid in his work. Drawing on my past life's memory of carts and modifying the design, the 3 of us spend a full day creating the first wheelbarrow. It is immediately deployed to the work crew. People are quite interested in this new transport tool. Compared to carrying on shoulders and hands, it is definitely less strenuous. But I am not optimistic. I notice the wheelbarrow wobbles left and right when turning. At this rate, it will definitely fall apart soon. Having identified the problem, I immediately start improvements, mainly extending the axle. After explaining to my 2 assistants, the 3 of us each work on our parts. The second iteration is much faster than the first build. 2 hours later, the second generation wheelbarrow is complete. This version no longer wobbles. Everyone's work efficiency immediately improves. So the second cart becomes the production model. We begin mass manufacturing, an initial run of 30 units. With men and women combined, we definitely have dozens of adult laborers. These wheelbarrows are specifically for hauling soil and will definitely see heavy use in the future. Over the following days, the carpenter trio produces wheelbarrows at a rate of 3 every 2 days, equipping the work crew. The Phase 1 irrigation canal progresses rapidly. The previously delayed brick-making work also speeds up thanks to the constant addition of wheelbarrows. By the 18th day of construction, a 700-meter-long 4-meter-deep trench appears before me. I call a halt to canal digging. The remaining 2 meters will be opened when we need to channel the water. The tribe members return to their normal routines. Men continue logging, stockpiling for future construction. Women resume gathering food. They believe the more food the better. The 30 wheelbarrows are also complete. To enable large-scale copper ore mining in the future, Basin and Porter are now designing large carts that antelopes can pull, under my guidance. With their previous 2 builds as experience, I explain the 4-wheeled cart design and let them figure it out themselves. Meanwhile, I spend my time crafting field plows. Everyone busily works on their tasks in an orderly fashion. One morning when I emerged from the cave, the first thing I see is a vast expanse of white. The long-awaited winter has finally arrived. Goose feather snowflakes keep falling. The sky hangs dark and gloomy. Who knows when it will stop? The men's logging work halts. Everyone huddles inside the cave. The women also stop clamoring to gather food. In this weather, brick firing is definitely out. We will have to wait until the snow stops. So I launched my long-planned initiative, teaching everyone the common tongue and a writing system. Actually, the Riverstone tribe members have already picked up some basic vocabulary. Little Sprout especially can speak simple phrases now. This makes things easier. I just need to teach them more essential words and show them how to string sentences together. As for writing, teaching them simplified characters is not realistic yet. The clerical script, being closer to pictographs, will be much easier for them to grasp. Whether they can write is not that important. The key is they must recognize the characters. To boost everyone's learning enthusiasm, I establish a rule. Before dinner each day, I will check everyone's progress. Those who can recite get half rations. Those who excel get rewards. This strategy works perfectly. All tribe members become highly motivated, especially the children. After lessons, they spontaneously gather in small groups to practice. A few days later, the snow finally stops. The brick firing plan officially launches. After personally demonstrating 2 kilns, I turn the work over to the tribe members. They do not need to work every day, basically just when loading the kiln and removing finished bricks. The rest is firing and cooling time. Days pass like this, studying the common tongue and characters daily, moving bricks every few days. Ordinary, yet fulfilling. When not busy, people make ornamental accessories, mostly the men. Bone necklaces, feathers, all kinds of things. They pile them on generously. I do not quite understand, so Elder Horn explains, to prevent inbreeding and genetic degradation. Many tribes gather in spring for a tribal gathering. If a woman likes a man, she will follow him to his tribe. The standard for liking is whether you are strong enough, whether your tribe is powerful, and whether you have abundant food. These things can be observed from the bone ornaments a man wears. If you carry a particularly long thigh bone as a weapon, your tribe clearly has the strength to hunt large beasts, naturally indicating your tribe won't lack food. This gives me some inspiration. I seem to be missing something myself. I naturally have no interest in those bone necklaces. After some thought, I decide to create circlet-style accessories. Circlet materials are typically gold, silver, jade, or leather. Different people just need different materials. Since ancient times, gold has symbolized nobility. The Riverstone tribe has no gold, so my crown is made of open-work copper. Having changed my own, I can't leave my tribe members' heads bare, so I make Timber a silver-colored one from tin. Timber loves it. Under my guidance, the other adult men also create circletlets from various materials, animal hide, wood, bone, all kinds, even hairpins. From now on, the Riverstone tribe has a new regulation. Children can only bind their hair, wear circletlets, but cannot use hairpins. Adult men can wear circletlets and must use hairpins to distinguish adults from minors. Women also no longer wear only ponytails. Adult women must pin their hair up using wooden combs or hairpins as ornaments. Underage girls can wear ponytails, loose hair, or braids, also using hairpins as decoration. Metal being a strategic resource can't be used for everyone's accessories, so I use metal ornaments as rewards, distributed to anyone who contributes to the tribe. Through this series of reforms, in the Riverstone tribe now, you can tell a person's identity, age group, and whether they have contributed to the tribe just by looking at their head. Sprout Circlet is also my creation, featuring a copper buckle with cloud patterns. I award it to him for learning characters fastest. He is the first child to own a metal accessory, making him extremely happy. Actually, I am not working so hard on ornamental accessories just to distinguish tribal hierarchy. It is mainly for that tribal gathering. Not to find a match myself, but to meet people from other tribes and see if any trade is possible. Previously, the Riverstone tribe's salt all came from trading with Baldcap's tribe, but now Baldcap's tribe is gone. So until we find a salt mine, I want to find new sellers. The Riverstone tribe's pottery is quite valuable. I want to trade pottery not just for salt, but also to buy population. Relying on these fewer than 200 people to reproduce naturally, I would not fill one fortress in the next lifetime. However, not all tribes can be like the Riverstone tribe, never worrying about food, with leisure time to contemplate tribal development plans, like the Black Whisker tribe to the east of the Riverstone tribe. This is a medium-sized tribe with over 150 people. They differ from the Riverstone tribe in one major way. The Black Whisker tribe has its own faith. They worship the Black Rat and have a shaman who communicates with the divine, matron Black Whisker, an elderly woman. This winter, she claims who have received divine guidance. She worries their stored food won't last until next spring, so she tells the chief to lead the hunting party out to find food. Thus, Chief Whisker of the Black Whisker tribe leads 19 men out hunting. Soon they discover something strange. At the western edge of the forest near their tribe, thick black smoke occasionally rises. That is definitely deliberately set by humans. But when did people settle to the west? Long ago, they walked to the western forest edge, but they could not cross that walong or siyam na meter wide river. So they never went that far again. Now judging by the smoke's location, it is clearly near the river. Chief Whisker immediately reports this to matron Black Whisker. She is not particularly surprised. Instead, she is quite interested in why these people keep burning fires. In matron Black Whisker's understanding, fire is for cooking food. If it were for warmth, why not keep it burning constantly? She is puzzled, so she tells Chief Whisker to take people and investigate. If possible, try trading with them. Maybe they can learn something too. So Chief Whisker leads his team out to accomplish this diplomatic mission. Meanwhile, at the Riverstone tribe, Basin and Six are guarding the brick kiln. Every so often, they check the kiln fire and toss in furry wood. The two have been firing since last night until this afternoon. The brick molds in the kiln have reached a blindingly red heat. It is time to flood and seal the kiln. Basin pats Six, signaling him to return to the cave and call for help. Six nods and heads straight for the cave without looking back. But during Basin's solo watch, Bow's roar suddenly thunders across the ground. Then comes the sound of Bow running, followed by human shouting. Basin hurriedly climbs up from the underground fire pit. The moment his head emerges, he sees a dozen spears swooshing toward Bow. Terrified, he takes off running straight for the cave. I am just preparing to lead people to flood the brick kiln when, emerging from the cave, I witness the scene of Bow being chased and attacked. Chief Whisker and his men initially wanted to pursue but suddenly see me leading a crowd out from the cave. They freeze instantly. What the hell? Who dares attack my Bow? Everyone grab your weapons. Hearing my order, tribe members immediately charge out roaring. 70 or 80 people, each holding weapons, instantly surround Chief Whisker's group. Chief Whisker's jaw drops. Before him, everyone looks fierce and menacing. The young man in front has a stern expression, wearing a golden crown and golden hairpin, holding a white shaft golden spear glaring at him. The formation behind is even more eye-blinding. Every person holds a gleaming bronze shovel. Never mind combat ability, this luxurious lineup alone is enough to terrify Chief Whisker's group into immobility. Bow, seeing I have controlled the situation, bounces back happily, standing behind me and roaring at Chief Whisker with borrowed authority. I pat his trunk, signaling him to quiet down, then turn to Chief Whisker. This mammoth is ours. Why did you attack him? Chief Whisker is somewhat dumbfounded, but seeing how familiar I am with this monster, he never imagined this neighboring tribe could control such a huge beast. What he imagines even less is that Ash, even larger than Bow, now also hears the commotion and runs over, standing beside Bow, curiously observing the surrounded group. Chief Whisker and his lackeys are scared stiff. Damn, there is another one. Seeing they all look utterly shocked, I frown and have Elder Horn go ask who they are and why they came here. Elder Horn walks up to Chief Whisker and, through a combination of words and gestures, translates what I said and introduces my identity as Chief. After hearing Elder Horn's words, Chief Whisker first apologizes profusely. He did not know these monsters had owners, which is why he thought of hunting them for winter provisions. Finally, tearfully, he explains his purpose for coming. I did not expect they actually wanted to come trade for food, but if they have something that interests me, trading is not out of the question. So what do you have to exchange? Chief Whisker hesitates. Can we trade stone bowls? After all, his tribe has several, and stone bowls are essential items for every tribe. Before I can respond, Elder Horn already speaks up. We have plenty of pottery. If you want some, you can also trade for it. Salt and population both work. Now it is Chief Whisker's turn to be stunned. They actually have a lot of pottery and can trade it to US. Elder Horn, seeing Chief Whisker does not believe him, calls some children to bring out a set of pottery. In less than 2 minutes, the children haul out a water jar, a pot, and several bowls. Even more, several children watching the excitement stand at the cave entrance slurping meat broth from their bowls. This leaves Chief Whisker dumbfounded. He has never smelled such a meaty aroma before. I have someone fill a bowl of broth for him. After all, if he has not tasted the broth, he won't know pot rice true value. Chief Whisker carefully takes the broth and, copying the children, takes a slurp. Instantly, warmth flows from his throat to his stomach. After a while, his whole body feels warm. This broth was specially made by me for warding off cold. There is not much meat, but I added pig bones and chili peppers. On ordinary days, drinking a couple sips, so comfortable. Chief Whisker is completely won over by this broth H's flavor. He immediately decides to trade population for clay pots. As for what salt is, he's never even heard of it. Elder Horn repeats the pottery trading prices from before. 1 clay pot for 2 underage boys or 1 adult woman. Chief Whisker finds this price acceptable, but he did not bring any women or children on this trip. Yet he really wants to take a pot back. So, he can only shamelessly ask if he can take the pot now and bring the people next time. Hearing this, I immediately refuse. Credit is impossible. Absolutely impossible in this lifetime. What if they default? I would become the fool who got played. Seeing I won't agree, Chief Whisker immediately retrieves a bulging hide sack from one of his men and hands it to me. This contains food. Not much, but I hope you will let us take a pottery bowl first. Next time, we will still trade people for this pottery. Like I would need your little bit of food. I carelessly opened the sack and glanced inside dismissively. But the next moment, my eyes refused to move. These are peanuts. My mind instantly races through countless peanut dishes, roasted peanuts, salt-boiled peanuts, fried peanuts, peanut butter. This is treasure. Besides high nutritional value, the key is it can be pressed for oil. Plant a huge field and we'll never lack cooking oil again. With oil and fat, I can make soap, candles, even explosives. So calling peanuts a strategic resource is not an exaggeration. I suppressed my excitement, holding back for quite a while before regaining composure. Where did you get these? Chief Whisker babbles and gestures. I finally understand. Their tribe is so-called deity is a Blackford rat, and the peanuts are dug from rat burrows. They know where to find burrows with peanut stashes, so peanuts are not particularly precious in their tribe. I nod silently and casually pull out a large basket. A full basket of peanuts like this can also trade for pottery, but the shells must be undamaged. Chief Whisker can hardly believe I would offer such favorable terms. He immediately agrees joyfully, promising to bring more next time. In the end, Chief Whisker takes away that large basket, plus a clay pot, a clay bowl, and a ladle I gifted him. Watching them depart, I suddenly feel a wave of fear. This time, we were actually ambushed by a strange tribe right at our cave entrance. Fortunately, their numbers were not large. If they would come specifically to attack the Riverstone tribe, even if we could hold them off, we would probably suffer casualties. I would previously plan defensive fortifications, but city walls that large, how could they be built just like that? During this defensive gap period, I must first create temporary defensive works to rely on. I first have timber lead people to flood and seal the brick kiln. I stand at the cave entrance, thinking, the kiln has been firing for 2 months now. We have accumulated massive amounts of finished bricks. Fortress construction won't start until next spring, so are not these bricks just sitting idle right now? With this thought, a simple, quick defensive fortification appears in my mind. Early the next morning, I gather all the adults and tell them I am going to use walls on 3 sides to surround the cave, leaving only a 2-meter wide gate on the east side. At the entrance, I will use a 3-meter high stockade as the main gate, with 4 layers of spears bound side by side on the front. This simply defensive wall will be directly stacked from gray bricks. In such cold weather, I just need to pour water on the stacked brick wall for it to freeze together. When spring comes and the weather warms and thaws, these bricks can still be used for fortress construction without affecting their usability. Over the next several days, all adults work together. With wheelbarrows and so many tools, the wall height grows at a visible speed. Meanwhile, over at the Black Whisker tribe, Chief Whisker is warming a pot of broth in his newly traded clay pot, filling Elder Horn, his own elder, in on everything he saw and gained from the visit. Matron Black Whisker hears every word and makes the call on the spot. She has to see the Riverstone tribe for herself. Back at the Riverstone tribe, the wall is finished. 3 meters tall, nearly half a meter thick, solid enough to stop anything short of an army. With the ice brick wall in place, it is time to think about weapons. Last time, most of the tribe went into battle armed with nothing but bronze shovels. Useful in a pinch, sure, but only up close. And up close means casualties. What we need are ranged weapons. That is where I am putting my focus. After turning it over in my mind, bronze spears are the answer. 1 clean hit, and it is over. The tribe's old spears were just sharpened wood. Poor penetration, poor durability. But I have got hundreds of pounds of metal stock sitting in reserve. All I need to do is fit a metal tip onto each shaft. I forge the first spearhead myself, then hand the rest of the work off to Reed and Porter. By the 4th day, 260 bronze spears are ready. With the wall up and the spears in hand, I finally let out a breath. The enemy force is no more than 20 strong, while the Riverstone tribe fields over 60 adults. 1 volley of bronze spears, and it is done. Meanwhile, Chief Whisker leads his group across the stream, and can find the cave. Where open ground stood just days ago, a wall of white and pale blue ice now looms out of nowhere. Chief Whisker rushes up to it wide-eyed. This was not here a few days ago, did it just grow out of the ground? Matron Black Whisker catches up and stares, then lets out a cry she can't hold back. This is the work of the gods. Inside the wall, Bo is busy playing when the noise outside catches his attention. He trots straight to the gate and pokes his head out. He spots the same group that jabbed him with spears last time, and lets out a warning bellow. That is when Chief Whisker notices the gate, a wooden frame lined on the outside with rows of hard wooden spear shafts. He has no idea what it is for, but his mind fills in the picture on its own. Enemies charging straight into it, impaled on every spike dead before they hit the ground. He shakes his head in pure disbelief. The men and boys in the group have a very different thought on their minds. Why has not the Riverstone tribe eaten that four-legged beast? That thing would feed everyone for weeks. I hear Bo's bellow and step out of the cave with a dozen tribe members at my back, every one of them gripping a new bronze spear. Chief Whisker quickly makes clear he is here to trade for pottery. I give a nod, and the gate swings open. The moment Chief Whisker's group steps inside, they freeze. 30 identical wooden carts sit lined up beside the animal pen. Next to the cave entrance stand 50 bronze shovels and over 200 bronze spears, their tips catching the light in neat gleaming rows. Near the cave entrance, a blue antelope munches high in a grass shelter until it spots the strangers and starts sounding off. Chief Whisker's group nearly jumps out of their skins. Even after they are inside the cave, none of them have quite recovered. Inside the cave, one quick glance tells the whole story. People everywhere, easily as many as the entire Black Whisker tribe. The Riverstone people stare at the newcomers. Chief Whisker stares right back at the 100-odd clay pots lined up around the fire pit. His jaw goes slack. A few Black Whisker women have their eyes on something else entirely, the Riverstone women. Every one of them rosy-cheeked and dressed in proper animal hide. Only Matron Black Whisker has the sharpest eye of all. She stands perfectly still, locked onto the hundreds of carved characters covering the cave wall. I notice her interest and leave her to it. I signal Elderhorn to start the trade with Chief Whisker. The chief has brought along a group of women, young boys and several baskets of peanuts. He is after clay balls. The moment they are in his hands, his face lights up. His people will finally be able to eat like this too. But perhaps the happiest of all are the young boys and girls being traded. One look at the Riverstone tribe tells them everything. Strong, well-fed, no more starving. The moment the trade wraps up, Matron Black Whisker makes a beeline for me. What are those marks on the wall? I pick up a small stick and walk her through it carefully. It takes a while but understanding slowly crosses her face. If everyone learned these marks, could you write something down and someone else would know exactly what you meant? I have no idea where her mind is going but she is clearly deep in thought so I leave her alone. Funny thing is, my own people practice these characters every day, yet not one of them has ever thought to ask a question like that. Once business is done, I extend an invitation, stay the night both of you. Matron Black Whisker accepts without a moment's hesitation. She has questions, plenty of them. To mark the occasion I call for an extra meal tonight but fitting everyone in the cave for the night is another problem. I decide to move the rabbit pen outside to free up space. I pick a spot and put the tribe straight to work. 4 brick walls, a fully laid floor, a thick spread of dry grass, done. The women carry all 50 plus rabbits out to the new outdoor pen. Chief Whisker can't help himself. Why keep them alive? That is a lot of meat just sitting there. Before I can answer, Timber jumps in and explains the whole breeding plan himself. He watched it happen with his own eyes. 30 rabbits became 50 almost overnight, racing them beats chasing them through the forest any day. The Black Whisker group listens in stunned silence. The idea of keeping food alive until you need it. It had never crossed their minds. Matron Black Whisker pulls me quietly aside. Who taught you all this? She murmurs. Is it your tribe's god? I tell her straight. I was born knowing these things. She stares at me genuinely shaken. Then are you the god? I take the group to see the future rice patties and I tell them plainly by next year we will have more food than we can eat. Chief Whisker frowns. Even with a bigger tribe surely we could not eat that much. After the long tour he finally asks the real question. I smile. We will be inviting other tribes to join us. Chief Whisker looks unconvinced. I just smile and call Timber over. Let him tell the story himself. Timber lived through the cannibal tribe's raid firsthand. The way he tells it you would swear you were there. Cold sweat breaks out on Chief Whisker's brow. A tribe like that actually exists and think everything it has not found his people yet. I judge the moment right and drop the real bombshell. The cannibal tribe camps on the other side of the river and with them creatures as large as ash with long curling trunks probably not far from your territory. Stay sharp. And with that I turn and walk back behind the wall. The color drains from both their faces. The cannibal tribe right on their doorstep. There is no staying for pleasantries now. They come straight to me to say their goodbyes. They need to get back and prepare. I do not press them to stay. I send them off with 10 large fish for the road. Before they go I tell Matron Black Whisker. If danger comes this place is open to you. Both of them thank me again and again then lead their people away at a brisk pace. As their figures disappear into the distance the Riverstone tribe settles back into its quiet rhythm. A day before the third full moon of winter the snow comes. Thick heavy flakes that fall for a full day and night. The open ground disappears under a deep white blanket and brick firing grinds to a halt. I am lying against a haystack near the trees shelling chestnuts. Bow and Ash sprawled on either side of me. Then Ash lifts his head, ear spanning wide toned to something far off. I feel it too and go still. Less than a minute later a deep tremor rolls through the ground beneath us. I sprint out and scramble up behind the west wall to get a look. To the west a vast hunting force, a nightmare coalition of predators, is bearing down hard on a herd of prey animals. Stampeding out in front are wild cattle unlike anything I have ever seen. Alongside crown stag, animals I would only ever seen mounted in museum halls. Caught up in the chaos, dozens of alpacas run alongside them. Behind them come the hunters toe-earing terror bigs and surging packs of wild boar, but honestly they are just bit players in this production. The real muscle of this hunting army is a grey wolf pack over 200 strong. I press myself flat behind the wall, barely breathing, watching every move. Ash and Bao crouch silently beside me watching the spectacle unfold. With the hunters closing in, the lead bull drives his 100-strong herd in a desperate charge toward the northeast. The alpha wolf sweeps over 100 starving wolves around both flanks at terrifying speed. The herd thunders forward straight into the trench canal I dug for the rice paddies. Every hair on every bull stands on end. Where in the world did that come from? The lead bull is frantic. The trench is impassable. The herd skids to a grinding halt. They line up shoulder to shoulder, horns turned outward, bracing for what is coming. The wolf pack snarls and bares its teeth, tightening the circle step by deliberate step. Then at the very moment the world holds its breath, a thunderously loud fart shatters the silence. Both sides freeze. Hundreds of pairs of eyes, all burning with curiosity, snap in unison toward the top of the west wall. There I am, slapping Bao repeatedly on the top of his head. You little menace. I told you to stop stealing chestnuts and now look what you have done to us. The cattle are the first to react. Their eyes lock onto us and there is no trench on this side of the wall. The wolves' eyes light up too. They have just spotted prey far easier to run down than a stampeding herd. I catch that look in their eyes and I run. Weapons, get to the cave entrance now. The wall is useless to us now. Half a meter thick, 3 meters tall. Perfect against people. Against a maddened cattle stampede. That is a different story entirely. The herd does not wait. They charge. The alpha wolf sees the breakout and barks the order. Drive the boars forward. Launch the first counter charge. The boars surge to the front. They have no choice. They are outnumbered and they know it. But they still want their share of the kill, so they play the wolf pack's shock troops. With open ground just ahead, there is no stopping this herd. What follows is a collision unlike anything this world has ever seen. Like a comet slamming into the earth. Over 100 wild cattle, each standing more than 2 meters tall and weighing over a ton, hit the boar line at full sprint. Those fearsome wild boars, they might as well be paper in front of a blade. Half-meter horns tear through boar after boar, splitting them open on impact. In a single pass, dozens of boars are sent flying and they slam hard into the Riverstone Tribe's wall. The ice brick wall, for all its thickness, cannot absorb the relentless impact, and with a thunderous crash it comes down. Bao and Ash bolt to the cave entrance, backing up so fast they are practically plugging the opening with their backsides. The surviving boars are so terrified they spin around and scramble straight over their fallen comrades into the enclosure. In the chaos, more than 10 cattle breach the wall as well. The two sides collide inside the enclosure and what is left of the wall crumbles in seconds. 2 blue antelopes trembling in their shelter are caught in the crossfire. Gored by a passing horn, dead before they can even bolt, and all I can do is stand there and watch everything I have built get torn apart in minutes. This is beyond any one person's power to control. All I can do is keep my people alive. In the chaos, the animal shelter collapses, spinning more than 10 tethered blue antelopes beneath the wreckage. Then the panicked boars and rampaging cattle trample straight over them. How many can possibly survive that? It hits me like a blow to the chest. Every single one of those animals, I brought them here myself. Outside the wall, over 100 cattle actually break free of the wolf encirclement, swing wide of the trench canal and thunder off toward the hills northeast of the cave. The image of boars getting launched into the air is still fresh in every wolf's mind. No one dares a frontal block. They circle and snap at the edges instead. Over 20 stragglers are brought down. The alpha wolf calls off the chase. Time to eat. Inside the enclosure, I am seething. Every blue antelope I worked so hard to bring back, gone. If I do not salvage something from this disaster right now, it is a total loss. I call out every adult in the tribe. Get your spears ready. Every boar and every bull still inside these walls. Kill them all. This meat walks straight into our hands. We are not letting a single pound of it go to waste. 70 to 80 people line up at the cave entrance and a storm of bronze spears darkens the air above the rampaging boars. More than 20 animals drop where they stand, each one bristling with spear shafts. I pull Elder Horn aside, take the children and hold the cave entrance. Everyone else follows me toward the breach. Dozens of half-dead boars are piled up there and they are not going anywhere. Formation. Men on the front line, women right behind to finish the job. Kill every last one. then drag them back inside. I step forward, golden spear leveled, eyes fixed on the wolf pack closing in. A dozen Riverstone men take their places on either side of me. We lock into a single battle line, spears raised. Behind us the women move through the fallen boars with bronze spears finishing them off one by one. The dying shrieks of boars and the battle cries of our people fill the air. The commotion draws the wolf's attention fast, the alpha lets out a snarl, and the whole pack goes still. A new fight is about to break out right here. I shout for the line to tighten up. Anyone who takes down a wolf gets wolf hide and a longbow. I promise it right now, looking at those snarling jaws. All I see is a mountain of pelts walking toward us. The alpha throws back its head, a long piercing howl, and the entire pack forms up and surges toward the bridge at full speed. I am the first to move. I drive my spear straight into the chest of the wolf lunging at me. With a sickening thud, blood sprays wide and that ferocious beast crumples to the ground. The men on both sides drive home their first thrust and a line of grey wolf bodies marks the front of our formation. Inside the enclosure, thanks to Bow and Ash, all 50+ boars have been finished off. The women, now free, rush to join the line, slotting into the gaps between the men in the front row. The remaining women form a second rank behind them, spears ready for whatever comes next. In moments, the ground in front of our spear line is covered with no fewer than 40 wolf carcasses. With the front rank doubled by the women joining in, the wolves can make no headway against us. But grey wolves did not survive this long by charging a wall of spears. They are smarter than that. Out of sight, the alpha is sending a second group around to flank us from the wall side. But it does not get past me. I have had my eye on that alpha the whole time. I scramble up the nearest section of wall and survey the field from above. Down at the bridge, over 50 wolf carcasses form a grim low wall of their own. The alpha spots me on the wall, knows its flanking move has been seen, and lets out another furious snarl. One by one, the largest wolves vault off the pile of bodies and launch themselves at our second rank. The sudden move grabs my full attention. I shout for the front rank to push forward and close the gap. At that exact moment, a wolf-spined yelp rings out from the south wall. Bow is there, on the inside, swinging his great trunk like a club, batting down every wolf trying to scramble over the wall. Ash takes one look and does the same, the two of them fighting side by side. The front line holds. The alpha sees the frontal assault going nowhere and calls a halt. All its hopes now rest on the flanking group. Then a powerful wolf pushes off a companion's back, launches itself into the air, and nearly clears the top of the 3-meter wall. An arrow hisses out of nowhere and buries itself in the wolf's throat. The wolf still lining up behind it flinch hard. Then whoosh after whoosh, more arrows, fast and precise, and the flanking attempt falls apart. The alpha looks at both sides of the field. There is no way through. It won't attack again. One earth-shaking howl, and the pack pulls back. They turn back to the cattle carcasses scattered outside, and that is that. But letting them walk away is not something I am prepared to do, not after losing every single blue antelope I had. I keep the men on guard and set the women to dragging the wolf carcasses from the bridge back inside. A few more are sent to make torches from furry wood and lard. I tell Elderhorn to bring out every arrow and reserve. 10 minutes later, Bow's back is loaded with every torch the tribe has. Ash wears my quiver around his neck, and me on his back. 30 adults fall in behind us, torches and spears in hand, heading for the cattle bodies. We reach the nearest carcass and I drop several wolves with quick arrows. The rest scatter. We move in, loop rope around the animal's head, and have Bow and Ash haul it back. We go back and forth, trip after trip, and each time we come back out, we bring another load of furry wood. The wolves have seen what bronze spears and arrows can do. Add fire to that, and all they can do is watch us take their kills. Even the Terabix peeking at cattle in the distance do not escape. I drop every one of them with long-range arrows. All ours. Driven into a corner, the wolves shift their attention to the animal still alive in the trench canal. Before they can act, fires roar to life along the entire length of the canal bank. That is the last of their options gone. Along the canal bank, I stand with my people, torches raised, taking stock of what we have got. Trapped in the 700-meter trench canal, 36 na alpacas, 28 crown stags, 47 cattle of all sizes, plus 7 or 8 wolves trampled to death, and 1 peacock with a broken leg. After more than an hour of hard work, every carcass lying outside has been dragged back inside the wall. By now, it is the dead of night. To keep everyone going, a few women butcher a boar and make a late-night meal. A thick slab of roasted meat for every person, unlimited broth, the first fresh-cooked meal anyone has had in 3 months of winter. Every face in the firelight is smiling. The men talk and laugh late into the night. By the time the meal is done, dawn is already breaking. I split the 70+ adults into 4 teams. 10 on rotating watch duty atop the wall, 20 on wall and fence repairs. The remaining 40+ follow me outside with tools. First, I assign 6 of them to dig a ramp up from the north side of the trench canal, just wide enough for one animal to walk up, not wide enough to turn around. The rest build a wooden chute under my direction. Any animal coming up the ramp walks straight into a narrow wooden corridor with no way out. I bring over a portable brazier, light the charcoal, and set 2 copper hooks into heat. With everything set, I have someone carry a bundle of feed to the canal edge to coax the animals toward the ramp. Cold and starving, the herbivores need no convincing. The moment they smell the high, they scramble up the ramp and onto solid ground. Once they are up, the rest is easy. A few people loop ropes around their necks and lead them straight into the enclosure to be tied up. The last one up the ramp is a bull, and the moment his head clears the top, several people block him in with poles, front and back. I drive the red-hot copper hook through his nose and fit the ring. That raging bull goes as docile as a quail on the spot. The work runs well into the afternoon before every animal, dead or alive, is out of the canal and accounted for. 97 animals captured alive across 3 species. Dead, 45 cattle, 52 wild boar, 17 crown stags, 113 gray wolves, 14 na terror beaks brought down by arrows, and every single blue antelope from the shelter. Caught in the crossfire, not one survivor. The one miracle in all of this, the rabbit pen made it through without a scratch. By the time evening falls, every breach and broken section has been repaired. 5 more layers of brick have been added to all 3 walls, no wolf is sleeping over that now. The open ground inside the wall fills with the crack and pop of burning wood and the sound of laughter. Over 100 people work by firelight, children running between them waving chunks of roasted meat, singing songs I still can't understand. I stand in the middle of it all, watching people who have not slept in over a day and still won't stop moving, and I feel a quiet unease creeping in. Winter has barely a month left. When the thaw comes, what do we do with all this meat? The skinning and butchering goes on until midnight, people red-eyed and running on empty, and not one of them willing to stop. In the end, I have to order them to bed. The next morning, barely half a night's sleep later, everyone is up and moving with full energy. I set them back to work. Flint takes chirp and skip to forge 42 cattle nose rings. The men dig 2 shallow pits, fill them with ashfly and start soaking the 200+ animal hides. The rest keep working through the meat. Timber leads a small group sorting cattle horns and sinew. I call over the 3 adult men from the old bald cap tribe and ask where they used to get their salt. We got it from a small hole inside our cavern. We would send children in, 3 or 4 years old, to bring it out. Good answer. Next time we go looking, you are leading the way. With wolf packs still lurking in the forest to the west, I decide to hold off on the salt run for now. In the meantime, I have every last bit of our salt reserve brought out and start teaching the tribe to make cured meat and dried sausage. Meanwhile, Chief Whisker and Matron Black Whisker have made it back to their tribe at a run. Both take my warning seriously. After a brief meeting between the 2 of them, they reach a decision. Chief Whisker takes a 20-strong hunting party west to see if what I said is true. Matron Black Whisker stays behind and organizes the women to build a defensive fence wall. They even copy the Riverstone tribe's idea, a gate made of wooden stakes and stone spears. Around the fire, tribe members cook broth in their newly traded clay pots, eating and whispering among themselves. Any tribe that can make containers like these, how powerful must they be? I wish we could join the Riverstone tribe ourselves. The words reach Matron Black Whiskers. She does not react, just closes her eyes and turns my words over in her mind again and again. Join the Riverstone tribe and you will never go hungry. You will have more hides than you can wear and a safe place to live. Just then, Chief Whisker returns with his party. He walks into the tent holding a long string of human bone necklaces. Found this on frozen bodies, a lot of them, out in the forest. Matron Black Whiskers nods slowly. It is real. For a long moment, neither of them says a word. After a long silence, she speaks. I have had the tribe building a wall this past 2 days. But if the cannibal tribe actually attacks, it won't hold. A child could climb over that fence. Matron Black Whiskers lets out a long breath. Then we post more lookouts and get the women and children making weapons. If that day comes and we can fight them off, we will deal with it then. If only we had more people. Chief Whiskers nods, gets halfway to his feet to go assign duties, then stops. I can get us more people. Matron Black Whiskers, eyes snap open. Tell me, now, you remember the bird tribe. They will want these clay pots just as much as we did. We trade the pots to them. The Riverstone tribe trades with us 1 clay pot for 2 boys or 1 adult woman. We offer the bird tribe double, 1 pot for 2 women or 4 boys. Then we take those people and trade the right number to the Riverstone tribe. The extra ones stay with us. Matron Black Whiskers breaks into a wide grin. You can do that with a trade. You clever little rat. Even I, on the other side of the stream, could never have seen this coming. The Stone Age's first middleman had just been born. Do it. Take some people and head for the bird tribe now. Use the clay pots we already have. Chief Whiskers gives a quick nod and heads straight out to get ready. Back at the Riverstone tribe, I am still turning over the wolf problem in my mind. The pack has not shown itself in the forest in days. Our salt supply is down to about a month's worth. Waiting them out is not a plan. I turn it over every way I can. Going out to fight is out of the question. Take too few people and be walking straight into the wolves' jaws. Then from outside the cave, Sprout's little voice cuts through, "Hold still." I said, "Stop moving." Flint and Ox are fitting a nose ring on a wild bull, and the bull is not cooperating. Little Sprout stands behind it, wielding a thorny vine like he owns the place, swatting the bull on the backside. Something clicks. I laugh out loud, and before I have even finished thinking it through, I am already heading out to collect thorn coils. The vines are roughly finger-thick, covered in dense hardened spines, perfect raw material for a lethal trap. I chop them into thumb-length segments with an axe, then submerge them in cold water to freeze. Once a shell of ice encases each piece, spines and all sealed inside, I coat the outside with a thick layer of lard. The moment a wolf swallows one of these, the ice melts in its stomach, the thorn coil springs open, and it is over. No way out. That afternoon, I ride Ash to the edge of the forest and toss out some animal offal as a gift. Give them something good first, get them comfortable. When I come back at dusk, the next delivery will be something very different. Thorn coils and their ice and lard coating are scattered all along the western forest edge. All that is left is to wait. With winter drawing to a close, there is no shortage of pressing matters, but spring planting and salt gathering sit at the very top of the list. The old plow was built for blue antelopes, far smaller than the cattle we now have. It is useless. A new design begins to take shape in my mind. A wooden frame fitted with two plow blades side by side. Meanwhile, Chief Whisker, that master of playing both sides, sets off on his first business venture. The bird tribe numbers over 230 people, and their territory is blanketed with vast chestnut groves. Chestnuts can't anchor a meal for a tribe that size, but they have kept people from starving when the hunting is thin. Their settlement lies south of the Black Whisker tribe, not close, not far. A solid day's walk, Chief Whisker marches out with 10 sturdy men. One full day later, they arrive at the Bird tribe just as supper is being prepared. Chief Bird and his shaman take one look at the newcomers and their blood boils. 3 months deep into winter, every tribe's doors are scraped bare. They can barely feed themselves as it is. What kind of nerve does it take to show up now? Chief Whisker reads the room immediately. All smiles, he explains he has not come to eat their food, and has his men bring out supplies of their own. Chief Bird's expression softens slightly. He leads them in. The settlement is a cluster of semi-underground earth houses, not entirely unlike the Riverstone tribe's kilns in shape. Half buried in the earth, a dome of branches above ground sealed with thick clay, a small smoke hole at the top. The moment Chief Whisker steps inside, his eyes go straight to the central fire. Bird tribe members are roasting chestnuts and dried meat. His mind is already doing the math. Cool as anything, he has his men set up a clay pot over the fire and start cooking their own meat broth right there in the middle of the room. Chief Bird can take his eyes off the clay pot. Then he hears it also keeps you warm in the cold and makes food go further, and his interest turns into something sharper. With winter rations running out, making food last is everything. The moment the price comes up, they are at each other's throats. Chief Whisker only brought clay pots, no water jars or bowls for comparison. Without a reference point, Chief Bird can't gauge the value, and he thinks he is being robbed. After hard bargaining, they settle on a price, 1 clay pot for 3 boys or 1 woman plus 1 boy. Chief Whisker's mind is already doing the math. He wants fighters, boys only. Women slow things down, he figures. These boys are only 10 or 11, but by tribal reckoning, they are a year or 2 from adulthood, a little training, and they are ready to fight. Chief Bird is not happy. Trading away that many able-bodied young people at once, even for a large tribe, that is a heat you feel. So they agree, this once, boys only. Future trades must include women. Chief Whisker nods along enthusiastically, agreeing to everything. The next morning, Chief Whisker leaves 5 clay pots behind, collects his 15 boys and heads home to the Black Whisker tribe with a very satisfied look on his face. With winter almost over, he has already got his mind on the next move, the trade with the Riverstone tribe, and he is itching to get it done. Back at the Riverstone tribe, the mood is electric. After the heart-stopping battle to defend our home, every member of the tribe fought with distinction. The rewards I promised before the battle, every single one of them is being paid out today. Wolf pelts, thick and warm, go to every adult in the tribe, men and women alike. Bronze ornaments are limited, but I hold nothing back. The men receive specially crafted bronze buttons. Small, but they carry the weight of a medal, a mark of valor. The women get finely made bronze hairpins. Every face lights up, but the thing that sends the whole tribe into a frenzy is this, every person gets a longbow. They have seen what this can do. The new standard longbow is built from desert juju by wood, dense with outstanding snap, strung with hemp fiber that is nearly impossible to snap under tension. The full draw length is 1.75 meters, matched to the height and strength of most tribe members. The power behind each shot is nothing short of fearsome. We have the timber and the tools. I thought mass production would be straightforward. Getting my hands on the actual work set me right on that. The first wall we hit, processing the wood, the material standards are demanding. The sapwood to heartwood ratio in desert jujube should be 1:2. All we have is a heavy timber so that takes 2 people to pull, completely useless for fine work. The small hand so handles branches fine. Logs are another matter entirely. I think hard for a long time and finally a memory surfaces. A tool I saw as a child, the bow saw. With a clear picture in mind, I divide the work fast. Flint makes a saw blade with holes at each end. Porter builds the wooden H-frame. Both are skilled craftsmen. A small tool like this is no trouble at all. I turn to my own problem, how to mark a straight line on raw timber. The first thing that comes to mind is the snap line. Ancient wisdom, simply and perfect. 2 points, 1 line, done. The tribe has hemp cord, but ink is another story. Time is pressing and I need ink now. I dig through everything I know about how the ancients made it. Pine soot ink, made from the residue left when oil-rich pine burns without enough air to combust fully. No need to build a kiln or run a flue, a simple brick heart will do. I get pine branches burning and thick black smoke billows up immediately. Before long, the bricks above are coated black. I scrape the soot off carefully, mix it with water into a thick dark paste and soak the hemp cord in it until it is saturated, then pull it taut. A simple snap line, no reel needed. Snapping it by hand works fine. Porter and I end up with ink black hands from end to end. We are deep in the work when Flint and Porter come running over, holding the freshly finished bow saw with barely contained excitement. I take the nearly 70cm saw and give it a single pull. Sawdust sprays. The snap line disappears into the cut as the blade runs straight and through down the length of the log. The result is better than I expected. I order 20 more made on the spot. Push production this hard and we will need more copper, which means mining again. And thinking about mining gets my mind moving towards something new, a boat. A flat-bottom pond to be precise. The mine is upriver from here. Going on foot takes the better part of a day. Pack animals are slow, they wear out and some stretches of the terrain simply won't let them through. There is no way to make it fast, but if we load a boat at the Old Tree Hollow tribe's position and ride the current downstream, we are there in under an hour with a full heavy load. The pond I have in mind has a slight upward curve at bow and stern, a flat square bottom built specifically for inland river work. River depth here varies wildly. A flat bottom keeps the drafted float steady even in the shallows, never grounds out safety and navigability both excellent. Based on the river's width, I set the dimensions 3 meters across 8 meters long, a solid length to width ratio for stable efficient movement. The hull will be reinforced with 2 longitudinal beams and 7 U-shaped keels, all pine strong and built to last. The whole planking comes from desert jujube heartwood. The outer sapwood layers go toward longbows. Every part of the tree used, no need to carve separate paddles. Our bronze shovels do triple duty as paddles, weapons and tools all in one. The tribe watches me fuss over something new every single day, burning with curiosity. Only the people from the Old Tree Hollow tribe seem to have a rough idea of where this is going. They watched me build a simple shelter from branches once and this flat-bottom pond runs on the same basic idea. That evening we are all deep in the work when Feather up on watch bellows out at the top of his lungs. The 20+ people coming down the east stream looks like Black Whiskers tribe heading straight for US. My stomach drops slightly, something feels off. I scramble up the wall for a look. It is Chief Whiskers, 10 adults and 10 boys moving at a clip. I frown. The Black Whiskers tribe is barely 150 people. Where did all these near-grown boys come from? The tribe members we previously traded from the Black Whiskers tribe hear the shout and perk up, hoping it means another trade. Maybe even family. They come running out, faces full of hope, scanning the group for familiar faces. The boys from the Bird tribe trailing behind Chief Whiskers are completely lost. All they know is their chief traded them for 5 stone slabs. They do not fully understand, but there are not many complaints. They just follow along. Chief Whiskers reaches the gate, cranes his neck to look up at the wall taller than before, then peers inside the enclosure. 180 odd animals. Dense racks of cured meat. Over 100 stretched hides. His eyes look ready to fall out of his head. If he had not spotted my gold crown, he would have thought he had the wrong place. He swallows hard. This is the Riverstone tribe. I am Chief Whiskers. I am here to trade for pottery. I look over the group and let it go without comment. Standard procedure. Weapons surrendered before anyone comes inside. I send someone to fetch clay pots and keep watching Chief Whiskers carefully. He can't understand a word I am saying, but guilt is written all over him. He puts on an act of innocent confusion and busies himself staring at everything around him. Truth be told, the more people he brings me, the better. Raise them up and they work. Trading clay pots for future workers is a deal I will take every time. Fang and Stone bring out 5 clay pots. The trade is clean and simple. 10 boys for 5 pots. Dusk is closing in and wolf activity outside is picking up. I offer Chief Whiskers group a night stay before heading back. I pull him toward the cave and call out to the tribe. Stew tonight. Proper hospitality. The 10 boys from the Bird tribe have been traded without quite knowing how it happened, but what they see stops them cold. A vast herd of animals. More meat than they have ever seen in their lives. Cattle and crown stags towering over a person and 2 mammoths. Shock and wonder wash over them in equal measure. Maybe this is where they want to be after all. I ask Elder Horn to get them settled. Language lessons, character practice and learning how the tribe works. And eat as much as you want. This tribe has food to spare. The boys look like they have never heard anything so good in their lives. Back in the bird tribe, hunger was a constant. Children fought for every scrap. If you were not strong enough to fight, you went without. Here everything is unlimited. Fragrant broth, thick cuts of stewed meat. Bowl after bowl they keep going. I can only watch for so long. I step in and cut them off. The last thing I need is for them to eat themselves to death on their first night. We have plenty but we do not waste. There will be more meals. Many more. After the meal, Chief Whisker's group is shown to the brick shelters inside the enclosure. Chief Whiskers does not sleep. He stands watch with me on the wall. Eyes drifting across the wolf pelt stacked inside. A tribe that can take down this many wolves. There is no comparing that to anything his people could do. His tribe nearly kills itself to trade a handful of people. While the Riverstone tribe sits here and has new members delivered to the door with hot broth on the side. He sighs and goes to bed. Deep in the second half of the night, Timber and Fang take over the watch. I ask them about the wolves. Timber tells me 2 nights ago there were still large numbers moving along the forest edge. Lots of green eyes in the dark. Fang adds, last night barely anything, maybe a dozen at most. I smile. I stood watch half the night and did not see a single one come out. The forest edge was dead quiet. Sounds like the pack must have taken the bait. Come sunrise we go in and see what we have got. Might be a good haul of pelts and meat. The next morning we see Chief Whisker's group off and I put together a team of 30 adults. We eat early and head west into the forest. Bao and Ash come along and neither of them has been outside in days. They make the most of it, swinging their tails and pressing their trunks to everything they pass. We reach the forest edge and check. The thorn coils are gone. The snow is churned up with digging marks and wolf tracks everywhere. A wave of relief washes over me. They took the bait. Now the question is how many? I signal the group. Everyone grips a spear, falls into formation without a word and follows me into the trees. The forest is silent except for the crunch of snow underfoot. I watch the ground as we move and before long I find 2 wolf carcasses beneath a tree. Both have bite wounds on their heads, the flesh gnawed down, the fur torn apart in patches. 3 more hours of walking brings us to the valley where we collect sisal. The wolf tracks and the snow here are chaotic and they lead toward the hill where the old bald-cap tribe used to live. A thought crosses my mind. Don't tell me they crawled into that cavern under the bald-cap hill. Sure enough, we crest the hill and find them. Several frozen wolf carcasses, bellies distended, hindquarters soaked in dried blood. I have the bodies marked and gathered and we push west. More wolf carcasses appear along the way here and there between the trees. Just before midday we enter the 1-kilometer radius around the cavern. The wolf tracks here are packed together. Odds are strong the pack is in there. I move the group in quietly and spread them wide. The area is unnervingly still. Minutes later we reach the cavern entrance and see it for what it is. Most of the wolves inside are dead. The few that are not lie there barely breathing, managing only low rattling growls. No strength left to do anything more. I give the order immediately. Pairs go in and finish every last one. The tribe fans out in pairs and gets to work. Wolf meat is edible and this tribe wastes nothing. Every carcass is happily claimed. I take the 3 men from the old bald-cap tribe and head straight for the back of the cavern, toward the underground opening. It is covered by a large flat stone. The same color and texture as the surrounding rock, near invisible. No wonder we missed it last time. I wave over a few people and we shift the stone aside. Beneath it, a small oval opening angles down into the earth, barely wide enough for a small child to squeeze through. I frown, already sensing the problem, and lie flat on the ground with a torch held up to the opening for a closer look. Quartz and granite growing together. Widening this opening is not going to be easy. And just as I am thinking it over, a flash of light catches my eye at the ceiling of the cavern. The ceiling is covered in downward point and cone-shaped formations. Yellow shading into white, glinting in the torchlight. I pull an arrow and take a shot at one, trying to knock a piece loose. 2 shots. Nothing. I give up and turn to the side. Ox, get a rock and knock one of those things down. Ox grabs a rock without hesitation and comes running. A dull crack. The formation snaps clean off and shatters on the cavern floor. I pick up a fragment, certain it is salt, and put it to my tongue. I am spitting it out before the second is up. Not salt. Cave soda. The disappointment settles in. I turn to the 3 men from the bald-cap tribe. How did you know the salt was down there? They look at each other for a long moment before one speaks. A child fell in years ago. When we pulled him out on the rope he had some of it on him. After that we would go down twice a year. Once before the water froze, once after the thaw. I file that away. This opening needs to be widened. There is real rock salt down there and I intend to get at it properly. Porter comes jogging over, barely containing his urgency. Chief, all the wolves are dealt with. 78 total. But there are 8 pups. What do we do with them? Wolf pups. My eyes go wide. I am already walking before I have said a word. I find them huddled against the body of their dead mother, shaking and crying out from hunger. Something in my chest tightens. I tell the tribe to take them back and raise them right. Then a thought hits me. The more I think about it, the more it does not add up. Over 100 wolves escaped from the fight, liar. Only 78 here. Where did the other 40? Odd go. The question is still in my head when a cry of pain erupts from somewhere to the west. I snap to attention and signal the tribe. Hold the cavern entrance. I take my bow, grab a spear and follow the sound. A quick jog brings me to a sun-facing slope about a kilometer out. 27 gray wolves, circled tight, tearing into something enormous. An iron hide. It looks like an ancient rhinoceros, armored in layer upon layer of thick hide, massive beyond reckoning. Several tons, at a guess. It has been torn apart. The belly and other vital areas are bleeding freely, blood welling out with every breath. Its dull gray eyes find me and something in them sparks. A look so full of desperation it stops me cold. It is asking me to help. 2 wolves on the outside of the circle clock me immediately and break toward me, teeth bared. Stay out of this. I do not move. I raise my bow. Whoosh, whoosh. Both wolves go down in convulsions before they reach me and go still. The rest of the pack erupts. Ow, and they all come at me at once. A wave of gray fur and snapping teeth. I slam the long bow into the nearest wolf's face, roll sideways on the ground and scramble to get my hands on the golden spear lying nearby. The moment my fingers close around the shaft, I feel steadier. In my past life, I trained in combat. It is still in the body. The golden spear moves like a living thing. I work through the wolves with everything I have, driving steadily toward the iron hide. Despite its wounds, the iron hide knows what is happening. It shifts its enormous body to put its back between me and the wolves circling behind. By the time the fight turns, I have collected several gashes across my body, blood seeping through my clothes. Nothing deep at least. What is left of the pack is down to 6. The survivors have had enough. They are looking for the fastest way out. There is no mercy left in me. I hurl the golden spear one-handed. It drives clean through one wolf and pins it to the snow. I pick up the long bow. Whoosh, whoosh. 2 more stragglers drop. I am about to chase the last 3 down when the iron hide lets out a weak, low sound behind me. Not a roar. Something quieter, like a call. I turn. It is standing on shredded legs, shaken with the effort of staying upright. Then, a deep, heavy thud. Its swollen belly contracts. I look down. A baby iron hide lies on the snow, just born. The mother does not spare a thought for her own wounds. She bends and licks the calf clean, tongue working gently over every inch of the small body. When it is done, she lifts her head and looks at me. Her eyes are wet with blood and tears. She nudges the calf forward with the great horn at the end of her nose, then folds her front legs and kneels before me. There is no mistaking what she is asking. My eyes sting. I blink hard. I promise. I will raise it well. I strip off my battered hide coat, wrap Little Hide carefully inside it and carry the bundle back toward the cavern, battered and bleeding and barely steady on my feet. I have not gone far when I hear the sound of her falling. She never gets up again. Back at the cavern, the tribe is waiting at the entrance, spears up, every face tight with alertness. They see the state of me and close in from every side, questions and concern coming from all directions. I lift a hand. I am fine. I hold up the bundle and nod to 2 of them. You too. This one is yours to watch. This tribe is keeping it. Stone jogs up and points to 3 wolf carcasses nearby. Chief, those 3 came back while you were gone. We handled it. I let out a long slow breath. The pack is finished. Finally. Completely finished. My people can stop looking over their shoulders. After a short rest, I sit everyone down and walk them through everything. The wolves, the iron hide, all of it. The women's eyes go red. Several wipe their faces. The men keep their faces still, but the feeling behind their eyes says everything. I make the decision then and there. We bury the mother iron hide on that slope. From now on, that place has a name. Last breath, Ridge. The rest is straightforward. We now have a rough sense of where the rock salt lies. I pocket a small bag of cave soda crystals. Then I have everyone seal the cavern entrance solid with stones. No more uninvited tenants. I take 10 people to Last Breath Ridge and we cover the mother's body with branches and stones. Rough, but it is something. Tomorrow we come back with bronze shovels and do it properly. Word of the iron hide's last act spreads through the tribe before nightfall. The children gather around Little Hide, looking at the calf with eyes full of feeling. That night, the cold bites hard. Little Hide and the 8 wolf pups are brought inside the cave. I even tracked down 2 nursing cows, hoping they would feed the little ones, but neither side was having it. The wolf pups were too small to reach the tits and Little Hide did nothing but sleep. The cows wanted no part of it either. I gritted my teeth, called over a dozen grown men, and we got to milking by hand, whether the cows liked it or not. All that effort paid off. Each of the little ones got fresh milk and every single one of them pulled through. Little Hyde was the toughest case. I had to pry open its mouth and pour the milk in drop by drop. By evening, Little Hyde had gone from silent sleeping to full-on snoring. I held it close and we slept together that night. The next day, I took 20 men to Last Breath Ridge as planned, dug a deep pit and laid the mother Iron Hide to rest. We piled stones over the grave and from that day on, it became the landmark of Last Breath Ridge. Through the final month of winter, life in the tribe was quiet but everyone had their role and everyone stayed busy. Within a week, the wolf pups began opening their eyes one by one. By the second week, all 8 of them were eating broth and cooked food. They totaled around the clearing outside the cave all day long just like newborn pups finding their legs. Little Hyde's pinkish coat slowly faded to a pure creamy white and a small bump had begun to form right where its horn would one day grow. It could now stand on its own, wobbling its way over to the cow for milk. By the third week, the woodworkers had something to celebrate. 70 straight draw longbows were finished. I personally tested and adjusted every single one. The quality was top-notch. The women kept just as busy crafting arrows, though for now they only finished the shafts without arrowheads. The tail feathers already glued on and ready. I plan to forge the bronze arrowheads after the next mining trip. For now, the tribe was still training with the 200-odd arrows I had stockpiled earlier. One morning that week, every adult in the tribe assembled on the field, each one armed with a longbow lined up in 3 rows for target practice. All at once, whoosh, 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 arrows caught through the air. But being their very first drill, things got a little chaotic. Some arrows hit the grass, some vanished into the sky. A few did not even leave the bow. The arrow just dropped right at the archer's feet. I could only shake my head and laugh, going down the line to correct each one. With winter nearly over, Chief Whiskers showed up at the tribe again to trade, this time bringing 3 women and 6 boys. The boys who had been traded over before spotted familiar faces among the tribe members and lit up with a mix of shock and joy. But I knew the truth, there were not many more trades like this left. Clay pots do not wear out. Sooner or later, everyone would have enough. If the tribe was going to keep growing, we would need a different approach. Around the same time, the boat building project reached its final stage. When the tribe laid eyes on the finished vessel, everyone lit up with joy. They had not seen it on the water yet, but every person had a hand in building it and every heart was full of pride. Ox grabbed both sides of the hull and heaved with everything he had. The boat did not budge an inch. He scratched his head and asked, "Chief, this boat's massive. How are we supposed to get it into the river?" I gave him a quiet smile and pointed to the trench canal not far away. "We bring it there, that is all." Ox's eyes went wide. "But there is no water there." I kept my secret and waved the group over without a word. "Grab your shovels, bring a few carts and woven baskets, follow me." Winter was nearly done, the air was warming up, perfect timing to bring in the water. I led a crew of around 30, all armed with tools, marching to the far end of the trench canal. The commotion drew a crowd. Tribe members who had not been outside the walls in ages came out to watch as if it were a show. The children were the most excited, herding the 8 young wolf pups ahead of them, laughing and running out in front. Sprout was not about to be left out. He ran off and dragged over Rumble, Little Hyde's companion, who had just finished nursing and was in no mood to move. Bow and Dash had already vanished into the distance, only their trumpeting calls drifted back. Looks like those two were out celebrating spring on their own terms. At the end of the trench canal, all that stood between us and the stream was a 2-meter strip of unbroken earth. Break through that last stretch and the water would flow. We got straight to work. Everyone knew their job. One person jumped into the trench and dug hard, while others up top scooped the loose earth into woven baskets. The rest hauled the loaded baskets away. Everyone was working up a storm. By late morning, only about 30 centimeters of earth remained, and then water started seeping up through the bottom of the trench. I shouted at once for everyone in the trench to climb out. "Everyone out now." I quickly tied a rope tight around my waist, had the others hold firm and climbed back down into the trench with my shovel. That last bit was too dangerous to ask of anyone else. I gripped the shovel and drove it in again and again. Then it happened. A furious jet of water blasted through the gap like it had gone mad, launching me clean off my feet. The tribe screamed and hauled on the rope with everything they had. In seconds, they yanked me up onto the bank. The water surged harder and harder, and within moments it had torn the gap wide open, a hole nearly a meter across. Everyone stood frozen on the bank, eyes locked on the rushing water. The wolf pups had never seen anything like it. They yelped in panic and scattered in every direction. Sprout and Rumble were shaken too, bolting behind me for cover, but before long the current settled into a steady flow. The women had already pulled out their woven baskets and were happily scooping up fish. The same people who had been puzzling over how to move the boat just moments ago now stood wide-eyed, faces full of wonder. I smiled and said to them, "Well, the water's right here now. No more long trips just to fetch it." Everyone marveled at what they would just witness, and at last, it all clicked. Back when I first called a halt to other work and set everyone to digging the canal and making bricks, no one quite understood why. When the trench accidentally caught wild animals, some thought it was a hunting trap. Only now, watching the water fill the long canal, did everyone truly understand. But this was only the beginning. Digging irrigation channels along the canal, tilling the land, growing crops. A tribe that never goes hungry, that was the real goal. No time to waste. Spring had arrived, and the farming plan could not wait. At midday, the tribe erupted in celebration, gathering for a feast to mark the completion of the water channel. After the feast, I grabbed a bundle of thin rope and led the tribe out to the plant rice paradise. Growing rice was no simple task. The fields had to stay flooded for a long time, flood irrigation was essential, and every patch of land had to be used to its fullest. That raised a key question: how much rice should the tribe plant and how much land did we need to set aside? Wild rice grains were nearly twice the size of the polished rice I remembered from my past life. A gin of regular rice holds around 26,000 grains, while wild rice comes in at roughly 12,000 per gin. With seeds and limited supply, doubt crept in. Back in my past life, the closest I would come to farming was growing a few days' worth of grains. I know nothing about growing rice. There was no way I would just throw all the seeds into the ground at once. If the whole crop failed, we would be in serious trouble. After going back and forth, I made the call: use only half the seeds, roughly 264,000 grains. A quick calculation told me 64 mo of land would do. Not an endless expanse, but nothing small either. If the plot stretched 400 meters long, it only needed to be 107 meters wide, nearly the size of 6 football pitches. Once the plan was set, the fields were laid out in a clean line along the southern bank of the canal. The end of the plot closest to the wall Saturday about 300 meters from the stream. Next came the irrigation channels. Every horizontal and vertical line had to be thought through carefully. 20 channels were dug side by side, each less than a meter wide, about half a meter deep, running 110 meters straight to the south. The workforce was sorted to 50 adults per shift, and the tribe had exactly 50 shovels to go around. Each person covered just over 2 meters, and all 20 channels were done in under half an hour. With everyone pulling together, the whole thing was finished in a single day. On the very first day of the new year, as if right on cue, a gentle drizzle arrived without warning. Everyone who had held their breath through a long hard winter finally exhaled. It was over. Meanwhile, every tribe in the region was taking stock, tallying up what winter had cost them. The reports were grim. For tribes smaller than 100 people, losing 10 was considered getting off easy. Most of those lost were children and grown men. The winter had simply dragged on too long. Many tribes ran out of food and could not hold on until spring. There was nothing to be done. Men went out hunting through the snow and wind. The lucky ones stumbled across a lone animal or gathered a handful of nuts. The unlucky ones came back empty-handed, or did not come back at all, either frozen to death or wiped out by a herd. Even those who made it back were mostly wounded. Frostbitten ears, fingers, and toes were common. Permanent injuries were everywhere. Compared to all of that, the Riverstone tribe had been extraordinarily fortunate. No one went hungry, and the tribe had grown stronger by the day. With food in abundance, Elder Horn decided this called for a proper celebration, a spring ceremony to pray for a smooth and prosperous new year. I had no objection, but I had my own ideas about how it should be done. First, this tribe would not worship gods, we would honor our ancestors. Second, the ceremony had to feel like one. I sketched out a design and taught Basin and Porter how to build a large drum. I also had the women of the tribe sew a banner from animal hide with the character for hand stitched large across the center. When everything was ready, the entire tribe gathered together. The Riverstone tribe held its very first ceremony. The moment Ox struck the drum, the whole tribe began to move. Without even thinking about it, everyone started to dance. In that movement was joy for the life they had built and hope for everything still to come. In that moment, every one of them believed. Under my lead, this tribe would only grow stronger. When the ceremony ended, everyone went back to their assigned tasks. I picked out 2 bulls that had been unusually well behaved lately. I harnessed them to the double-headed plow myself, ready to break ground. But these were still wild animals at heart, and walking in a straight line was not something they understood. No choice but to have one person up front pulling the bulls by the nose and guiding them with patience, while another held the plow frame steady from behind to keep the furrows deep enough. Even so, each pass of the 2 bronze blades turned over a half-meter strip of earth. The efficiency was decent enough. At this rate, the patties would be fully tilled within 3 days. Then we would level the ground, flood it, and wait to sow. The earth transformed under the plow. What had been a faintly green surface was now turned into soft, dark brown soil. A group of young boys lined up along the freshly turned rows, woven baskets on their backs, picking out every root and clump of weeds the plow had brought to the surface. I had given fertilizing a lot of thought and decided to hold off for now. For one thing, we had not prepared any in advance. For another, this was the land's very first time under the plow. 3 full days it took, but the tilling and leveling were done. But watching the chill that still hung in the early mornings and evenings, doubt crept in. If we sowed now, a single cold night could kill every last seed. Still, there was no shortage of other work. The grass seeds we had brought back earlier were perfect for planting right now. Those grasses would become the main fodder for the tribe's livestock. The western side of the settlement had already been set aside as pasture land. Everyone strapped on bags of grass seeds and spread out along the edge of the pasture, walking and scattering seeds in steady even handfuls as they went. No need to worry about germination. The ground was still soft and damp from the spring rain, and within days the first green shoots would be pushing through. With the rice still on hold and the tribe well fed and clothed, what should we do with the time? It hit me all at once. Straw sandals. I gathered the women of the tribe and showed them how to weave them myself. The moment the sandals appeared, the whole tribe wanted a pair, and somehow that sparked a full-on spring cleaning. Groups streamed down to the stream, some to bathe, some to scrub their old hide footwear, some to wash animal skins. A few fearless men went a step further, weaving grass skirts on the spot and putting them on. Just then Elder Horn came rushing over breathless. "Chief, we are almost out of salt." My chest tightened instantly. The tension I would finally let go of just days ago came flooding back. Salt was critical to the tribe's survival. We had to find a solution fast. After turning it over in my mind, the best I could offer for now was to have everyone eat the cured meat. It was packed with salt and would tide us over. But Elder Horn frowned. "Aren't we going to mine salt? I have heard there are salt crystals inside a cave in the western mountains." I shook my head. "The salt crystals are deep inside, only a child could fit through. I won't put them in that kind of danger. But do not worry, I have a way to blast the rock open. I just need a few materials first, and that means a trip to Rainbow Ridge." So the tribe held on with the cured meat while everyone threw themselves into tilling the 20 rice plots along the canal. After all that work, all 64 mo of rice patties had been fully tilled. The mining trip was finally on the schedule. A group of men grunted and strained together, hauling the boat into the canal. Once it's Saturday in the water, the vessel looked enormous. The tribe lined the bank, staring at the hull floating on the surface, murmuring among themselves, "Can this thing really hold people?" Without a word, I stepped aboard in one stride. The boat rocked a few times, then settled, steady on the water. I turned and called out to the crowd, "Anyone else getting on? Because if you do not, you will be pulling the rope from the bank." That did it. Courage spread fast, and several people jumped on board one after another, each landing with a thud. With everything in order, a crew of 26 set off, every one of them strong and well equipped. Each carried a long spear, a longbow, a bronze shovel, and a quiver, with 50 arrows on their back. Timber's group of 4 had also packed short-handled bronze axes. The send-off was something to see. The whole tribe, young and old, men and women, crowded the riverbank. The women bustled back and forth, loading dried meat and clay pots onto the boat. The children held the 8 wolf pups on leads, bouncing with excitement as they watched from the bank. Sprout looked like he might cry, tugging at the hem of my clothes, pressing a snakeskin water bag into my hands. I ruffled his hair with a smile. "I am just going to dig up some rocks. I will be back before you know it." We boarded and pushed upstream along the canal, slower going against the current but still far faster than traveling on foot. A few hours later, we reached the place where I had first encountered Timber, the edge of Shadow Forest. I got everyone ashore quickly and set them up to cook and rest. It had been a long morning. After the meal, we loaded all the tools and supplies onto the backs of the bulls. Then we hauled the boat into the cover of the trees. Porter, who knew the terrain well, stayed behind along with 4 young men from the Black Whisker tribe to keep watch. The remaining 20 each took a bull by the lead and followed me to the mine. I turned and pulled Porter aside for a careful word. "Porter, I will leave enough food for the 5 of you before we go. You will be on watch for about 7 sunsets. If you spot enemies and can't hold them off, leave the boat. Run toward Rainbow Ridge. Whatever you do not lead them back to the tribe." After the midday meal, the boat was hidden away and the mining party pressed on. But no one could have predicted what would happen in the night. When everyone was half asleep, a roar tore through the forest so loud it left ears ringing, and everyone lurched upright from the ground. We looked up to see a toe-earring creature, its body covered in golden red fur, its muscles like boulders stacked upon each other. It was bearing down on our camp, teeth bared, arms thrashing. Ash and Bao let out thunderous roars and charged the giant ape, and the ape did not flinch. It dropped from the trees and swung both arms in a single motion, sending Ash flying. My heart shot into my throat. I shouted for everyone to grab their weapons. My own hands were shaking as I felt around in the dark. Only when my fingers closed around Goldfang did I feel the slightest bit steady. Everyone gripped their spears, but fear had their legs trembling so badly they could barely stand. The creature landed and threw open its dripping jaw, another roar, and every skull in the camp was buzzing. Fighting through the ringing in my head, I ordered everyone to raise their spears and led the charge myself, driving Goldfang straight at the creature's chest. The ape's strength was unreal. It snatched the shaft with one hand and hurled me through the air like I weighed nothing. In the same instant, it snatched one of the young men from the Black Whisker tribe and snapped his neck with a crack. It hurled the body into the crowd like a weapon. Chaos erupted. I scrambled to my feet and screamed until my throat tore. Scatter, get back, use your throwing spears and bows. The shock finally broke. Everyone scattered. Scar seized the moment, tightening his grip on a throwing spear and driving it at the creature's chest. It sunk in halfway before the ape snatched the shaft and snapped it in two. Ash had recovered. With a furious roar, it charged from behind and slammed into the ape, sending it crashing away. The pain sent the ape into a rage. It spun and wrenched one of Ash's tusks clean off. Just as things looked hopeless, I spotted the window, the ape slowed by its wound, and hurled Goldfang with everything I had. That broke the fear wide open. Everyone surged forward. Spear after spear drove into the creature's chest from every direction. The giant thrashed, coughed a spray of dark blood and crashed to the ground and did not move again. The battle had cost us dearly. 2 young men were gone and many others carried wounds. Before anyone could even catch their breath, a chorus of distant shouting was drawing closer. My gut dropped. This was not over. More enemies incoming. Everyone get ready. That ape may be a war beast of the cannibal tribe. I turned and shouted to Timber. Timber, take 5 of the younger fighters, bring all the bulls, carry the wounded and the dead, and move toward Rainbow Ridge now. Once you are at Rainbow Ridge, find shelter. If there is nothing to eat, slaughter a bull. Timber's eyes were red. He did not want to go. Chief, what about you? Where will you be? I stamped my foot in frustration. We stay here and draw their attention to buy you time to get away. Timber looked like he had more to say, but one look at my face stopped him. He gathered his group and moved. I turned to the one staying behind and dropped my voice. Grab your bows. Follow me. Everyone pull a torch from the fire and throw it out ahead of you. When they come, we need to be able to see them. Everyone did as told. The torches landed and threw a pool of flickering light across the ground ahead. We crouched in the dark. Every nerve pulled tight. Not a sound. When they get close, wait for my signal. 1 arrow each. Don't wait to see if it lands. Run the moment you have loosed it. Our only goal is to draw them away. In the faint torchlight, we could make out the enemies. Strange symbols painted across their skin. Necklaces of human bones hanging from their necks. A sight that turned the stomach. The hunting party leader of the cannibal tribe spotted the ape's body. His face strained of color on the spot. He cried out to his men. I could not understand the words, but the meaning was clear enough. Something had just gone very wrong for them. I picked my moment and roared, loose. 11 arrows flew at once and nearly everyone found its mark. The enemy formation broke apart. Then I yelled at the top of my lungs, run. We sprinted south on purpose, drawing the pursuers along, all the way to the edge of Black Whisker's tribe's territory. The Black Whiskers tribe had no idea what was coming. They were calmly making breakfast. One woman had gone to the stream to fetch water when she caught sight of a group of strangers. Weapons in hand, creeping closer from the shadows. She nearly dropped her clay pot. She did not even stop for the water. She turned and sprinted back to camp, screaming as she ran, enemies, enemies. The moment the cry reached him, Chief Whiskers had his men grabbing stone spears and sent the women to the rear with rocks to defend. But the cannibal tribe did not slow down. The moment they were close enough, a volley of stones came flying. The Black Whiskers tribe had no shields. Everyone scrambled to dodge and the formation collapsed instantly. Then came the bone spears and several of the Black Whiskers fighters went down. Chief Whisker's eyes went red with desperation as he urged his people to fight back, but their stone spears were weak and could not reach far enough. The cannibal tribe seized the opening and rushed the perimeter, pushing the wooden fence wall down together. The two sides crashed together in brutal close combat. Just when the Black Whiskers tribe was on the edge of collapse, the Riverstone tribe hit the enemy from behind like soldiers falling from the sky. First came a volley from range. One arrow struck a man pushing at the wall squarely in the back and he dropped without a sound. The Black Whiskers tribe stood frozen in disbelief. Matron Black Whiskers spotted me first and erupted. It is the chief of the Riverstone tribe. He is come to save us. The Riverstone fighters used the high ground to their advantage, raining arrows down on the cannibal tribe before they could adjust. After several volleys, I bellowed, hold the bows, bronze spears, charge. Like tigers rushing down a mountainside, we crashed into the enemy lines. The tide turned in an instant, and within moments, not one of the cannibal tribe was left standing. As the battle ended, Chief Whiskers grabbed my hand, his voice thick with gratitude. Thank you, thank you. How did you know we were in danger? My heart skipped, but I kept my face steady and put together a story. We were traveling far out to gather supplies and passed through Shadow Forest north of your territory. There we ran into the cannibal tribe. They sent a red furred war ape after us, but we killed it. After that, the rest of them kept moving, in the direction of your camp. We tried to warn you before they arrived, but they were faster than we expected. Matron Black Whisker heard the words war ape and went pale as ash, her voice trembling. That creature, it is the demon of the Black Mountain. Our ancestors have seen them before. Wherever they appear, disaster follows. She pulled me into her tent and pointed at a carved stone, then began to speak of an old legend. According to the legend, these giants would capture people from tribes, break them, and turn them into the cannibal tribe, who then hunted others for food. The Black Whisker tribe listened in dread, and Chief Whisker turned to me with urgent eyes. I gave a grim smile and shook my head. I do not know how to defeat those creatures either. Our best protection is strong brick walls. This time we only managed it because Ash fought alongside us. Matron Black Whisker and Chief Whisker exchanged a look, worry written across both their faces. Then Matron Black Whisker ventured the question, could the Black Whisker tribe build walls like yours? The moment the words left her mouth I saw my opening. I won't mislead you, even for the Riverstone tribe. Building walls that strong takes enormous manpower and resources. But if we build together, those walls will be big enough for all of us to live inside. Matron Black Whisker and Chief Whisker stepped aside to talk it over, and it did not take long to see that joining the Riverstone tribe was the only real choice. Safety and powerful weapons. They came back to me with a solemn declaration. Chief of the Riverstone tribe, we accept. We join your people. I could not hide my joy. You are more than welcome. From this day on, you are all my people. Every member of this tribe will be treated the same. I sorted out the Black Whisker tribe's move and led everyone to rendezvous with Timber. No time was wasted, we got straight to work. Rainbow Ridge was rich in ore, and the team dug with everything they had, hauling out a solid load of railgar. We also collected limestone and iron sulfide. I plan to use the iron sulfide to produce sulfuric acid which would let us blast open the salt cave. Once the mining was done, I met up with Porter and the others who had been guarding the boat, then got the ore-loaded bulls aboard. The boat Saturday low in the water under the weight of the ore. We squeezed a few more people on and let the current carry us downstream at a good clip. It was not long before we spotted the tribe waiting on the bank. The newly joined Black Whisker tribe members were there too, everyone cheering from the bank as we came in loaded. The men rushed over to help unload, but I stood there frowning. With the tribe grown this large, figuring out where to put everyone had become a real problem. The cave was cramped and small, nowhere near enough room. The only option was to build thatch shelters in the open space inside the walls. Fortunately, the Black Whisker tribe had no complaints about that, they were used to living in thatch shelters. And arriving at the Riverstone tribe, seeing mounds of meat and hides, lively large animals penned up everywhere, they could not be happier. Without a word of complaint, they got straight to work putting up their shelters. I then announced to everyone that from now on, always had to go in one designated spot that was natural fertilizer, and none of it was going to waste. Once the shelters were sorted, I turned to Flint. Fire up as many clay vessels as you can over the next few days. The newcomers need them. Flint did not look thrilled. Chief, you brought back all that copper ore, are not we going to smelt it? I stroked his pride like I was talking to a child. Let Chirp and the others handle the rock smelting. You come in for the refining, that is the part that counts. You are the best kiln hand in this tribe. Anyone else's work just does not measure up. Those words melted every trace of resistance. Flint grinned and promised to fire up the best batch of pottery the tribe had ever seen. Everyone worked together through the day, and by evening, a row of simply domed thatch shelters had appeared as if by magic. That night, old members and newcomers Saturday together around a shared meal, the first of many, full of laughter and conversation. Without anyone quite realizing it, the bonds between them had grown a little closer. After the meal, the men gathered in groups, poring over the Riverstone tribe's sharp weapons and clever tools with wide-eyed fascination. The women kept just as busy, sitting in circles and sharing techniques for weaving sandals and woven baskets. The newcomers listened closely, picking up what they could, and quietly beginning to absorb words from the tribe's language. While everyone else went about their tasks, I slipped away with a bronze shovel in a small cart, quietly getting to work near the livestock pen in the latrine. Elder Horn happened to spot me and walked over with a puzzled look. Chief, what are you digging next to the latrine for? Is there something useful in there? That set my teeth on edge. I am digging the soil next to it. Elder Horn looked even more lost. What use is that dirt, Chief? You can fire it into pots. Shouldn't you be figuring out how to get more salt? I beat back my frustration. Can't you see I am already preparing? This soil is exactly how we are going to open that rock. Now leave me to it. I know what I am doing. Elderhorn stood watching my back as I worked, full of doubt. Digging dirt to open a rock. Sounds more like an excuse to me, but I know exactly what I was doing. The soil near the latrine was rich in saltpeter, and saltpeter could be refined into blasting powder. I set a few women to work extracting the saltpeter crystals. The process was not so different from refining salt. By the next day, bright white saltpeter crystals had been successfully extracted. With the saltpeter in hand, the next step was to get nitric acid and glycerine. This would be combined into blasting oil, and the glycerine had to be separated from animal fat. Fortunately, after the wolf pack attacked the previous winter, we had stockpiled plenty of animal fat. Raw materials were not the problem. The nitric acid required a reaction between saltpeter and sulfuric acid, but we did not have any sulfuric acid yet. That is when I turned to iron sulfide ore. I picked a flat patch near the usual charcoal pit and got to work step by step. First, a stack of furry wood, then slabs of iron sulfide ore arranged in a grid pattern around it. The whole thing was built up into a mound. The wood buried completely, with only a few small holes left at the base for lighting. Over the ore, we packed a thick layer of dry grass, then sealed everything under a coating of wet clay. With everything set, I used a thin branch to carry a coal ember and carefully lit the wood through the bottom vents. The iron sulfide ore was rich in sulfur. Within moments, everything inside the clay shell was burning fiercely. The oxidation reaction was slow. It would take about half a month to complete. While we waited, I set to work shaping clay into distillation equipment for refining both sulfuric acid and nitric acid, left to dry before firing in the kiln. That kind of precise work I trusted to Flynn. While I took the time to check on the livestock, the weather was warming fast. Animals were shedding their winter coats. The moment I saw that, I knew it was time to prepare for planting. The storehouse held wild rice, peanuts, chili seeds, rami fiber seeds and thorn tree seeds. The peanuts needed to be shelled and soaked first. I gathered a few of the quickest girls, found a clear patch of ground, and we Saturday down together to get started. Matron Black Whisker passed by and stopped, puzzled. "What are you doing?" "We are planting these nuts," I told her. She repeated the word to herself several times, planting, but still could not grasp it. I walked her through it slowly. Planting means burying these nuts in the ground in spring. One peanut goes in and dozens, sometimes hundreds grow back out. Her jaw nearly hit the ground. She stared wide-eyed, unable to believe it. I nodded firmly. "Done right. You will always get more than you put in. And we are not just planting peanuts. We are planting rice too. The rice is even more remarkable. One grain in spring and by autumn you will have at least 10,000 back. This is what I was talking about before. How this land can feed 6,000 people." Chief Whisker had been listening from nearby, hanging on every word. He leaned in. "We have to go all in on this. Farming sounds like it matters more than hunting ever did." I nodded with approval. Chief Whisker had led a tribe. He was quick on the uptake. Then Matron Black Whisker's eyes lit up as if something had just come back to her. "Chief, I just remembered when we moved, we brought along a few sacks of peanuts. We are not short on food right now. I think we should plant those too." My face broke into a grin. "That is perfect." I sent someone to sort through the undamaged peanuts right away, and Matron Black Whisker nodded eagerly, leaning on her walking stick as she went off to sit to it. Chief Whisker tugged at my sleeve, almost impatient. "Chief, what about me? What is my job?" "Round up a few men and come help me plow," I said. His face lit up and he ran off to gather his crew. Early the next morning, an experienced woman from the Riverstone tribe led the bull from the front while Chief Whisker held the plow steady from behind. Watching the soil rise and curl behind the bronze blade like a slow wave, Chief Whisker was both astonished and thrilled. I had my own work to tend to. I had already submerged 22 gin of rice seed in a large water jar. The seeds needed to soak for at least 24 hours. While the seeds were soaking, I opened the irrigation channel to flood the westernmost patty. That plot would become the seedling nursery. Once the peanut seeds were sorted, those went into soak as well. To get the rice, peanuts, and chilies all planted at the same time, Chief Whisker drove his crew hard. 136 na mo of land work from first light to last, backs aching and legs burning, but not a single person lost their drive. When a person tired, someone else took over. When a bull tired, a fresh one was swapped in. The two bronze plows never stopped turning through the earth. In less than 2 days, every plant plot had been turned. The soil was loose and airy, every weed pulled clean. The soaked seeds were lifted from the water, carefully wrapped in dried grass, misted with water, and set beside the charcoal kiln to sprout. On the third day, I began scattering the sprouted rice seeds evenly across the prepared field, then pressed a thin layer of soil lightly over the top. Finally, the irrigation channel was open to flood the patty. Peanut planting required a bit more care. Rows were set half a meter apart, each plant spaced 15 centimeters from the next. The planter held a bowl of peanuts in one hand and a pointed wooden dibber in the other. Measure the gap with the dibber, dig a small hole, drop in 2 peanuts, cover with soil, move to the next. Repeat the cycle, then water everything together at the end. Chilies followed a similar method, 1 cluster every half meter, 30 centimeters between each plant, dig, sow, cover, water, one motion flowing into the next. During planting, nearly 200 members of the Riverstone tribe were out in the fields. I was out there too, with that many hands. All 140 mo farm work was done by midday, and nobody even felt that tired. The day after planting, the tribe settled back into its regular rhythm, with Flint returning to the kiln. The pottery he fired was not just for daily use among the newcomers. Stock was being set aside for future trades with other tribes. Skip, Chirp, and the brothers Reed and Brooke were fully absorbed in copper smelting. Watching them grow more skilled by the day, I decided it was time to bring them more help. With the hunting party's upgraded gear, bringing down game had become almost effortless, more than the tribe could eat. But as the weather warmed, keeping meat fresh became the problem. The hunting party had to pause, and I was not about to let anyone sit idle. Some were sent into the hills behind the settlement to gather thorn tree spines. Those spines made excellent arrows and were a vital resource. We needed a large stockpile, and we could plant a few thorn trees while we were at it. Another group was sent to fell trees. The trunks for building and crafting, the branches dried for furry wood, and a third group went into the jungle to catch birds. I was determined to grow the livestock operation. Bird feathers were perfect for fletching arrows, and we could not be scrambling to catch wild birds every time we needed to fight. A sustainable flock was the answer. There were several species nearby worth keeping: grouse, guinea fowl, and red-tailed jungle fowl. I sectioned off a patch beside the rabbit pen and built a proper coop from bricks, wooden posts, and thatched grass. A shoulder-high fence was put up around it, and once the captured birds had their wing and tail feathers plucked, they could not get airborne. Fodder was easy. Wild greens, clover grass, and ryegrass from the nearby pasture were all growing thick and fast, more than enough to keep the flock fed. 3 days later, just after dawn, Matron Black Whisker and Elder Horn had their heads together, whispering excitedly about something. I had barely stepped outside the wall when they spotted me. Elder Horn cupped his hands around his mouth and called out, "Chief, come look, the rice you talked about, it is sprouted." I had been half asleep, but those words hit like cold water. I was sprinting toward the paddy before I even thought about it. The seedling nursery was carpeted in a dense sea of green shoots pushing up through the soil. My eyes stung, my voice caught in my throat. It is real. It actually grew. I am going to eat rice again. Elder Horn stared at me, confused. "Chief, are you alright?" I steadied myself and turned to give the orders. "I am fine. I am just happy. Now, both of you, go tell everyone, no walking through the fields. Anyone who tramples a seedling goes without food for the day. Make sure the children keep the animals and the wolf pups away from the fields too. Same rule, same punishment." Matron Black Whisker offered a suggestion from the side. "Chief, what if we put up a branch fence around it?" I waved her off. "No need, that is too much labor and time. A clear rule clearly told is enough." Sure enough, when the rule was announced over breakfast, not a single person pushed back. Everyone understood that those seedlings were their future food. By the 7th day, the peanuts and chilies had also broken through the soil, and the rice had put out its first leaf. The fields were a sweep of vivid green, full of life. The red-tailed jungle fowl in the coop had grown to over 30 birds, and the rabbits were close to giving birth. Looking over the animals in the pen, my thoughts drifted to the four-wheeled cart we still had not built. Metal output was the bottleneck holding the tribe back. Limited copper reserves had stalled a lot of plans, but now with ore in abundance, many of those could finally move forward, like the saddle harness and the wooden buckets. I finished the saddle harness and immediately brought over a prime adult male crown stag, strapped it on, took it for a lap outside, and it felt solid. Next came the wooden buckets. The tribe needed containers for carrying water. Clay vessels broke too easily, so buckets were the answer. I laid out the dimensions, picked out leftover cedar planks from the boat building, and set Porter's crew to work following my instructions. One after another, wooden buckets of all sizes began appearing throughout the Riverstone tribe. Elder Horn eyed the growing pile of buckets and could not help asking, "Chief, what do we need all this for?" I laughed. "We use them, and anything left over goes to trade with other tribes. A wooden bucket carries water far better than a clay pot." With the bucket situation handled, I turned my full attention to the four-wheeled cart. The most critical component was the wheel, complex to make, heavy to get right, and the old method used for the small push cart simply would not work here. After careful thought, I gave Porter 2 sets of exact measurements and made sure he understood: 4 wheels, built precisely to these dimensions. Too large, too small, only the toughest wood would do, and the large wheels would take time. I had no time to stand around waiting. I turned back to the other pressing tasks. Before long, the iron sulfide mound had been burning for 11 days. The next step was producing nitric acid, too dangerous to do with people around. I cleared everyone out of the area. 2 full days of work yielded 2 large jars of sulfuric acid and roughly 100 gin of iron oxide crystals. Those crystals were pure iron powder, the foundation for forging iron tools down the line, and with sulfuric acid in hand, making nitric acid was straightforward. I set up the distillation equipment, loaded the saltpeter and sulfuric acid into the pot, and ran the process. Nitric acid, done. With both nitric acid and concentrated glycerin in hand, I could not afford to relax. Blasting oil was dangerously unstable. A knock, a jolt, even a slight rise in temperature could set it off. The only safe approach was to mix them immediately before use, not a moment earlier. Everything was in place. I told Flint to cast a batch of arrowheads at a copper to iron ratio of 5:2. I made a point of having one cast with a blunt rounded tip. It would be fired by bow to trigger the explosion from a safe distance. Early the next morning, I stood in the center of the tribe and called out loud, "Everyone grab your tools and follow me. We are going to get some salt." The whole tribe surged with energy, everyone raring to go. Chief Whiskers pushed his way to the front. "Can I come?" Sprout was even quicker. He ran over and latched onto my legs, shaking it dramatically. Chief, I want to come too. I promise I will behave. I thought it over and nodded. All right. You two can come. Elder Horn, you stay and hold down the camp. Elder Horn agreed without a word of protest. He was curious, no doubt, but someone had to stay. Sprout let out a whoop and leapt into the air, then ran off to fetch Rumble. Within minutes, a column of over 50 set of shovels on shoulders, quivers on backs, bulls in tow. I carried 2 sealed jars, one in each hand, one of nitric acid, one of glycerine, steady and careful. The march went on through the early afternoon until we finally reached the cave that had once belonged to the Baldcap tribe. I waved everyone to a halt. Eat first, rest a little. Everyone dropped their gear and made quick work of a midday meal. Half an hour later, I stood up, clapped my hands and called everyone back to work. Several of the strongest men surrounded the cave entrance, calling out heave-ho and rhythm as they shifted every blocking stone aside. Ox scratched his head, looking at the narrow opening. How are we supposed to open this? That rock is solid. I studied the entrance for a moment, then said quietly, with these 2 jars I am carrying, all of you, step outside. Take your bronze shovels. You will be digging a pit shortly. I handed Timber a torch and pointed at the sealed rock face inside the cave. Take this torch and hold it right at the entrance to that sealed seam. Timber took it without a word and moved into position. I stepped out of the cave and scanned the terrain, sharp-eyed, taking in everything. About 80 meters out, I found a small rise with a clear line of sight. I could see Timber's torch burning at the cave mouth without obstruction. That meant a straight flight path from here to the target, perfect for an arrow shot. I snapped off a branch and drove it into the ground as a marker, then called everyone over. Dig here, half a person's height deep. The order was given and shovels hit the earth immediately. When the pit was nearly deep enough, I gathered everyone around. Take all the bulls and move to the slope below Last Breath Ridge, about a kilometer from here, and wait. There is going to be an explosion, loud enough to shake the ground. Don't move until it is completely quiet. Then come back here and look for me in this pit. Everyone nodded solemnly, then led the bulls away into the distance. I carried the 2 jars carefully back into the cave. Inside, the light was dim and the fire flickered. The air felt tight with tension. I took a slow breath, eased open the jar of concentrated glycerine, and began adding the nitric acid drop by drop. Then, using a plain wooden arrow shaft, I stirred the mixture with absolute care. The whole process took well over 10 minutes. Every single motion deliberate, every second braced for the possibility of getting it wrong. With a full jar of blasting oil prepared, I set it down at the entrance to the sealed rock seam. Then I crouched and moved deeper into the cave, lit a fire for light so the target would be visible from outside when I took the shot. With everything in place, I walked briskly to the pit. My heart was pounding like a drum. I watched until the last person had cleared the area, then slowly raised the bow, drew, and aimed, and with a sharp snap of the string, the arrow blazed forward like a falling star. No hesitation, I dropped the bow, folded down into the pit, and clamped my hands hard over my ears. The next moment, a deep thunderous boom tore through the world like the earth itself had cracked open. The sealed rock face was blasted into a vast gaping crater. What had been buried deep was now fully exposed to the open sky. The shockwave from the cave entrance hurled earth and rock in all directions, burying me under the debris in an instant. Every bird within 500 meters exploded into the sky at once, and 3 branches were snapped clean off. A kilometer away at Last Breath Ridge, the Riverstone tribe stood waiting with tight nerves, then the ground lurched beneath their feet. Matron Black Whisker, leaning on her walking stick, stumbled and fell. Chunks of rock shot into the sky like a burst of fireworks, fist-sized stones landing as far as Last Breath Ridge. The bulls went wild with panic, thrashing against the ropes, but they were tied fast to the trees and could not break free. Bow and Ash lost their nerve completely and bolted down the slope. Timber roared at the top of his lungs, everyone down. The crowd snapped out of their daze and threw themselves flat. Chief Whisker stood completely still, face frozen in disbelief at what he had just witnessed. Minutes later, back at the Riverstone tribe, Elderhorn heard the distant boom and looked up to see a vast cloud of birds rising from the horizon. Elderhorn swung his staff in the air and hollered with everything he had. It is the chief. He actually opened the mountain. The women and children who had stayed behind erupted in cheers. Finally, we are going to have salt again. Meanwhile, east of the stream, Chief Burr of the Bird tribe was out in the field with his hunting party, fully focused on the hunt. Then the same bone-shaking boom reached them. Every head turned. To the west, a column of dust was rising into the sky. Chief Burr stared at it, murmuring, "What happened over there? Did the god strike?" One of his men said quietly, "It came from the direction of the stream." Chief Burr steadied himself. "Let us head back and ask the shaman if anyone can read the spirits. It is them." He shouldered the day's catch and led his party back at a brisk pace. Several kilometers south of the cave, moving through the forest, another group of over 50 was on the march. This band had no fixed home. They drifted between tribes, carrying messages. At the front was a strong young man around 20 years old named Fox, a rough map clutched in his hand, and then the explosion hit. The group froze, exchanging wide-eyed looks. Fox's expression shifted. He raised his hand to halt the column and stood very still, listening hard. He swept his eyes across the surrounding trees. Someone beside him blurted out, "Fox, that sound is wrong." Fox's brow furrowed. "Stay calm." Whatever that was, it came from the northwest, and nothing that loud is ordinary. He dropped to one knee and spread the map flat, tracing the mountain ridges with his finger, something calculating moving behind his eyes. Northwest of here is the Western Mountain Range. Nothing unusual there, just wild animals, unless a tribe made that happen. The group murmured among themselves, faces tight with unease. Fox stood, "Stop talking and get moving, we are going to take a look, but keep your weapons ready." Everyone nodded and drew their stone hatchets and wooden spears, moving cautiously toward where the sound had come from. Back at the cave, the Western Mountain Cave, half its face now blown away, I was pinned inside the pit, buried under a crushing weight of earth. I twisted with everything I had, hands clawing through the dirt in all directions, one thought and one thought only, get out. After what felt like a long time, a muffled voice broke through from above. "Chief? Chief? Where are you?" Chief Whisker's voice. I felt a surge of energy and drove upward with everything left in me. With a grunt, my head finally broke through the surface. I gasped in air, deep and desperate. "I am here," I shouted, my voice rough and ragged from the dust in my throat. Chief Whiskers and the others came running. One look at me and their eyes went red. They threw down their shovels and dug at the dirt with bare hands, muttering breathlessly, "Chief, we found you, thank the spirits." That noise nearly stopped all our hearts. I let myself steady, accepted the hands pulling me upright, brushed off the dust and managed to smile. "I am alright." Then, without wasting a moment, I led everyone toward the cave to see what the blast had done. Where there had once been a narrow crack, there was now a wide-open cavern, and along the shattered walls, layer upon layer of white crystal rock was laid bare. In the light, it shimmered and glittered, like the inside of a silver mountain. Everyone stood speechless. I snapped them out of it. "We are burning daylight." That broke the spell. Everyone got to work full of fire. A few quick-thinking members of the tribe were already weaving simple vine ropes to haul the salt chunks out. While everyone worked up a storm, something caught the edge of my vision. A few shapes curled in the shadow of the cave, my chest tightened, I stepped closer and my face went still. They were the dried remains of children, small bodies, ragged cloth, limbs twisted in the corners of the rock. They had died in pain, in the dark, without anyone coming for them. My eyes stung, something hollow settled in my chest. I turned and said quietly, "Bring some dry wood, we will give them a proper send-off." A few tribe members nodded in silence. Before long a fire was burning inside the cave, the flames reaching high, casting a solemn light across every face. I take the lead, gently laying several dried remains onto the fire, murmuring soft words, a blessing for these poor children I never know. As the flames rise, pale smoke curls upward, as if carrying the children's restless souls gently away. With that done, I draw a long breath, pull myself together and call out, "Push through everyone, finish the salt and we head home." The tribe answers as one, hands moving faster now. After a long stretch of hard work, every bucket and basket is packed full. As the sky dims, I wave my hand, "That is enough, wrap it up, great haul today, let us head back and celebrate." The cheer that rises is immediate and full-throated. We set off together, oxen loaded with salt, the whole column moving with easy confidence. We have not gone far when rustling breaks out from the southern tree line, growing louder fast. I am on alert in an instant. I raise a hand to halt the column, draw my bow in one smooth motion and drop my voice to a sharp command. Not a sound. Weapons ready, every hand tightens on every weapon. The group shifts into a defensive stance, every eye fixed on the trees. In an instant, a group of strangers files out of the forest, animal hide on their backs, crude weapons in hand. At their head, the leader of the Wanderer tribe raises both hands wide. "We are from the Wanderer tribe, just passing through." I hold my draw and keep my voice cold. "Wanderer tribe. Never heard of you, what exactly do you want here?" Fox steps forward quickly. "Our tribe does not settle in one place. We travel between tribes, carrying messages and making connections. You made quite a stir back there, we got curious, and you look like a sizable tribe so we figured it was worth getting acquainted." I narrow my eyes, looking Fox up and down, then ask without expression, "You talk about getting acquainted, so what are you actually offering?" Fox's eyes shift as if something just comes to him right. "Just a few days ago we caught word of a grand spring gathering. It is the biggest annual event in the region. Tribes from all around come together to trade goods and test their skills. That gets my attention. If our tribe is going to grow, we need outside connections and access to more resources. The spring gathering is exactly the kind of opportunity we need, but I keep my face neutral. That is just a rumor about a gathering, could be nothing. And even if it is real, why tell me for free, you are after something?" Fox gives an awkward laugh, rubbing his hands together. Honestly, we have been on the road a long time, our rations are gone, we are so hungry our stomachs are pressed flat. If you can spare some food, I will tell you everything I know about the spring gathering, every last detail. I frown, glancing back at the oxen loaded with salt, looking hesitant. We do not have much food to spare on the road either. Fox looks at me with hopeful eyes, just a little, even a few strips of dried meat, a handful of wild greens. I swear I will pay it back double once we are back at camp. I think it over then shake my head, it is not a good time for that. Here's what I will do, come back to our tribe with US, we will feed you properly and you can tell US everything about the spring gathering then. Fox's eyes light up at once, now that is what I am talking about. Much obliged, Chief, we are with you. The two groups fall in together, the sky darkens and our tribe lights their torches. The Wanderer tribe stares at the bright torches with wide eyes, full of curiosity and envy, crowding closer to ask, Chief, those torches are something else, how do you make them? We travel in the dark all the time and it has been nothing but trouble. I smile, find a stick, wrap one end thick with cloth and dry grass, soak it in fat and light it up. That is all. Fox nods along as I speak, what a simple trick, I am having everyone make this when we get back. We talk the whole way and before long, we reach the Riverstone tribe. The moment the Wanderer tribe steps inside, their jaws drop. Tall solid walls ring the settlement. Inside shelters stand in neat rows, people and animals alike thriving, the whole place buzzing with life. Fox lets out a low whistle, your tribe is this big and this well set up, this is the most impressive settlement I have ever seen. I smile and give the order, get the Wanderer tribe settled and bring out a hot meal. The mood is warm and easy. After the meal, Fox speaks up, Chief, thank you for your hospitality, the spring gathering is set for half a month from now. It is held at the river confluence to the east. 23 tribes from the surrounding area all show up, it is a real spectacle. I nod, filing every detail away, what are the rules for this gathering? Walk me through the trading customs and the competition events, there is quite a bit to it. Every tribe needs to bring their finest goods as an entry token. No token, no entry. Trading is mostly barter, both sides agree on value and make a fair exchange. The competitions include hunting trials and craft skill displays. Winning tribes take home rich prizes and a reputation that spreads fast. I listen with keen interest, already running through what our tribe should bring. Then Fox seems to gather his nerve and ventures, Chief, your tribe is so well stocked, any chance you could spare us an ox? We will repay you, whatever running around or errands your tribe needs, we are your people. My expression shifts immediately, not the ox, that is not happening. If you need food, I can help with that. If you want to trade for something, we can talk almost anything else, but not the ox. Disappointment crosses Fox's face, but he recovers quickly. Fair enough, Chief. So what can we trade for? I think for a moment we have pottery, arrows and more bring the right goods and we can work something out. Or if you are carrying anything rare or unusual, we would be happy to take a look. Fox nods several times. Understood, understood. After the meal, everyone turns in, but Fox lies awake tossing and turning. The more he thinks, the more convinced he becomes. This tribe has enormous potential, the ox keeps nagging at him. After going back and forth, he gives up on sleep, gets up and makes his way to my door. He knocks softly. Chief, are you asleep? There is something I would like to talk through with you. I open the door, see Fox and frown immediately. What is it at this hour? Fox looks me straight in the eye, all sincerity. I have been thinking it over. We do not have much in the way of goods but when it comes to running errands and getting things done, nobody beats us. Any odd job you can name, we can handle it. Would you reconsider the ox? Name your terms. Anything within our reach will throw everything we have at it. I cross my arms and study him. A tribe that travels this widely must have connections and resources most people never see. If I can put that to use, it is worth something. I let the silence sit, then speak. Since you are this determined, I will be straight with you. What our tribe needs most right now is clothing. The weather is warming, our numbers are growing, and what we have is nowhere near enough. If you can track down enough hide and rami fiber to make clothing or find out where we can get them, then the ox is on the table. Fox's eyes light up. He thumps his chest. Chief, leave it to us, consider it done. We are on the road between tribes every single day. We know exactly where the hide and fiber come from around here. Give me 3 days. I will bring back exactly what you need. A small smile pulls at my mouth. Good. Don't make promises you can keep. Get it done and the ox is yours on the spot. But if you come back empty-handed, this topic is closed for good. Fox nods eagerly and heads off in high spirits. On the 3rd day, Fox is back at the Riverstone tribe. He has found a place, a spot thick with rami growing wild. The only problem, it is a full day's travel away. Even for someone as fast on his feet as Fox. I smile without a word and turn to lead out a riding stag. On this, the round trip is done in a single day. Fox has seen these animals before, but it had never occurred to him that one could be tamed, that it would actually listen and carry a rider. I take my time showing him how to guide the stag forward and bring it to a stop. One short lap is all it takes. Fox is hooked. He asks if we can add the stag on top of our original deal. I turn him down without hesitation. Fox does not push it. He just files it away, already looking forward to the next deal. At first light the next morning, the two of us set out, each leading two riding stags. Before leaving, I set the tribe to clearing land along the north bank of the river, ready to plant the rami the moment I am back. We ride northwest on the stags and a journey that would have taken a full day on foot takes us half that. A hillside blanketed in green, rami as far as the eye can see, over 2,000 acres of it with barely another plant in sight. My brow furrows immediately. This sneaky devil. A patch this neat and this vast is clearly cultivated. Someone owns this. If we get caught here, we are in for a serious beating. Fox asks, Chief, is not this the plant you were looking for? It is, but someone owns all this. Is there a tribe nearby? There is the border tribe around here, but they do not exactly welcome outsiders, so we have never really come this way. I think to myself, you sneaky devil, you knew this whole time. You walk me straight into this, but we are already here. Going back empty-handed is not an option. We cut what we can and get out fast. I pull a large basket off the stag's back and get to cutting. Fox sees this and draws his own blade, getting to work. We are in full swing when the sound of striking wooden clubs erupts from all around us. My stomach drops. We are done for caught red-handed. Before I can move, men close in from every direction. All adults, all of them. Fox and I leap onto the stags without a word and kick hard, driving downhill. Suddenly ropes snap up from the crowd, cutting off our path. Then two heavy woven nets drop over us from above. My heart sinks. Caught stealing in the act. This is mortifying. Leading the way in front of us is a girl, a satisfied grin on her face, long dark hair falling loose behind her. She is striking, but I am in no mood to appreciate it. I shoot a glare at Fox who is being hauled along in his own net. This is all your fault. Before long, we are carried back to the border tribe settlement. Their chief steps forward to face us. To my surprise, their chief is a woman wrapped head to toe in the same open weave rami cloth as the girl. The girl strolls up with that same grin and says to the chief, Mother, you have to give me this one as my prize. The border tribe is a matriarchal society. Their chief is a woman well into her 30s. And this girl is Nara's daughter, Ren, 12 years old, just come of age. The tribe had recently heard about the spring gathering and Ren had been thinking about what kind of man she wanted. She never expected one to just show up on his own. Nara steps up and looks me over carefully. Something sets me apart. She turns to Ren. You are saying he rode in on one of these horned beasts, both of them. Mother, just give him to me. I do not want to go to the spring gathering anymore, but he does not look like an ordinary man to me. Nara's sharp eyes move over me carefully, pausing on the bronze crown on my head. An ornament like that belongs to no ordinary person. If not a chief himself, then the son of one. Keeping someone like that by force would mean trouble, possibly war between two tribes. Then a male tribesman brings my bow, arrows, and spear to Nara. Chief, this belong to them too. Nara takes my bronze spear, the golden tip sharp and bright. If his entire tribe carries weapons like this, she thinks keeping him here would be even more dangerous. She picks up the bow next, turning it over and over, unable to make sense of it. Ren snatches it from her mother and starts plucking the bowstring. Twang, twang, as if it is a musical instrument. I clench my jaw. Dry firing a bow will damage it. Does she have any idea what she is doing? Nara draws an arrow from the quiver. She can tell it is a weapon, but has no idea how to use it. I can't understand a word they are saying, but watching the two of them puzzle over it for this long tells me everything. I shout out, let me go and I will show you how it works. Nara does not understand my words, but she can tell what I want. She turns and pulls a handful of rimi from the basket, holding it toward me. Why were you stealing our rimi? Just then, Fox calls out from inside his net. We did not know any of this belonged to you, and you would be wise to let us go. We are both tribal chiefs. The border tribe members around us go steal. I am Fox, chief of the Wanderer tribe. We deal with so many different tribes that we have had to learn everyone's language. Nara thinks for a moment. She does recall a visit from the Wanderer tribe once, and him. Why do you say he is a chief too? His tribe is even stronger. Their numbers are no smaller than yours, and the weapons they carry, you have seen one already. Better to let him go. That settles it for Nara. Two tribes of equal size going to war, both come out worse off. She is ready to let us go. You are lying. I want to keep him. Ren cries out. Fox looks at Ren's tantrum and lets out a quiet, dismissive laugh. Truthfully, he does not know how to explain it. He has never seen the bow in action either. He just knows it is formidable. Ren catches Fox's dismissive smirk and bristles immediately. You are a liar. I am keeping him. Nara goes quiet. She does not understand the bow, but that sharp bronze spear speaks for itself. Better weapons mean more food means more people, and then there is the bronze crown. She is now certain he leads a powerful tribe. Nara pulls Ren back. I will let you go, but you damaged our Remy. How do you intend to make it right? Ren hears her mother and immediately loses it. Mother? You can't let them go. I want him. I am keeping him. Nara is a chief. She knows what matters. She shuts Ren down without a second thought. Fox has had enough. What do you actually want as compensation? Just tell US and let US go. Nara thinks for a moment, then points to my bow, my bronze spear, the writing stags. We keep the weapons and the horn beasts. Fox does not even pause out of the question. None of that is mine, and he won't give it to you either. I watch Nara pointing at my weapons and the stags and ask Fox, what does she want? Fox explains. She says we damaged their Remy. She wants to keep the weapons and the stags as compensation. That sets me off. That is a scam. I caught it clean. I did not uproot a single plant. How exactly did I damage anything? And even if I owe something, it is nowhere near worth all that. Then something nags at me. She said we damaged the crop, but do they only harvest Remy once a year? Fox does not follow my thinking, but he translates anyway. The chief asks, do you only harvest your Remy once a year? Nara blinks. Isn't that how Remy works? One look at her face tells me everything. They have no idea how Remy actually grows. I tell Fox to relay my message. The weapons and stags stay with me, and I am taking more Remy, but I will teach them how to harvest Remy 5 times a year. The border tribe goes silent when Fox translates. 5 harvests a year. That is 5 times what they are getting now. That kind of knowledge is worth real wealth. The border tribe does not just grow Remy for themselves. They weave it into cloth and rope to trade with other tribes, sometimes for food, sometimes for people. Their Remy yield is, in effect, the engine of their growth. If what I am saying is true, they would never run short again. The temptation is overwhelming. Nara waves her hand. Several men scramble over and cut US loose. I reach out and point to my weapons, making clear I want them back first. Ren is still sulking about letting me go, but she tosses her head and huffs. Fine, you can have it back, but you have to show me how it works first. I nod, take back the longbow, pull an arrow from the quiver, and scan the area for a target. My eye catches a small wild boar hanging in a net nearby, still alive about 30 meters out. I raise the bow, knock the arrow, and release almost without aiming. A sharp whistle cuts through the air. The bronze tip drives clean through the boar. A single shriek, then stillness. The border tribe stands frozen, bodies trembling. Think everything their chief agreed to let these two go. If the Riverstone tribe ever came for them, they would be finished in no time. But Ren does not flinch at the dead boar. She gasps with pure excitement. So that is how it works. That is incredible. Nara is equally shaken. She had not imagined a weapon could be so devastating. If that boar were a person, she stops the thought there. And that was a single arrow. There are dozens more in that quiver, more arrows than she has fighting men. Fear settles over Nara. Whatever happens, she cannot afford to make an enemy of the Riverstone tribe. I steal a glance at the crowd, shock and fear written on every face. A quiet satisfaction settles in my chest. I pull the arrow free, slide it back into the quiver, and lead the stags toward the Remy field without a word. Once everyone has gathered around, I take my time pointing to the Remy at my feet, demonstrating the right way to harvest it. Don't uproot it. Cut it here at the base, and it grows back in no time. Before the frost comes, you can do this 5, maybe 6 times. Fox falls into step beside me, translating without being asked. The border tribe people look at each other in disbelief. They have always pulled it out by the roots. How do they not know? Nara asks, genuinely surprised. Have you actually grown Remy yourself? I answer without missing a beat. I have. I just need some to take back and wave. Ren blinks at me. You can weave too. Of course. And better cloth than what you are wearing. Wider weave, tighter thread. I glance at the cloth on their bodies. Gaps you could put a finger through about as warm as a fishing net. Could you teach US? Nara is not skeptical. The weapons alone prove I know things most people do not. No, I only teach my own people, unless your tribe joins mine. Joining another tribe is out of the question. Nara has never once considered it. I do not expect her to agree on the spot. I just want to plant the idea. I shrug and wave Fox over to start cutting. Nara says nothing. This was the deal. 20 minutes later, all 4 baskets are full. I load the Remy onto the stags and prepare to go. Just then, Ren steps forward and grabs the reins, looking up at me with eyes full of feeling, asking me to stay. Fox translates and my face goes red, but I shake my head firmly. I have my own people. I can't stay here. Ren's eyes fill with tears at once. She presses her lips together and asks in a small voice, then can you at least tell me your name? I say nothing. I press my heels in and the stag leaps forward. Then I pull an arrow from the quiver and send it into the ground 2 meters in front of Ren. She trots over, pulls it free and turns it over carefully in her hands. They are on the shaft near the fletching, a totem mark. Ren calls out, "Mother, this mark. It is the same as the one on his crown." Nara says quietly, "Keep it safe. We will see if we can figure out how to make one." Fox and I ride hard and make it back to the Riverstone tribe just before dark. Along the north bank of the canal, the tribe has already cleared a small plot of land, about 5 acres. I use a spade to mark out the row spacing, then direct everyone to press the rainy seedling straight into the soil. Matron Black Whisker and Elderhorn come to stand beside me. "Chief, what is this crop for?" "Clothing, things you wear on your body. Cloth made from this plant is light and thin, perfect for summer." The tribe members nod along, taking in a new word, clothing, the things you wear on your body. With the Wanderer tribe's task now done, Fox comes to collect what he is owed. There were complications along the way, but I am not one to break my word. I hand over the writing stacks he asked for and throw in a clay basin and 10 clay bowls on top. As for getting caught by the border tribe, neither of you breathes a word about it. We are both chiefs. Some things are better left unspoken. At first light the next morning, Fox leads his people away. We agree to meet again at Bloomvale. I watch the Wanderer tribe disappear into the distance, a faraway look in my eyes. Part of me wants nothing more than to roam like they do. Elderhorn steps up beside me. "Chief, what comes next?" I come back to myself and glance at Elderhorn. It has been 17 days since we started the rice seedlings. Time to transplant. Elderhorn does not know what transplanting means, but he follows along. He has learned that trusting me is never a mistake. Soon the men are driving copper spades into each irrigation channel, opening gaps, and water rushes into the paddy fields with a roar. I lead the women in pulling the seedlings from the nursery bed, bundling them into small handfuls and setting them aside. Porter has cut a pile of small sticks, each 40 centimeters long, to keep the row spacing even during planting. Once everything is ready, the whole group gathers around me to learn. Pinch the base of the seedling between 2 fingers, press it straight down into the mud, measure 1 stick length across, then plant the next. Everyone nods, but then a man from the Black Whisker tribe speaks up. "Chief, can you actually eat this grass?" The moment he says it, every head turns to me. Clearly this question has been on everyone's mind. They just had not dared to ask. Many of them have been quietly wondering whether all this effort is even worth it. I do not take offense. I explain calmly, the grass itself is not what we eat, it is the seeds. I send Stone to bring out the remaining 22 gin of seed grain for everyone to see. This is what the plant produces. We call it grain. Strip away the husk and what is inside is what we eat. The grain is hard. It has to be cooked in a pot before you can eat it. Seeing everyone's half-confused faces, I decide to head back to camp, cook up a pot of rice from what is left, and let everyone taste it for themselves. Elderhorn and Matron Black Whisker are too old to bend down and plant, so they follow me back to watch. I find a thick-walled jar, take a wooden stick, and pound the grain inside. Before long, the husked grain becomes brown rice. I tip the brown rice into a clay pot, rinse it clean with water, add twice as much water as rice, and set it over the fire. Matron Black Whisker eyes the thin layer of grain at the bottom of the pot and frowns. "There is so little in there, can that really fill anyone up?" I smile. Rice swells when it cooks with water. By the time it is done, the water is gone. What is left is soft, fluffy cooked rice, and there is much more of it. Elderhorn and Matron Black Whisker both gasp at the same moment. Food that grows while you cook it, they have never heard of such a thing. A cluster of children gathers clothes. Before long, a rich warm smell rises from the pot. The children keep swallowing. I feel a quiet rush of feeling myself. How familiar that smell is. It has been so long since I have had rice. By the time the rice is cooking, the rest of the tribe has finished planting all the seedlings. Now they all crowd around the pot, breathing in the warm scent rising from it. Soon, a pot of snow-white, fragrant cooked rice sits before everyone. I have every tribe member line up with their own bowl and eating sticks. There is not enough for a full meal, just one small taste each. The first ones in line get their share and can't wait straight into their mouths. They chew slowly, eyes wide. It is so fragrant, and there is a sweetness when you chew it. This is incredible. The ones still waiting hear this and start pressing forward, urging the people ahead to hurry. They have lived on meat their whole lives. This soft, fragrant, faintly sweet grain is unlike anything they have known. From this moment on, there is not a single person in the tribe who doubts me. My standing among them rises once again. Once this is all done, I get back to assigning work. The men are sent out to fell timber, catch fowl, hunt, smelt copper, make pottery, and do carpentry. The women take the brick kilns, fishing, herding, and mineral refining. Refining the rock salt is straightforward. Clear out the impurities, boil it in clean water, and let it evaporate into crystals. The white salt we produce is not just for our own use, it is one of our best trade goods. I take the spring gathering seriously. We need to stock up on salt and pottery. Every tribe needs these things, and they will move fast. We also need a proper wagon. Hauling this much cargo that far on foot is not an option. Porter does not waste words. He leads the carpentry crew over and wheels the four-wheeled cart right up to me. I stop and stare. Porter actually knows what he is doing. I would only ask for a simply two-wheeled flatbed, and what stands in front of me now is something closer to a proper carriage, with a large cargo box at the back. No roof yet, but drape an animal hide over it and it will hold up against anything. At the front, a flat bench seat for two. Hitch up a pair of oxen and you ride. I lay on the praise then give Porter a few things to adjust. Porter grins and heads straight back in with the crew. Before long, the first month of spring is nearly gone. Life in the tribe keeps getting better. The one thing still out of reach is the fortified settlement I have been designing. Building it would take far more hands than we have. Our total headcount barely clears 350. For easy transport, I have Flint Rush make a batch of small flat-bottom pots, open-top clay pots with wooden lids designed to stack neatly and save space. Salt goes straight into the large wooden buckets, lids slashed down with rope. I keep directing the loading. 6 days until the spring gathering. I plan to leave early and take the road at a steady pace. I pull Timber aside for a word. Timber feels the weight of my trust. He thumps his chest and swears he will protect every single person in the tribe. I turn to Chief Whisker and press the tin circlet I have prepared into his hands. While I am gone, you lead the hunting party and run daily weapons training for the new members. Chief Whisker had been watching Timber receive his orders with a quiet flicker of envy, but the moment he sees his own matching circlet, every trace of it vanishes. Finally, I walk Elderhorn and Matron Black Whisker out to the paddy field. Keep the field flooded at all times, at least a full palm's depth of water always. Both elders, old as they are, still want to do their part for the tribe. Now that they have something real to take charge of, they agree with enthusiasm. With everything in order, I call the group together and we move out. For this trip, I am keeping the party lean, a few seasoned adults. Ox and Scar now recovered from their injuries. Fang, Stone, Feather and Stump. Then Skip, Chirp, Reed, Brooke and 16 others, 20 young men, all just come of age. Stump handles the ox wagon. I ride with the 5 veterans on riding stags. The remaining 20 youths share 10 more stags between them. We set out southwest toward Bloomvale. By evening we find an open patch of ground and make camp. Fires are lit around the perimeter. I set a rotation for the night watch. I have barely closed my eyes when Fang shakes me awake. Chief, there is another group coming up behind us. I rub my eyes and sit up. Squinting into the dark, I recognize the figure at the front immediately. It is Nara, wrapped head to toe in that open with rami cloth, the border tribe. And Nara has brought more people than I did. 10 adult men, 20 girls and 20 boys. Ren is mid-tantrum. Mother? I am so thirsty. There is no water anywhere on this road. I do not want to go to Bloomvale to find a husband anymore. Nara cut straight through it. That man is the chief of another tribe. He is not coming to ours. Put it out of your head. Aman hurries up to them. Chief, there is a tribe camp just ahead. Should we approach? Ren hears this and immediately grabs Nara's arm. Mother, let us go. Please, I am so thirsty. Nara looks back at the group. Half a day without water. Everyone is suffering. She nods. Ren pushes ahead and spots the distinctive top knots of the Riverstone tribe almost immediately. Her face lights up. Mother, look, it is them. Nara gives her a look and mutters. They have traveled further than us. Who knows if they have any water left either. I walk over. I have already made out Nara and Ren in the dark. Nara gestures toward me. Riverstone Chief, do you have any water? We have run out. Can we trade for some? I frown. Trade for water. Nothing they are carrying interests me except people. I wave off the trade and motion for them to follow me. I lead them to the back of the four-wheeled wagon, climb up and pull out a large clay bowl. The border tribe people freeze. What is this? How did they bring a house with them? Is that a stone basin? They have a whole house of stone basins, but where's the water? Basins do not help without water. Then they watch me tip a round wooden barrel onto its side, pull a wooden plug from the lid and water flows out. A young boy's mouth falls open. It holds water. It is huge. A whole person could fit inside. I ignore him and hand the full bowl straight to Nara. Drink. No trade needed. Nara gives a small bow of thanks. Then she and Ren pass the bowl between them and drain it completely. I look at the crowd still waiting and pass the bowl to Chirp, telling him to pour water for everyone. Nara asks, Riverstone Chief, you are heading to the spring gathering too. Would you consider traveling together? I know she just wants access to the water supply. I think it over and do not say no. The border tribe sets up their fires beside ours. Some sleep, others sit up watching me. They murmur to each other about everything they see. At first light, the smell of cooked meat drifts across the whole camp. The Riverstone tribe's breakfast is ready. The border tribe stirs at the smell, pulling out their own strips of smoke-dried meat to heat over the fire. I sit by a fire myself, a rabbit liver skewered on a steak, sprinkling salt, then chili pepper, as it roasts. An unfamiliar mouth-watering smell drifts over and draws Ren right to me. She stands there staring, eyes locked on the food turning over the fire. Once it is cooked through, I cut it in half and hand her a piece. She has been standing there long enough. Ren takes it with a bright smile and bites off a huge chunk. 2 chews in, her face goes scarlet. Her mouth is wide open, hand fanning furiously, but she won't spit it out. I nearly laugh watching her, but I take pity and hand her a bowl of cool water. She gulps it down in 2 long draws and finally comes up for air. What is that? It is awful, but I love it. That is chili pepper, I tell her. That feeling is called spicy. Ren points to another pouch, and what is the white one? I pinch a little salt into her palm. White salt, it is savory. Gives you strength, lets you walk further, work longer. Ren's eyes go wide. She dashes back to Nara already knowing this is exactly what their tribe needs. Nara barely opens her mouth to ask before Ren presses the salt straight in. The saltiness makes her brows crunch up. The Riverstone chief gave it to me, and he has a lot more. Ren grabs Nara by the hand and drags her over. No one notices the quiet grin spreading across my face. Hook, line, and sinker. Nara asks, Riverstone chief, where does this white salt come from? Can we trade for some? We make it ourselves. And yes, we will trade 1 bowl of white salt for 1 man. Nara thinks it over. Those boys were already meant to be traded off to other tribes anyway. She agrees without hesitation. She wants to trade 20 boys at once and hopes I will throw in extra salt for the bulk. I make a show of hesitating, then nod slowly and lead her around to the back of the wagon. When I lift the hide cover, the border tribe goes speechless. The wagon is packed, rows of pottery, and several enormous wooden barrels. Every single thing on it is a container. When I deliberately pop open a few of the barrel lids, they can't hold it together anymore. Every barrel is full of white salt. Nara feels suddenly unsteady. Salt is the kind of wealth most people only dream of, and in this moment her certainty about ever joining another tribe begins to waver. I scoop a full bowl from the barrel, easily 3 gin, this much per person. That is my limit. Nara pulls herself together and sends Ren to gather hide pouches from the others. 2 bags end up packed full. The 20 young men of the border tribe are now members of the Riverstone tribe. Our group grows from 27 to 47. The column moves out again, Nara and Ren ride on the wagon. Everyone else from the border tribe walks. The 20 new recruits take turns on the riding stags with our own 20 youths. 2 more days southwest and we meet another group on the road, including Fox, mounted on a riding stag. His own people ride with him, and traveling alongside them is the Serpent tribe. 31 in total, 10 seasoned fighters, 10 young men, and 10 young women. Their leader is an old man with white hair and a white beard, sitting completely at ease, turning a large green snake over in his hands. Fox lights up when he sees me and comes straight over. Riverstone chief, did not expect you this early. Let me introduce you. This is the Serpent Elder of the Serpent tribe. That snake he is holding is their spirit serpent. Their spirit serpent is something remarkable. No matter what venomous snake bites you, 1 bite from the spirit serpent and you heal. I was bitten by a viper as a child. My father took me to the Serpent Elder and I recovered. Fox tells me all this with genuine pride. I do not believe the spirit serpent story for a moment, but treating venom, that could be real. I have heard of ancient wandering healers who kept medicinal snakes. Whatever the truth of it, this is a healer from another age. He deserves respect. I place my right hand on my chest and give the Serpent Elder a slow nod. He returns it, and with that, 4 groups fall into step together. Nearly 160 people in all. Fox falls in beside me. Riverstone chief, any more work for US? I would love to get my hands on more of those stags. I tell him the stags are off the table for now. Future work gets paid in other ways. Fox looks crestfallen, but only for a moment. His mind is already turning. He just wants a way to move faster. Why does it have to be a stag? A wagon would do just as well. Riverstone chief, what about one of those wagons? I will do anything you need. The wagon is too complex to trade, but a simple push cart that I can do. 50 adults. Add 10 more if you want the ox included. Fox looks completely confident. I can get you at least 100 people, but I want the big 4-wheeled kind. I do not push back right away. I am genuinely curious where this confidence is coming from. A chief with 50 people at his back claiming he can deliver over 100 adults. If he is talking about taking people by force, that is not something I want any part of. Nothing like that, Fox says. I am talking about the wild ones. Wild ones. That stops me cold. Fox reads my face and explains. What people call the wild ones are just people living alone, wandering by themselves. Most of them were cast out of their tribes, disabilities, injuries, or they broke some rule and got expelled. I think about it and agree on the spot. The injured ones can work alongside Flint. The troublemakers can do hard labor. They will fall in line. At that fox skips the spring gathering entirely. He turns around right there and sets off with his people. There is too much ground to cover. We push on southwest late in the afternoon, passing a low-rolling hillside. Scar and I out ahead of the group spot 3 adult Terabics near their nest. I send Scar back to bring more riders and hold position myself, keeping the 3 birds in sight. The Terabics are tearing apart some carcass beside the nest deep in their meal, completely unbothered by my presence. Before long, the main group catches up and mixed in with our own R6 warriors from the Serpent tribe and the Border tribe. I stare at them. 3 birds. Why did they bring so many people? Apparently both tribes insisted on joining in. We would hunted everything else along the route and they were running low on food. I tell them they can have one of the 3 birds. The eggs are ours. I send them all off to gather for wood. I call out the signal and lead the charge. The other 15 riders split into 2 columns and fall in right behind me. The 3 Terabics jerk their heads up. They have never seen anything come at them like this. Their long necks stretch high and they let out a harsh rattle and cry. I shout the order, spears fly to cut off their retreat. The birds wheel and charge straight at me. As the gap closes, I drop low over the stag, spear leveled forward. At the moment of impact, the spear drives into the bird's chest. 1 pass and it goes down. The other 2 fall in quick succession beneath the riders. With the 3rd bird down, it is over. Ren watches all of this and cries out, "Mother, the Riverstone chief is incredible." Nara can't help but feel it too. It is not just the chief. The whole Riverstone tribe is formidable. Not only wealthy, but dangerous. She thinks for a moment, then turns to Ren quietly. "The Riverstone chief, do you like him? If it came to it, would you go with him?" Ren blinks, then nods quickly, but then hesitates. "But our women have always brought men into our tribe. We have never done it any other way. Ren likes me. That much is plain, but leaving for another tribe has never crossed her mind and leaving Nara is unthinkable." Nara sighs. He is a chief. There is no world in which she joins their tribe. She will have to think about this properly when they are back home. We drag all 3 Terabics back to camp and everyone agrees. We stop here for the night. Everyone gathers around the fires to eat. Ren keeps stealing glances at me. It makes me uncomfortable enough that I step away from the camp for some air. The night sky is clear and full of stars, the kind of quiet that settles into you. I turn and look southwest toward Bloomvale. There seem to be fireflies drifting in that direction. That is when the Serpent Elder walks up beside me. He follows my gaze and speaks to no one in particular. Bloomvale is a beautiful place. Insects that glow and plants that glow too. At night even the lake shines. The kind of place where young people fall in love, he murmurs on. I do not understand a single word, but the steady hiss of the spirit serpent flickering its tongue that I hear perfectly. I need to get away from this strange old man. That thing is a deadly venomous snake. At first light we move out again. With the Serpent Elder leading the way, we push through without stopping and finally cross into the lands of Bloomvale. Bloomvale is a wide basin valley centered around a freshwater lake spanning 3 to 4,000 acres with water that spouts up from the surface. Wildflowers blanket the ground in every direction. Butterflies the size of a hand drift through the air and drifting clouds. The most common tree in the valley is a willow unlike any I have ever seen. White branches, pale pink leaves. The girls can't help themselves. They scatter into the flowers, chasing the brightest butterflies and weaving garlands. I walk over and give the nearest man a sharp kick. What are you all gawking at? Get the cargo unloaded. The young ones scratch their heads with sheepish grins and get to work clearing the camp. A dozen people haul over a large flat stone and begin laying out pottery and white salt across the surface. The Border tribe sets up camp beside ours, stringing their nets between 2 trees as hammocks. Their rami cloth, straw sandals, and rope are all laid out on display. A small stall taking shape. The Serpent tribe sets up on our other side. Their goods are mainly snake hide and a selection of medicinal herbs. Other tribes begin arriving one after another, but the ones that catch my eye immediately are the Feather Mark tribe, their bodies covered from head to toe in wild pheasant feathers.